elite hunters often appear in the guise of their prey. The grandson of a powerful figure was kidnapped by a group of people. He was even forced to ingest an unknown substance. President Bach is preparing to step down. Influential figures from all walks of life are eager to make a move. Everyone is looking to claim a share of the benefits. In an effort to seize the position of president, they are determined to find ways to eliminate the eldest son of the Su family. The young master has delicate and smooth skin. There are quite a few people who have their eyes on him. As one of the 7 directors of the Bach Society, Chen Xingyue had been thinking about him for a long time, and even went so far as to have him brought here by force. The young master, blindfolded, couldn't understand who exactly wanted to kidnap him. Kneeling on the ground, he begged these people not to take his life. His grandfather was incredibly wealthy, and as long as they let him go, any amount of ransom they wanted could be provided. These words only provoked laughter from the crowd. What he didn't realize was, the boss who kidnapped him was never short on money. All they had their eyes on was the position of the chairman, and it was at this moment Chen Xingyue stepped forward. Upon discovering he was the only descendant of the Su family, he found it incredibly ridiculous. He had thought it would be someone so mysterious, but now he realized it was just an immature brat who hadn't grown up yet, still dares to dream of becoming the leader of the Bahue Society. The young master gathered from their conversation. This kidnapping turned out to be connected to the Bahue Society. He immediately boasted about how powerful his grandfather was. If they dared to lay a finger on him, his grandfather would never let them off the hook. Chen Xingyue found it even more ridiculous. Now the boy was kneeling right in front of him, and still had the audacity to act arrogant. He poured the red wine from his glass over the boy's head. He removed the blindfold from his eyes again. He wanted the young man to clearly see who had kidnapped him. The boy recognized this familiar face. Wasn't he the dog that always stayed by his grandfather's side? Even while being tied up, he remained so defiant. This completely infuriated Chen Xingyue. He ignored the young master's pain, picked him up and tossed him aside. The young master of the Su family. Why not play a game with your uncle? The tug-of-war event isn't something your grandpa can decide all by himself. It's not up to the old man alone to make you the president. If the old man wants to hand over the president's position to you, it still depends on whether you're qualified enough, and whether I'm willing to accept it. You clearly haven't faced any real hardships. You look even more delicate than a girl. He tore open the young master's shirt. The young master resisted stubbornly. I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you picking on me? I'll have my grandpa smash your head. Chen Xingyue moved closer. If you don't want to die, then lie down obediently. I don't have much patience. The young master was terrified. Uncle, I'm not in good health. I can't handle fright, so don't be too harsh with me. Chen Xingyue warned the young master once again. If you keep crying, I'll have a few of the uncles nearby keep you company, and let you cry your heart out tonight. Or maybe I'll do it myself. The young master didn't dare to make a sound. Chen Xingyue gave a disdainful smirk. So easily teased. One of the subordinates reminded Chen Xingyue, if the old man finds out about this, it might not go well. Then, Hua Ying took out an unidentified pill and stuffed it into the young master's mouth. The others were all sent away by Chen Xingyue. Hua Ying warned him not to get any wrong ideas just because this boy is good looking. Look at his waist, so soft it could even rival a woman's. Doesn't that seem enticing to you? Well, why don't you just deal with him now? I'm only interested in the president's position. Before long, the young master felt his whole body heating up. His body twisted and turned, letting Chen Xingyue manipulate him as he pleased. Then, nude photos of him were taken. He embraced Chen Xingyue tightly. Uncle, I feel so hot. In truth, all of this stemmed from his loneliness. On the surface, he appeared harmless and innocent, but in reality, he was ruthless to the core. He found joy in abusing and mistreating others. He made a bet with his grandfather. He intended to make Chen Xingyue willingly support him as the president. His grandfather thought it was an unrealistic fantasy, but he believed that the more challenging the task, the more thrilling he found it. Uncle, I feel so hot. Could you please help me? Reaching out with unsteady hands toward his uncle's clothes, Chen Xingyue struck him unconscious with a single blow. The next morning, he woke up to see his second uncle, who had always cared for him the most. Uncle Su Hanchuan was extremely worried. Where did you go in the middle of the night? Fainted right at the doorstep. Su Ran acted spoiled and said, Uncle, I want a hug. Su Hanchuan reminded him not to go outside unnecessarily. Su Ran had no choice but to obediently listen. In the evening, Su Hanchuan took him to attend a banquet. The big shots at the banquet were all talking about him. Look at that face and that figure. Even the girls at Qinglin Hall aren't as beautiful as her. In the upper-class circles, countless people coveted her body. Li Bowen went as far as to make an inappropriate move on her. Protective Su Hanchuan was so furious that he confronted him directly. A man in his 40s should find a companion sooner rather than later, to avoid being left all alone in the future, with no one to see him off even after death. It's truly considerate of Mr. Su to be so concerned. Hong has been perpetually single for years. Why must there be such ruthless competition between us? It turns out this man is Su Rant's uncle. He was also a close friend of Su Rant's father in the past. Now, Grandpa is taking you to meet the Bahue Council members. All the big figures of the hall are present. The only one missing is Chun Xingyue. Su Ran pretended to look regretful. While studying abroad, he had heard his grandpa mention Uncle Chen joined Bahue at a young age. He had always been loyal and dedicated. That was Grandpa's trusted right-hand man. Today, it was rare to get the chance to meet everyone, but Uncle Chen was absent. It was rather disappointing. As soon as the words were spoken, the hall immediately erupted into a commotion. Everyone started singing praises for Chun Xingyue. Su Ran inwardly mocked them as a bunch of sycophants. They had lived in comfort for so long that they had forgotten who their true master was. In fact, he had an intimate understanding of the big players in the hall. Everything was firmly under his control. Everyone assumed the young master of the Su family was merely a sheltered flower. Only Chun Xingyue thought otherwise. The cunning and shrewd Su Zhengqing would never allow a useless person to become his successor. Moreover, he quite admired the young master's appearance. This made the game far more interesting. Suan noticed Chun Xingyue approaching, instinctively called out Master Qing. Chen Xingyue tried hard to maintain a neutral expression. Don't be so formal. Just call me uncle. Chen Xingyue's presence was so overwhelming that Su Ran struggled to breathe. Even Grandpa blamed him for not understanding. While the elders were still standing, as the younger generation, you should take the initiative to offer a toast to your uncle. Su Ran immediately got up and followed through. Chen Xingyue stopped him, even deliberately teased Xiaoran, saying his complexion didn't look very good. Could it be that he just came back not long ago? Having trouble adjusting to the local environment, there's still some time left before the banquet ends. Xiaoran, why not accompany your uncle upstairs to take a rest? Su Ran understood what Chen Xingyue meant. When he was about to refuse, Chen Xingyue shot him a threatening look. Su Ran had no choice but to agree. Once they arrived at the room, Chen Xingyue dropped the facade of being a good uncle. I distinctly warned you, next time we meet, pretend you don't know me. Did you forget, Su Ran? What are you trying to do with that obedient look? Didn't I follow what you said? And then pitifully said I didn't tattle to Grandpa. Chen Xingyue gently stroked Su Ran's cheek. The problem is that Xiao Ran's acting is just too bad. The moment he sees my face, he starts trembling. Leaned close to the young master's ear. This will make the old man suspicious of you. After issuing the warning, hurled Su Ran onto the ground. Kneeling on the ground, Su Ran choked up. I followed everything you told me to do. Why are you still losing your temper? Chen Xingyue, sitting on the sofa, looked down at Su Ran. Hinted for him to grab the lighter, told him to crawl forward on his knees. As he turned around, Su Ran's expression changed instantly. One day, I will make Chen Xingyue crawl on the ground like a dog. Holding the lighter, he suddenly looked pitiful. Grandpa is still downstairs. Don't push it too far. Chen Xingyue pulled out his explicit photos and waved them in front of Su Ran. What a beautiful body. It's just a pity that this frail little thing looks so sickly. Lacked a bit of masculinity. Su Yuan looked at his own nude photo. Immediately felt an overwhelming sense of shame. His face instantly turned red. He quickly reached out to grab it. Unfortunately, he grasped at nothing. Chen Xingyue ordered him to ignite the fire. He knelt in front of Chen Xingyue, displaying a well-behaved demeanor. Uncle Chen, could you bend down a little? Su Ran knelt down and lit a cigarette for him. Chen Xingyue gently caressed Su Ran's cheek. Your eyes are truly beautiful. Su Ran appeared obedient and well-behaved. Are only the eyes beautiful? Chen Xingyue smirked with a mischievous charm. Everything looks good. Su Ran tugged at Chen Xingyue's tie. Uncle Chen, can you lean in closer with your ear? I have a secret to share with you. Just as the two leaned closer, Xiran snatched the photo away in one swift motion, tearing it into tiny pieces, just as he was feeling pleased with himself. Don't worry, I've kept plenty more. Xiran knew he couldn't win, so he could only pretend to give in and lay his head on Chen Xingyue's lap. Xing, please stop picking on me, won't you? I'm begging you to let me go. Well, that depends on whether you behave or not. Shuran responded. He is well behaved and very obedient. He'll listen to everything you say, uncle. Alright, will he really do everything he's told? Then kiss me. You're already in your 30s. Do you still want to be with me or not? Aren't you embarrassed? Uncle just has one question for you. Will you kiss me or not? How dare you think I'm too old? After kissing me, you still insist on forcing it. Before tomorrow at noon. The handsome photos of the young master of the Su family will soon spread across every street and alley in the capital. I can make you famous overnight. Do you believe it or not? The young master fears nothing, but he dreads becoming famous. Su Ran immediately begged his uncle. Tears streamed down his face in grievance. Don't do that. It's mortifying for me. You might as well just end me. The uncle tenderly wiped away the tears at the corner of her eyes. You should be grateful it's me you're dealing with. The other uncles in the Bahue are not nearly as easygoing as I am. Su Ran clung pitifully to her uncle's leg, looking completely bewildered. What does that even mean? The uncle spoke with a serious tone. The chairman's position is a lucrative opportunity. Many wealthy merchants in the capital are envious of you. A wild brat who amounts to nothing, just returned to the country and already pre-selected for the chairman position. Do you think those senior board members who have worked diligently for decades would accept it willingly? Su Ran pouted his lips. It's not like this is what I wanted. It's all because Grandpa insisted on it. The uncle started lecturing the young master. Who cares if you're happy about it or not? If you don't want to die, you'd better keep your arrogance in check. As long as you behave yourself and obediently act as my puppet, I can ensure your life is spared. The young master isn't foolish. After all your talk, aren't you also eyeing the president's position? Why should I trust you? When your uncle gets serious, you have no other choice. The young master willingly offers a forehead kiss to his uncle, an innocent and well-behaved appearance. I'm still young. Uncle will keep me safe. Doesn't it feel like the boy is toying with you, uncle? Be honest. Are you putting on an act in front of me? Su Zhengqing raised a useless air. I just can't figure it out no matter how hard I try. Before Su Ran could react, Uncle immediately gave him a kiss. This is our little secret. Looking forward to your guidance in the future. Uncle Su Xiaoyan will often meet with you. Su Ran finally realized what was happening. Uncle, you're acting like a baby. Uncle just loves it when you get all flustered, and yet have no choice but to act submissive. Like a little punching bag. How adorable. A silly dog to keep you company. You really think you're something special. Just wait, one day I'll take you down. This game is hard to tell who the prey really is. It's uncertain who will end up as the target. Second uncle brought Su Ran along to another social event. Su Ran was already waiting impatiently. He was forcing himself to keep smiling. Second uncle, please spare me this time. I don't even know these people. Second uncle gave him another lecture. You're the only one complaining about being tired. All these years abroad, you've been idling your days away. Su Ran pouted slightly, looking utterly aggrieved. I've been so well behaved. I've been studying diligently. You better shape up, kid. Hosting this banquet is all for your sake anyway. All the influential figures of the capital are here. You need to build good connections, form alliances with others. Do you even understand that? Su Ran looked completely indifferent. What a hassle. I might as well just live aimlessly. A beautiful lady arrived. After all, he's just a kid. Second Master Su, don't be too harsh. This woman has quite a significant background. She happens to be the mayor's wife. Second uncle, the pretty lady. Everyone says you're too strict with me. Second uncle pinched Su Ran's cheek, showing a lack of manners. What aunt? This is the mayor's wife. Su Ran grinned awkwardly, making the mayor's wife chuckle warmly. You two really have a great uncle-nephew bond. Su Ran expressed that it hurt. Second uncle, why do you keep talking about me today? The aunt gently touched Su Ran's cheek. You really do resemble a bit. Speaking only half of a sentence, Su Ran seemed bewildered. You said it like someone I know. An old friend. His name is Shin Nanfeng. Madam, please choose your words carefully. Second uncle Shun. Who is Shin Nanfeng? It seems no one at this banquet has the surname Shin. Your parents were harmed by this Shin Nanfeng. Su Ran paused in silence for a moment. Su Ran clung to his second uncle, acting spoiled toward him. From now on, I promise to be obedient and well-behaved. I will never cause trouble for you or Grandpa. Second uncle, please don't be upset. Second uncle looked at him with complete disdain. You've always been nothing but a huge troublemaker. But aren't you the one who raised me? Everyone thought the leader of the Ba society chose a nobody to be his successor. Even Grandpa treated him like a naive and clueless fool. They even went out of their way to assign him a personal bodyguard. During the meeting, Shuran found himself daydreaming. The boring meeting finally came to an end. Having so many bodyguards around him was truly inconvenient. Wherever he went, they followed him like shadows. No matter what he tried, he just couldn't shake them off. This left Shuran feeling deeply frustrated. Taking advantage of a moment when the bodyguards were distracted, Shuran bolted and started running. He kept chasing after him but just couldn't shake him off. Even going to the restroom, he insisted on following. The snowy plains brought an unbearable headache. It felt like a nervous assassination squad. After much effort, he finally got rid of the bodyguards. Then an uncle showed up. Checking the calendar before going out was a must. Otherwise, there was always a chance of running into dogs wherever he went. The uncle had no sense of fairness. He grabbed Snowfield in a tight embrace. "Why are you running away, uncle? It's not like anyone's going to eat you." "Uncle, you really are such a scoundrel. Going to the bathroom without washing your hands. Keep your voice down. Do you want everyone outside to hear?" Xue Yuan knew there was no chance of escaping, feeling so wrong that tears started to fall. Even though uncle can be such a jerk, he can't stand to see the little cutie cry. "This time, I'll let you off the hook. Don't rush to go home after work in the evening. I need to discuss something with you." Chen Xingyue failed to hold on tightly. Su Yuan took the chance to break free. "Oomph. You shameless scoundrel, you still want to kiss me?" "No way." Su Yuan proudly turned and bolted. "This little cutie is getting more and more amusing." The uncle's eyes were full of doting affection. Just escaped from the clutches of the uncle, Su Ran was in an exceptionally good mood. Before he had the chance to feel smug, "What a coincidence. Young master, we meet again." Su Ran's face immediately turned dark. "What an unlucky day. Next time, I must check the almanac before going out." Uncle was acting indecently, without regard for the occasion. Inside the elevator, the young master was harassed by Xiao Ran's wandering hands. The young master had just arrived and was new to the surroundings. "Are you getting used to the company?" Su Ran pretended to stay calm. "Pretty good, everyone is quite friendly." The uncle followed closely behind. "Really? I wasn't finished speaking just now. Why are you running?" Su Ran awkwardly said. "Maybe I didn't hear it." He chuckled softly, leaning close to Su Ran's ear. "Come to the spa with me after work. I have something to discuss with you." Su Ran pretended to be helpless, saying Grandpa wouldn't let me go to that kind of place. Uncle saw through it. "When I'm willing to discuss with you, it's best to quit while you're ahead." Uncle gave a gentle kiss and said, "I'll wait for you in the garage later." Suan was furious, calling him a shameless scoundrel. Chen Xingyue brought Suan to the bar. During the moment when Chen Xingyue was on the phone, Suan was approached by another handsome guy again. "I've been paying attention to you for a long time. Would you be interested in dancing together?" Chen Xingyue quickly shielded his little treasure, feeling a bit embarrassed. He bit someone. Su Yuan held Chen Xingyue tightly. He leaned in to sniff his neck. "Uncle, why do you smell a bit sour?" "Such a sour feeling." Chen Xingyue refused to admit it. "Young master, I think you're overthinking it." Su Yuan hooked his arm around Chen Xingyue's neck, calling him uncle. "It seems I smelled it wrong. It's the scent of alcohol that got you tipsy." "Uncle," Xue Yan's appearance like this made Chen Xingyue a little overwhelmed. Xue Yan pretended to be obedient, and continued teasing Master Cheng. "Given the current atmosphere, shouldn't we be doing something?" Chen Xingyue couldn't hold back, and went straight for a passionate kiss. It was unclear how long the kiss lasted. Even I couldn't quite see it clearly. "Young master, there's a unique scent on you." "What kind of scent?" Chen Xingyue, unable to stop himself, continued his actions. "It's the smell of blood, the scent of a hunter." "Young master, are you aware how wolves in the wild choose their mates?" During a brief pause in the conversation, sank his teeth directly into Su Yuan's neck. Chen Xingyue licked the blood off his lips. "Now you belong to me." Thought uncle was already eccentric enough, but what I didn't expect was encountering Su Yuan, who hides his strength behind a facade of weakness. Su Yuan grabbed Chen Xingyue by the collar and kissed him deeply, even biting his lip until it bled. Feeling the sharp pain, Chen Xingyue shoved Su Yuan away. "Uncle Chen, I'm not one of those docile people around you, the kind who knows how to please their master, like a little lamb. If you bite me, I'll fight back with everything I've got." Su Ran's fierce determination was something Chen Xingyue had never witnessed before. Suddenly, Chen Xingyue felt a different kind of emotion toward Su Ran. Before he could think it through further, his body instinctively wrapped around Su Ran in a hug. "You're truly adorable. I'm starting to feel a bit fond of you." "Uncle, is it alright if I stay here tonight?" Su Bing mentioned. He had something to take care of, so he couldn't come to pick me up. after getting permission from Uncle. Su Ran was extremely pleased with himself. Take your time with your shower, Uncle. I'll get all cleaned up too, and then warm up your bed for you. After Chen Xingyue finished her shower and returned to the bedroom, Su Ran was already sleeping like a log. He would occasionally throw his leg over Chen Xingyue's stomach. This isn't just a case of bad sleeping posture. It's practically a complete lack of any sleeping posture. Su Ran's behavior was becoming increasingly outrageous. In the end, he simply clung to Chen Xingyue, and even nestled himself into his embrace, all while making indescribable noises. Chen Xingyue believed all of this was Su Ran's deliberate mischief. In anger, he grabbed the soundly sleeping Su Ran, and shouted at him to get out if he didn't want to sleep. Engaging in these pointless little tricks is unnecessary. After saying this, Chen Xingyue felt she might have gone too far. She reluctantly let go of Su Ran. Su Ran, caught in the act, pretended to look innocent and well-behaved. She rested her head on Chen Xingyue's lap. Uncle Chen, do you often bring men home overnight? Chen Xingyue flicked Su Ran's forehead lightly. Do I really seem that unreliable to you? Chen Xingyue said this with a hint of exasperation. Su Yuan felt as if he had hit the jackpot. He instantly became energized. His face lit up with anticipation as he looked at Chen Xingyue. Does this mean I'm the first one to sleep in Uncle's bed? I'm pushing my luck like this, and Uncle still tolerates it. Uncle, do you like me? When Su Yuan asked this, Chen Xingyue felt as if his thoughts had been completely exposed. He got up and prepared to leave. With a serious expression, I don't play with feelings. You've got the wrong person. After saying that, he left the room. He closed the door behind him. Chen Xingyue's attempts to avoid also gave Su Ran a sense of triumph. Then, with a playful tone, he replied, what a coincidence. I am too. 12 years ago, the Su family held an unrivaled position, having absolute influence in the Ba society and even the theater. Su Zhengqin was hunted down by his enemies. He was fortunately saved by a 20-year-old named Chen Xingyue. It happened that the Eight Harmony Society was short of one member at the time. Su Zhengqin brought Chen Xingyue into the Eight Harmony Society. Chen Xingyue, through his exceptional personal abilities, became a part of the Eight Harmony Society. As the only council member not from a powerful family, Suan reviewed all of Chen Xingyue's experiences. It seemed that Chen Xingyue indeed had some remarkable capabilities. A young man who came from a slum. It took 10 years to rise to the position of second in command in the Eight Triads. That is undoubtedly impressive. But he happened to cross paths with Su Ran. Chen Xingyue thinks he can overthrow the Su family with just this. How naive he truly is. Didn't you believe that you had everything under your control? Then let's play this game properly, and see who loses control first. The game of cat and mouse has officially begun. As long as Chen Xingyue goes somewhere to make a wish, it can always be found. No matter how impatient Chen Xingyue becomes, he effortlessly manages to defuse the situation. Uncle Chen, you seem a bit different today. Is there something on your mind? It turned out that today is the anniversary of Chen Xingyue's mother's passing. Su Yuan immediately clung to Chen Xingyue's arm, and looked at Chen Xingyue with sincere eyes. You must be feeling very sad right now. Chen Chang was suddenly met with unexpected concern. You felt momentarily dazed. He instinctively reached out his hand to touch Su Ran. When his hand brushed against Su Ran's cheek, he abruptly snapped back to reality. Immediately, he pushed Su Ran away in distaste. Stop rubbing against me for no reason. At that moment, Su Ran began sharing his story with Chen Chang. I don't have a mother either. I heard others say. My parents passed away when I was very young. I went abroad at the age of 8. For the past 12 years, I've been on my own. So I've spent very little time with my family members. Even the time Grandpa spent with you was longer than the time he spent with me, his own grandchild. Chen Xingye comforted Su Ran, saying that you're still young. I have plenty of opportunities. Su Yan said casually again. I remember Grandpa used to talk about you a lot. It's impressive that you have this ability. You even went as far as saying you're my role model. Not sure when it started. He stopped smiling whenever your name was mentioned. Hearing Su Yan say this, Chen Xingyue's expression instantly darkened. At that moment, both of them fell silent. Su Yan wanted to imitate Chen Xingyue's posture, but ended up losing balance, almost fell off the rooftop. Chen Xingyue reacted swiftly, grabbing his collar in one quick motion, then pulled him tightly into her embrace. Beneath them lay an endless abyss. If they fell down, the consequences would be unimaginable. Su Yan teased Chen Xingyue. Seems like you don't dislike me as much as you claim. Still shaken, Chen Xingyue was visibly annoyed, and started lecturing Su Yan again. Are you aware that this is incredibly dangerous? Su Yan, however, felt that it was entirely his uncle's fault. Isn't it all because he learned it from him? Su Yan was quite intrigued. Why does his uncle insist on becoming the president? Isn't it exhausting to play those manipulative games? Chen Xingyue was also very straightforward. Other than money and power, what else can a person pursue in life? What else is there to strive for in a lifetime? Su Yang deliberately rested his head on Chen Xingyue's shoulder. What the uncle truly lacks isn't money, it's companionship that he really needs. Then playfully added, a charming and adorable wife like me. Uncle, why not give it some thought? Chen Xingyue responded seriously, saying that relationships can be quite troublesome. For someone as young as you, it's perfectly normal not to understand many things. Su Yang was relentless and refused to give in, once again pressing Chen Xingyue, saying that uncle is already in his 30s, and still hasn't been with anyone. Is that really true? But uncle remained completely unmoved by this. The more indifferent uncle acted, the more Su Ran wanted to conquer him. Uncle, have you ever heard of this saying? Some say that love is the surrender of free will, and the gradual loss of self-awareness. When you fall in love with someone, you might end up becoming someone unrecognizable as yourself. Isn't it so romantic? Su Ran widened his eyes and looked toward his uncle, hoping for his uncle to reminisce. His uncle glanced at Su Ran, and merely replied with a simple, "It's indeed quite terrifying." As for Chen Xingyue, after years of struggling and enduring hardship, he had witnessed the darkness at the bottom, and had also seen the glamour of the Bach society. In comparison, power is truly the most important thing. Emotions are nothing more than a burden. Su Yan noticed his uncle remained unmoved. He confidently assured his uncle once again, I don't find love to be something to fear. If I ever have someone I truly care for, even if it means risking everything, I'd still be willing. No matter what the final outcome may be, I will do everything I can to fight for it. Only by striving for it, I won't feel regretful. After listening to Su Ran's words, Chen Xingyue remarked with deep meaning, being obsessed with love leads nowhere. Once you've experienced more, you won't think like this anymore. Su Ran looked completely indifferent. Yeah, I'm totally into love, because I've been spoiled by my family since I was a child. I know what it feels like to be favored and cherished. That's why I'm willing to genuinely love someone. Chen Xingyue expressed a sense of helplessness. My young master, the world isn't as wonderful as you imagine. Su Ran cautiously glanced at Chen Xingyue. Well, it's not that bad either. After saying that, he reached out his hand toward his uncle. Even though we weren't close before we stood on opposing sides, but I'm really glad to have met you. Chen Xingyue looked at Su Ran with a puzzled expression, stood there in a daze for quite a while without reacting, seemed lost for a long moment. Seeing this, Xu Ran quickly grabbed Chen Xingyue's hand. Your silence means you agree. The two of them shared many more conversations. Chen Xingyue also opened up his heart to Xu Ran. During their chat, it came to light. Chen Xingyue was born in a small, impoverished town. Because his mother was abandoned, he was born without ever having a father. Because it was a case of having a child out of wedlock, it became the subject of widespread controversy. When he turned 12 years old, his mother could no longer bear the situation, and abandoned him, leaving this world behind. Chen Xingyue recounted his story with an expressionless face. Meanwhile, Su Ran listened attentively from the side. Suddenly, he felt a different kind of emotion towards the uncle in front of him. A unique feeling began to stir within him for this uncle. Then, he embraced Uncle Chen Xingyue once again. If you feel sad, just let yourself cry. I've got a shoulder here for you to lean on. The sudden clinginess of the young master left Chen Xingyue completely at a loss. He shoved Su Yuan away. Are you some kind of octopus? Always so fond of hugging. After being pushed away, Su Yuan clung to Chen Xingyue again. I know you don't have the love of your parents, but that's okay. I can take their place and comfort you. We are friends. It might be the effect of the alcohol. Su Yuan seemed especially clingy tonight. Suddenly being wrapped up by such a clingy person, the uncle seemed quite helpless. This was clearly an attempt to take advantage of him. Chen Xingyue remarked. Actually, he had met Su Yuan a long time ago. Back then, he was still making a living in the underground city. Su Zhengqin went out of his way to celebrate your birthday. He invited numerous wealthy businessmen and prominent figures. At that time, you were just a child around 6 or 7 years old. A small, delicate figure, surrounded by people who cherished you, much like a little prince straight out of a fairy tale. Later, Su Zhengqin faced an assassination attempt. To protect you, he decided to send you abroad. Not long after you left, I joined the Bach Society. The day you returned to the country was actually the second time we met. Chen Xingyue glanced at Su Ran with a teasing expression. Su Ran also widened his eyes and looked back at Chen Xingyue. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted in an unexpected way. It was unclear whether it was the effect of alcohol or some other reason. Su Ran suddenly fell headfirst into Chen Xingyue's embrace. He felt Su Ran was just like a child, and had no sense of caution or guard against him. If it weren't for being with him today, just by looking at his delicate and soft appearance, wouldn't he be devoured without even leaving a trace? He only hoped the Su family could keep a close watch on him. After placing Su Ran properly, when he was about to leave, Su Ran suddenly grabbed his arm tightly, and then wrapped his arms around him, resting his head on Chen Xinyue's shoulder, whimpering with a sobbing tone. "Don't go, don't leave me behind. My head is killing me." Chen Xinyue reached out to feel Su Ran's forehead. Could it be because he stayed on the rooftop in the wind for too long earlier? Before he could figure it out, his hand was suddenly gripped tightly by Su Ran, and pressed against Su Ran's face. Then he opened his eyes wide and looked at Chen Xinyue with an innocent expression. Maybe it was the effect of the alcohol. Su Ran's face was slightly flushed. "Uncle, maybe if you give me a kiss, it won't hurt anymore." Chen Xinyue raised an eyebrow, sensing a feeling of being toyed with by this boy. Immediately after, Su Ran grabbed his tie, pulling him closer. Chen Xinyue no longer pretended to be a gentleman, and directly aimed a chop at Su Ran's neck. Su Ran refused to back down, attempting to slip his hand inside Chen Xinyue's clothing, restlessly roaming across his body. Chen Xinyue firmly grabbed Su Ran's arm, stopped his actions. "Cut it out. If this continues, I won't guarantee I won't do something to you." Su Ran stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. At this moment, he looked just like a little greedy cat. "Uncle, then don't hold back." Chen Xinyue was never much of a gentleman to begin with. Provoked by Su Ran like this, he no longer restrained himself. He pressed Su Ran down beneath him. "This is what you asked for. Since you want it so badly, I'll give you what you desire. Don't start regretting later and making a fuss. At crucial moments, there's always someone acting out of line." The car made a couple of honking sounds. It turned out to be Su Ran's bodyguard. Su Bing walked over to them. If it weren't for his appearance, perhaps today is the day to win over Su Ran. Chen Xinyue frowned deeply. Her face showed clear displeasure. Su Bing walked toward Chen Xinyue with an impassive expression. "Xing, I truly apologize for disturbing your enjoyment." Su Bing headed toward the car door and opened it, then looked at Su Ran. "The president instructed it must be done before midnight. Young Master Xiaoran must return home safely." This statement seemed directed at the young master, but in reality, it was a warning to Chen Xinyue. Chen Xinyue was extremely displeased. He stepped in front of Su Bing. His tone was far from friendly. "What if I refuse to hand it over?" Su Bing remained expressionless. "Young Master Xiaoran is kind-hearted and pure. He poses no threat to you whatsoever." "Sir, you really shouldn't let your crooked intentions target him." The two locked eyes and stood their ground for a moment. Neither of them said a word. In the end, it was Chen Xinyue who gave in. He turned around and threw a curt remark at Su Bing, telling him to get lost. At that moment, he seemed to have sobered up a bit too. Su Ran was just a kid. Why did he have to act so confused today? Su Bing carried Su Ran out of the car. He gave Chen Xinyue a polite nod, signaling him to take Su Ran and prepare to leave. As they were leaving, Chen Xinyue still left him with a few words of advice. "Su Bing, since you've chosen to side with the Su family, if one day you end up as a stray dog, don't regret choosing the wrong master." Su Bing seriously stated that he only has one master, and his duty is to protect the young master. After being taken away, Su Ran finally dropped his facade. He thought it was such a pity not to win over Chen Xinyue today. He was so close to succeeding. At this moment, he felt deeply unwilling to accept the outcome. On his way back home, he couldn't help but remain curious about Chen Xinyue's feelings. Unable to resist, he started asking Su Bing for information. "Su Bing, how long have you been with the Bahiwi? Has Chen Xinyue ever been in a relationship before?" Su Bing answered truthfully, saying he had been with the Bahiwi for 6 years. "I've never heard of Mr. Ching being romantically linked with anyone. There have never been any rumors about him. Someone with a personality like Mr. Ching's is probably a highly career-focused individual, and demonstrates great restraint when it comes to relationships." Su Ran pouted slightly. Though she felt a tinge of disappointment, she still made an effort to hide it, acknowledging that his mind is solely on his career. Yet she forced a smile that betrayed her true feelings. "But what I truly appreciate about him is this quality of his. How amazing it is to see a man filled with desire." Su Bing kindly tried to dissuade Su Yuan. "Young master, you're just too naive. Qingye is not the right one for you. You should find someone who is wholeheartedly good to you. Su Bing felt as if she were breaking up a couple. This left Su Yuan feeling somewhat displeased. I couldn't care less about anyone else. I only want a challenging man like Chen Xingyue. The harder something is to handle, the more interesting it becomes to conquer. It's hard to tell if Su Ran is driven by competitiveness, or if he genuinely cares. In order to win over the uncle, Su Ran shows up every day to wait around. Uncle Chen Xingyue, why not join us for a meal later? Chen Xingyue stated that he has been very busy lately. Young master, it might be better not to visit again for now. After saying this, Chen Xingyue turned around and left. Ever since that night when the incident occurred, Chen Xingyue had been intentionally or unintentionally avoiding Su Ran. Su Ran actually understood this, but he simply refused to give up. He believed that this was Chen Xingyue's way of playing hard to get. Chen Xingyue, on the other hand, was very clear about what he wanted. Although Su Ran did catch his attention quite a bit, that was definitely not going to be an obstacle to derail his plans. In the evening at the bar, Chen Xingyue and Huaying were sitting on the couch, sipping on their drinks. Huaying pointed at the guy across from them, who looked utterly confused. What exactly is going on between you and him? That kid has been hanging out with us for several days now. As expected, he was referring to Su Ran. Huaying continued to probe, curious about his friend. To be honest, do you have feelings for him? Caught off guard, Chen Xingyue looked annoyed. Just tell Huaying to get lost. Huaying, understanding the situation, immediately stood up and prepared to leave. Really dislike it. Then I'll go charm you. Don't regret it later. With that, turned around and walked towards Su. Nan and Chen Xingyue looked at the two with an annoyed expression. Didn't expect the two to be having such a pleasant conversation. Before long, Huaying came back looking disappointed. Chen Xingyue calmly asked him, "Why did you come back so quickly?" Huaying initially planned to invite Su Ran to dance, but Su Ran responded with a sweet smile and said, "Get lost. I don't play with lackeys." Huaying couldn't help but burst into laughter. Young Master Su also mentioned, "To send that old, stubborn dog next to me instead." After hearing this, Chen Xingyue struggled to suppress his anger. Huaying kept laughing uncontrollably, completely oblivious. "Big brother, he actually called you an old fossil." Chen Xingyue finally reached his breaking point. He demanded Huaying to immediately take action. "Go find a few people to serve drinks right now." Huaying instantly stopped laughing. He looked at Chen Xingyue, utterly confused. "You usually don't like this kind of thing, do you?" But in the next moment, Chen Xingyue had people on both sides, enjoying the attention. This scene made Su Ran burn with anger. "Almost held back my frustration to the point of hurting myself. You really know how to have fun, Chen Xingyue, but he's no pushover either. Get me a whole bunch of handsome guys immediately. I want young ones, full of energy and vitality." In no time at all, Su Ran found himself surrounded by a group of muscular men. Seeing the vibrant world around him, Su Ran couldn't help but have his eyes light up with excitement. Faced with these flowers, one couldn't help but be utterly captivated. Reaching out, they couldn't resist touching the flowers with eager hands. At this moment, one of the flowers leaned closer to Su Ran. "It must be your first time here, young master. I've never seen you here before." Su Ran leaned in close to the flower's ear. "If you perform well, from now on, I'll be a regular of yours." This scene was clearly seen by the person across from them. Chen Xingyue didn't squeeze in. It really made the Hokage quite anxious. He shouted right away, demanding if that guy was drunk. "Do you think you should step in and take care of it?" Chen Xingyue pretended to stay calm. He picked up his glass, trying his best to hide it. "He wants to mess around on his own. What does that have to do with me?" No sooner had the words left his mouth than they saw Su Ran being lifted high by the flowers. It seemed he was preparing to leave. This meant that Huaying could no longer keep his composure. "Big brother, if you don't step in now, I'm afraid something serious is really going to happen." Chen Xingyue couldn't hold back any longer either. He walked toward Su Ran, furiously grabbing Su Ran's arm. "Have you caused enough trouble yet?" Su Ran also lost her temper, yanking her arm back decisively. "Why is it okay for you to see other men? Am I not allowed to look for Lele?" Chen Xingyue no longer showed any kindness to Su Ran. He grabbed him by the collar. "Do you still want to remain as the president? Aren't you afraid of this getting out?" Su Ran looked completely indifferent. With a cold sneer, he said, "I couldn't care less. After all, it will all end up being mine anyway." Leaning closer to Chen Xingyue's ear, "What right do you have to tell me what to do?" Those words completely infuriated Chen Xingyue. He stopped wasting words with Suan. Without hesitation, he lifted her up and headed straight for the door. Suan struggled fiercely, shouting at the top of her lungs to let her go. "Didn't you enjoy avoiding me? Why are you pretending to care and showing up now?" Chen Xingyue took her into a private room. Suan refused to back down. She wailed and cried like a banshee. "All you ever do is bully me. There are so many young and wealthy heirs in the city for me to choose from. I don't care at all about an old man like you." This made Chen Xingyue feel extremely irritated. He suppressed his anger with great effort. Then he handed Su Ran a tissue. "Alright, stop crying now." Only then did Su Ran finally calm down. Noticing Chen Xingyue staring at his phone the entire time, not even sparing him a proper glance, he directly grabbed onto Chen Xingyue's arm, started applying it to his face. Chen Xingyue immediately flew into a rage. "Filthy," Su Ran glanced at Chen Xingyue, seriously asked, "Are you still planning to go back and find those men?" Chen Xingyue avoided Su Ran's gaze, feeling a bit guilty. "No, it was just acting for the moment." Su Ran turned Chen Xingyue's face toward him, then sat on Chen Xingyue's lap. "You're truly someone who toys with others' feelings. Are you the same way with me?" Chen Xingyue clasped Su Ran's hand firmly, trying to stop her from taking the next action. "Young master, you're overthinking this. We are merely partners. How could there be any emotion between hands?" Su Ran refused to give in. He leaned in closer to Chen Xingyue. "But I don't want to be your enemy. Can't we just be good friends?" Chen Xingyue turned his head to the side, unable to meet Su Ran's gaze. "Lately, rumors at the company say I'm involved with you. Maybe we should keep our distance for now." After hearing what Chen Xingyue said, tears welled up in Su Ran's eyes out of grievance. "We've already eaten together, and even gone out on dates. How does that not suggest intention? You're bold enough to act but not to admit it." Chen Xingyue couldn't stand seeing Su Ran in such a state. In the end, he couldn't harden his heart. He gently lifted Su Ran's head, and pressed his lips against her reddened ones, murmuring apologies as he did so. Just as he was about to lose control, Su Ran asked Chen Xingyue, "If I become useless in the future, would you kill me?" Chen Xingyue continued with his actions. "No, I have never once thought of taking your life." Su Yuan held Chen Xingyue's head and made him look at her. "So, do you want to have a passionate and unforgettable romance with me?" Seeing Chen Xingyue hesitating without giving an answer, Su Ran started to tear up again, looking pitiful yet determined. With a serious expression on her face, "Chen Xingyue, if you're only doing this on a whim and just playing around with me, then it's better to end things right here. At least, for you. I am merely a character playing along with the act. Isn't that right?" According to Su Ran's words, leaving Chen Xingyue momentarily unsure of how to respond, because even he couldn't figure out the current situation. How should their relationship be defined? He couldn't come up with a clear answer. Seeing that he still didn't speak, Su Ran lowered his head in deep disappointment. "Actually, I understand as well. Someone as ambitious as you, never truly falling in love with anyone. It was me being too naive. I mistakenly thought your repeated closeness meant you had feelings for me." Then he gave another small smile. "Thank you for being with me during this time. Next time, I won't trouble you again." Su Ran's tactic of playing hard to get really had Chen Xingyue completely under control. Chen Xingyue almost thought she was the bad one in the relationship. He wanted to defend himself, but somehow, he couldn't figure out how to start speaking. He wanted to reach out and gently touch Su Ran, only to have Suan avoid his gesture. "Uncle, could you let me be alone for a moment? I beg you." And then, Huaying spotted a dark face passing right in front of him. Huaying couldn't understand what had just happened inside. "Big brother, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so pale?" But commotion outside didn't escape Suan's notice. Don't let it slip your mind. Suan is someone who hides their strength while pretending to be harmless. The real worry is that in the end, the uncle might be the one being outsmarted. Ever since their last unpleasant fallout, Su Ran has shown nothing but a cold attitude towards the uncle, even going as far as pretending they don't know him. This has made the uncle start to feel uneasy. During meetings, he kept a close eye on Su Ran. Although Su Ran seems indifferent on the surface, in reality, his mind is entirely preoccupied with the Enchanted. Even during the meeting, he was completely focused on sketching his uncle. When did Chen Xingling suddenly appear behind him? He had no idea. Caught daydreaming, Su Ran immediately covered the storybook in his hands, with a face full of exaggerated annoyance. "You're so irritating. Weren't you worried about others finding out about us? So why are you leaning in closer?" Glaring at the flustered young master, Chen Xingyue seemed even more amused. He leaned forward to look at Su. Who I choose to get close to is entirely up to me. Even if you accuse me of toying with emotions, so be it. You are my bargaining chip. Don't even think about escaping, no matter what. Before leaving, I reminded Su Ran not to wander around in the coming days. Stay put at the Su family home. Don't go anywhere. Su Ran watched Chen Qingyue's departing figure. He muttered softly to himself, "Let's see how long you can keep pretending." Then turned to look at the scene from earlier. It seemed like he had come up with his plan. That night, he drove alone, preparing to head to the underground city. On the way there, Chen Qingyue called. Su Ran had no intention of responding. He merely stared coldly at the phone. Su Ran didn't pick up the call for a long while. Chen Qingyue could already guess what was happening. Su Ran was clearly avoiding him on purpose. Although he felt irritated, his main emotion was still concern. The phone finally connected. Chen Qingyue let out a sigh of relief. "Where did you go? I heard from the Su family that you didn't come home." Su Ran responded with obvious impatience. "I was too exhausted from work, so I went to find something fun to do. I heard the underground city is bustling, planning to go and check it out." The person on the other end of the line immediately sounded displeased. "Didn't I tell you to stay at the Su family for a few days?" Su Ran sneered. "The underground city belongs to the Su family. How could it not count as going home?" Chen Qingyue still felt uneasy. "That place has been quite unstable recently. Is Su Bin by your side?" Su Ran immediately sneered. "Uncle Chen, why are you so concerned about me? That doesn't seem right. If something were to happen to me, it would actually be good news for you." Su Ran's words made Chen Qingyue extremely displeased. He suppressed his anger and said, "Without you, Su Zhengqing would simply find someone else to be his pawn. I just don't want to disrupt my plans by switching people." Su Ran grew even more impatient, hung up the phone directly, tossed it aside. "Then why are you wasting time talking? The Eight Harmony Society is mostly controlled by Chen Qingyue. If you want to compete with him, the only option is to ally with the richest Lu family in Jucheng. All these years, the Lu family has been trying to find a way into the Eight Harmony Society. This might just be the opportunity. The Lu family has a mistress. The eldest young master of the Lu family, Lu Xiao, has been reclusive for years due to a severe injury to his right leg, making it impossible for the outside world to reach him. Now, only through the underground city can anyone get close to something related to him. The second young master of the Lu family, Lu Yao, is an illegitimate child, known for his flirtatious nature, constantly surrounded by scandals. He enjoys dressing up like his older brother, and frequently visits various entertainment venues. Maybe I could run into him here as well. Su Ran had just arrived at the underground city and was preparing to enter, but was stopped by the guards outside the gate. "Sir, please show your pass." Su Ran immediately put on an innocent look. "What should I do if I don't have a pass? Is it possible for you to let me in?" The guard waved him off. "No, this is a rule set by the underground city. Without a pass, no one is allowed to enter." Seeing that this move didn't work, Su Ran pointed to herself. "Do you even know who I am, daring to stop me here?" When Su Ran asked this, the bodyguard started sizing her up and down. Looking this attractive, could she be some rich heir's secret lover? After a long while, the bodyguard still couldn't figure it out. Su Ran looked visibly upset. At that moment, someone approached them. "This is my friend. Let him pass." Su Ran turned around and called out to Uncle Li. The bodyguard's attitude changed completely. He bent down and respectfully greeted Mr. Li. "Please, come in." Su Ran was taken into the underground city by Li Bowen. Su Ran held onto Li Bowen's arm. With a seemingly obedient demeanor, "Uncle Li, do you come here often? I heard that there are plenty of beauties in the Qingyin Hall here. Could you show me the way?" But what was unexpected? Li Bowen swung a stick directly at Su Ran. Su Ran immediately begged for mercy, asking why he was being hit. Li Bowen angrily pointed at Su Ran. "Who told you to come to a place like this? If your mother were still around, don't you dare drive me to the brink of anger." On the way to taking Su Ran to the underground city, he reminded Su Ran of a few things again. "In a moment, I need to attend the auction. You better not wander off. If you dare wander off, I'll break your legs." Su Ran pouted his lips and obediently agreed. He was a bit curious why this person seemed just like second uncle. Everyone seems to enjoy controlling him. At the auction, Su Ran was so bored he almost fell asleep, still muttering under his breath. "I really don't understand what's the point of this kind of event." Li Bowen looked at Su Ran with disdain. "Every once in a while, the dungeon transports some rare treasures from all over the world. Countless people eagerly wait to find the precious items they've been dreaming of. You really have no sense of value." Su Ran had an indifferent expression. "Whatever I want, My grandfather will always find it for me. There's no need for me to search in places like this. Those words might not be harsh, but they are deeply insulting, leaving Lee Bowen momentarily speechless in anger. At that moment, a voice was heard. Next up is the final item in today's auction. Starting bid set at 20 million. This price immediately caught the curiosity of both Lee Bowen and Sue Ran. They simultaneously looked toward the auction item. But to their surprise, it wasn't an object. Rather, it was a man with long hair, his limbs tightly bound by chains, securely confined within a transparent glass container. He was gazing at the two with innocent eyes. The man in the cage was being auctioned, starting at 20 million. The bidding reached 30 million. It seems there are quite a few people interested in buying it. Unexpectedly, I found these people to be incredibly dull, Lee Bowen remarked. This is just how things are in wealthy circles. When they have free time, they often buy a pet to take home and raise. To them, the sole purpose of money is to bring themselves pleasure. For them, money exists only to satisfy their own desires. Some things, once they appear in a place like this, take on an entirely different meaning. Its definition completely changes the moment it shows up in such an environment. The man inside the cage seemed startled. He looked fearfully at the crowd below the stage. Lee Bowen cautiously probed Sue Ran's thoughts. Something as rare and appealing as this. You could try keeping one for fun as well. Sue Ran shook his head indifferently. I have no interest in weaklings like these cats and dogs. Then he added coldly, what I want is a wolf that can devour. The auction came to an end. Sue Ran walked away. Unexpectedly, Lee Bowen kept following him. No matter what he did, he couldn't shake him off, because this time, his main objective was the two young masters of the Liu family. He pretended to head home, and even made it a point to greet Lee Bowen. Uncle, it's getting late. Grandpa is calling me back for dinner. Lee Bowen immediately grabbed Sue Ran. Why rush? There's a pool hall ahead. Tell me about your purpose for coming here. Dinner is on me. After gaining more insight, Lee Bowen found it very intriguing. Why Sue Ran is interested in the eldest son of the Liu family. Sue Ran focused intently on playing pool. I heard he's a handsome guy with mixed heritage. Of course, I'm interested. It's just a pity that he's disabled. Lee Bowen shared his perspective. So what if he's disabled? He's naturally intelligent. He doesn't rely on his legs. He's still outstanding in the theater city. I think the old man from the Liu family will still leave the inheritance to him in the future. It's just that after his leg injury, he stopped socializing. If you want to win him over, you'll need to put in some effort. Before coming, Sue Ran had inquired about the two brothers. Liu Xiao became quite unruly after his leg injury. His personality turned sensitive and suspicious. Now, getting close to him has become very difficult. As for Liu Yao, he's just a slacker who only puts on a good front. He has absolutely no value to be exploited. This left Sue Ran feeling quite clueless. Lee Bowen asked Sue Ran if he had any interest in the art exhibition. Sue Ran gave Lee Bowen a blank look. Then he added that there would be an art exhibition at the convention center on the 24th. This is the only event where Liu Xiao will make an appearance. Sue Ran immediately showed interest. At that moment, he already had an idea forming in his mind. I am absolutely fascinated by art exhibitions. Meanwhile, at the Liu family's villa, Liu Xiao was furiously upset because he couldn't create what he envisioned. Everything here is just trash. He rubbed his head in frustration, repeatedly questioning himself about why. Why can't I create what I want? At that moment, Liu Yao appeared outside the door. Liu Xiao immediately composed himself. His expression turned serious. Do you need something? Liu Yao stepped closer to the room. I have something urgent I want to discuss with you. Before Liu Yao could finish speaking, Liu Xiao cut her off and said, leave. This is my space. Just say what you need from the doorway. Liu Yao had no choice but to step back to the doorway. He clenched his fists tightly. His expression remained calm. The project in the southern district ran into issues due to problems with construction materials. This has caused the project to come to a standstill. Now other materials have had their prices raised. The costs have already far exceeded the original budget. Liu Xiao casually mentioned a group called the Eightfold Society. Liu Yao seemed to not understand what he meant. Afterward, Liu Xiao gave him further instructions. Go find Su Hanchuan from the Bahiwi. He has access to a large inventory of goods for trade, and information about material suppliers. As long as the terms offered are sincere, purchasing a new batch of materials in a short time should not be a difficult task. he became anxious and started losing his composure. His little white rabbit was actually avoiding him and spending time with another man. Before parting, she repeatedly reminded him not to go out. If it weren't for the informant telling him, "Tonight, Su Ran has been with Li Bowen the whole time, and only just now left the underground city," he would have thought Su Yuan was genuinely so obedient and well-behaved. Chen Xingyue, upon hearing the news, immediately lost her composure. He promptly dialed Su Yuan's phone number. Right now, he just wanted to find Su Yuan and get some answers. But no one was answering the call. This made him even more restless. No matter what, he was determined to see Su Yuan tonight, so he set aside what he was working on. He got in the car and started heading home. Meanwhile, Su Yuan and Li Bowen were also getting ready to leave. They ended up sitting in the same car. On the way back, Su Ran grew worried that his visit to the underground city tonight might be exposed. He immediately put on an innocent expression and gave Li Bowen a pleading look. "Uncle Li, when we get back, please don't tell my second uncle that I was in the underground city. Otherwise, I'll end up getting hit." Li Bowen looked at Su Ran with a doting expression. His tone carried a hint of teasing. "Now I finally understand there's a place you shouldn't have gone. I actually hope Su Hanchuan would keep a closer eye on you." Su Ran became upset, muttering under his breath that all adults are equally boring. Li Bowen burst into hearty laughter right next to him. Just then, Su Ran's phone started ringing non-stop. Su Ran took out his phone and gave it just a brief glance. His expression instantly became awkward. He widened his eyes and froze in place. Li Bowen noticed something unusual about him. He turned his head to ask what was wrong. Su Ran pretended to stay calm. He squinted and forced a smile. He stammered, "And nothing." But the phone in his hand kept ringing. He took another careful look at the text message. It turned out to be a text message from Chen Xingyue. "Arrive at my house within half an hour. Otherwise, young Master Su will have to wait and see." Underneath the entire billboard, there was also a photo taken earlier when he was threatened. It seems there's no avoiding Chen Xingyue, the plague, tonight. He calmly looked out the window. He had to think for a moment about how he should explain it to Li Bowen. After a while, he smiled as he spoke to Li Bowen, addressing him as Uncle Li. "I suddenly have something urgent to attend to. Could you help by giving me a ride somewhere?" "Sure." Li Bowen didn't ask any further questions. He agreed without hesitation. Su Ran was fine with it. Half an hour later, Su Ran was dropped off at the location he had specified. Li Bowen recognized the place. He casually remarked, "So late at night, what is Su Ran doing here?" The driver picked up the conversation. "Lately, people in the Bahiwi have been saying, young Master Su and Chen Xingyue are dating." Li Bowen immediately expressed that it was impossible. Chen Xingyue is eyeing the position of the chairman. They can only be rivals. The driver went on to say that Chen Xingyue might take an unconventional approach, planning to use young Master Su to gain control over Bahiwi. Young Master Su is still very young. In terms of strategy and depth of character, it's clear that Chen Xingyue, have weathered countless battles. Li Bowen sees through everything but chooses not to say it aloud. Who ends up taking advantage of whom is still uncertain. "Let's go." Su Ran followed the ant to the doorstep of Chen Xingyue. After learning that Su Ran had been brought to the ant, Chen Xingyue promptly sent her away. The ant left. Su Ran then opened the door to the room. "Uncle Chen, I'm coming in." Before Su Ran could even react, Chen Xingyue abruptly pulled Su Ran into the room. Then he pinned her against the wall. Chen Xingyue looked like a ravenous wolf, almost devouring her completely. Once Su Ran realized what was happening, she struggled desperately. She told Chen Xingyue to stop for a moment. She wasn't ready for this yet, but Chen Xingyue wouldn't listen at all. At that moment, he resembled a wild beast. He only wanted to vent his dissatisfaction and desires. Then he completely unwrapped Su Yuan's outer packaging. His hands uncontrollably reached out to an unknown place. Su Yuan immediately realized what was about to happen next. He forcefully pushed Chen Xingyue away. This time, he was truly furious. He scolded Chen Xingyue, saying it was so late to call him over, just to do something like this. "Are you out of your mind?" Chen Xingyue wiped the corner of his mouth. He looked at his prey with a wicked charm. "You are 6 minutes late. This is merely your punishment." The moment he saw Su Ran, he forced him against the wall. He grabbed him firmly and squeezed for a moment. His actions instantly provoked Su Ran's anger. "Are you out of your mind? Calling me over in the middle of the night? Was it just for something like this?" Chen Xingyue's face clearly showed his embarrassment after being scolded. He cast a cold glance at Su Ran. Come here, I have something important to discuss with you. Chen Xingyue powered on the computer. Su Ran focused on the files displayed on the computer screen. They were two bank transfer details belonging to Chairman Wang. Several large transactions were recorded. All of them were transferred from the same out-of-town bank. The earliest transaction dated back to a year ago. Suan started to have suspicions. It was Ms. Wang who revealed the details about that shipment. Chen Xingyue also thought this information was quite obvious. Those funds were transferred out of Shin International Bank. The legal representative of that bank is Shin Nanfeng, and his wife holds the position of executive minister in the city. Suan already had his own thoughts about this matter in mind. If Ms. Wang is indeed the mole, this would be a perfect opportunity to remove her from the picture, then look for another chance to bring in someone loyal to him into the group. Lost in thought for a moment, Chen Xingyue moved closer to him, without realizing that Chen Xingyue had leaned down so close to Su Ran that he felt uneasy. Snapping back to reality, Su Ran immediately pretended to look frightened. What should I do in this situation? Should I expose Director Wang in front of Grandpa? Chen Xingyue gently ruffled Su Ran's hair, reassuring him with a calming gesture. No need. There might be more than one mole. If we make the first move, it will only push others into a corner. Su Ran looked genuinely worried. Aren't you their partner? Is it really okay to tell me this? Chen Xingyue gazed down at Su Ran. I don't need any partners. Those people are merely pawns with a purpose. He then gently ruffled Su Ran's hair. But you're different. As those words were spoken, the pad of his finger rested on Su Yuan's thin lips. He found himself mesmerized as he kept looking. He held Su Yuan's chin and drew closer to himself. Just as he was about to take the next step, the sound of knocking on the door interrupted. Chen Xingyue, startled, quickly pushed Su Yuan under the desk. The person outside sounded urgent as they called, Master Chang. Someone just delivered a letter moments ago. The person who entered was the same aunt who had just sent Su Ran over. When she noticed that only Chen Xingyue was in the room, she couldn't help but curiously ask another question. Young Master Su isn't here, is he? Chen Xingyue pretended to stay calm. She went to take a shower. Su Ran, who was under the table, seemed to take an interest in the letter as well. The aunt handed the letter to Chen Xingyue. The person who delivered the letter left it at the door and quickly ran away. There wasn't any information written on it. Chen Xingyue took the envelope. She told the aunt to go back inside and rest. The aunt didn't seem like she planned to leave. It looked like she had more to say. She began gossiping. Last time when you drank, it was young Master Su who helped you get home. That young man is quite handsome. His personality is wonderful as well. I wonder if he has a significant other. The aunt's words immediately made the two perk up their ears. I couldn't understand why the aunt asked such a question. Chen Xingyue immediately responded to the aunt. He is still young. He is playful and not in a hurry to find a partner for now. Hearing this, Su Yuan was fuming with anger. Why did he get to answer on his behalf? The aunt looked determined to get to the bottom of it. Does he like men or women? When does he plan to start dating? Can he accept a partner who is older than him by a few years? A series of problems kept cropping up, leaving Chen Xingyue unable to cope for the moment. Zhang Yishu cherished that precious grandson of his so much, and who knows, he might end up marrying into some wealthy family, forming an alliance with a noble young lady. So there's really no need for you to worry about it. Under the table, Su Ran was toying with Chen Xingyue's hand, when a playful idea suddenly popped into his mind. Above the table, they discussed their topics, while beneath it, Su Ran did whatever he wanted. Chen Xingyue immediately picked up on the signal. Since the aunt was still present, he had no choice but to endure the pain, trying his best to keep his facial expression in check. The aunt truly worried herself to exhaustion. It turned out he had spent all this time trying to convey something to Chen Xingyue. Usually, you keep to yourself. There are hardly any men around you. If this drags on any longer, how could I possibly stop worrying? I think young Master Su is quite good. He's obedient and well-behaved. You both work at the same company. You should try to make an effort. Under the table. It seems like Su Ran still has no intention of stopping. The more there's an aunt around, the more outrageous Su Ran becomes. If this keeps going, Chen Xingyue might really lose control. He immediately got to his feet and bluntly told the lady it was time for her to leave. I understand, Auntie. You should head back and get some rest. The lady looked helpless, muttering as she left, saying this child just never listens. Make sure to rest early. After the lady left, Chen Xingyue noticed the blood under the table. You little brat, dare to bite randomly again next time. Watch out, or I'll knock your teeth out. Su Ran had a look on his face like he wasn't done playing. He crawled out from under the table. He knelt in front of Chen Xingyue, clinging to Chen Xingyue's leg. looking as obedient as ever. Why is that? How about I try a different approach? He shot a provocative glance at Chen Xingyue, waiting eagerly for his response. Little did they know, Chen Xingyue wasn't buying into his act at all. She turned around and tossed a disdainful comment at Su Ran, calling him shameless. "Get out," she said, and this time Su Ran was truly furious. How can a man behave like this? Completely lacking any sense of tact. Then he was thrown out, still holding up his pants. "If you don't like me, then don't call me over next time." That lousy man acted like a totally different person once he left Uncle. It was as if he had two entirely different faces. Su Ran never hesitates when taking action, and he certainly doesn't waste any opportunity that could benefit him. When it comes to securing an advantage for himself, he is nothing like Chen Xingyue, who is often indecisive. Upon learning that Chairman Wan was likely the mole, he immediately took decisive action. In less than half a day, a middle-aged man was tightly bound and restrained. Covered in bruises, he was brought before Su Ran. Faced with a scene like this, the man was absolutely terrified. Su Ran showed no hesitation at all. This was Su Ran's strongest game segment. He crouched in front of the man holding a wooden stick. "Chairman Wang, what kind of benefits did they offer you, that you can still maintain such stubbornness until now? If it's all about money, I can give you 10 times as much." The man, trembling with fear, quickly shook his head. "I truly have no idea what you're talking about." Su Ran responded in a sarcastic tone. "So, are you still just being stubborn? That means there's nothing left to discuss." He calmly took the blade handed to him by his subordinate. Then, he began to toy with the blade in his hand. "Let's play a thrilling game right now." As soon as the words left his mouth, Su Ran raised the blade in his hand, ready to bring it down. Yet, a smile appeared on his face. The knife was about to come down. The man's face twisted in fear. Panicking, he blurted out, "I will talk. I will talk right now." The blade stopped just inches from his face. It was so close, just a hair's breadth away. Su Ran pulled back the knife. He teased, "You're really no fun at all." The man finally let out a sigh of relief. He confessed everything to Su Ran. "It was indeed me who reported those 2 shipments. My mom was diagnosed with a terminal illness. It's in the advanced stage and requires a lot of money for treatment. Wang Zhe said that as long as I helped him with his tasks, he would find the best doctor to treat her for me. I admit to everything regarding my mom's situation. I can face death, but I beg you to save my mom. She can't be left without someone to care for her." Staring at the man in front of me, Shuran couldn't help but recall the words his grandfather once told him. People in this world are categorized into different levels. The lower class of people are like herbivores. Showing mercy to prey is nothing short of insulting the predator. The man knelt before Shuran, bowing his head repeatedly to the ground. All he wanted was for Shuran to spare his family. Seeing the man humbled and submissive, Shuran hesitated. Even though he had grown up under the care of his grandfather and second uncle, he never doubted the things they said. But today, seeing this man, for his mother, he was willing to go to such lengths. He couldn't help but soften his heart. Although he could spare his mother, wrongdoings must still be held accountable. She delivered a kick straight to the man's chest. She gave the man a chance to leave. Su Ran threw out a few words of advice. "The day after tomorrow, the Su Corporation has a meeting. Several board members of the Eightfold Association will be present. If you want to stay alive, you should know what needs to be done. As for your mother, I will arrange for her to be admitted to the best rehabilitation hospital in the city. Once she recovers, you must leave immediately. There's no place for you here anymore." Su Yuan's actions moved the man to tears. He choked up as he expressed his gratitude. "Thank you, young master, for your leniency towards those who didn't understand Su Yuan's actions." He couldn't help but add another remark. The young master let him off so easily. "The chairman's intention is to eliminate all potential threats." Su Yuan's face immediately turned cold. "I don't need you telling me how to handle things." When his mother was mentioned, Su Ran was genuinely curious. He couldn't understand what kind of emotion his mother truly represented. Stepping out of the room, Su Ran also appeared to be deep in thought. He absent-mindedly glanced at his phone. He hadn't even noticed when several cars appeared in front of him. Only the sound of a few honks caught his attention. It was at that moment he snapped back to reality. It turned out that Su Bing had come to pick Su Ran up. Inside the car, Su Bing glanced at the rearview mirror. He couldn't help but ask Su Ran, "Young lady, how did you end up in such a remote place?" Su Ran reverted to his usual carefree young master persona. He yawned lazily. He casually made up an excuse about taking a walk. Su Bing glanced at the rearview mirror, then continued to ask, "Lately, there's been talk at the company about the young master in Chinya's relationship. Is there some kind of misunderstanding?" Su Ran teased back. "Why? Are you curious too?" Su Bing remained expressionless. "If Aoba used some means to threaten you, we can handle it." Su Ran kept yawning repeatedly, looking utterly exhausted. "It was me relentlessly pursuing Chun Xingyue." She didn't agree. "Maybe I still didn't do well enough." Hearing this, Su Bing's expression immediately darkened. He didn't say anything more. After a while, he observed through the rearview mirror. Su Ran had already fallen quietly asleep. The sunlight fell on him. He looked so radiant. Su Bing couldn't help but glance at him a couple more times, then remarked, "Young master, you are remarkable." Chen Xingyue opened the envelope. He held the letter in his hand and examined it closely. "It's quite intriguing. It seems like someone is trying to win me over." Chen Xingyue's expression grew increasingly serious. "Is this asking me to completely crush the Su family? It seems he needs to come up with a solution first. He has to figure out how to handle his relationship with Su Ran. Clearly, he treasures it deeply, yet he insists on stubbornly denying it." This made Su Ran feel quite annoyed. Now there's a little shadow following him everywhere. No matter where he goes, it insists on tagging along. No matter how hard he tries, he just can't shake it off. Shuran feels completely uncomfortable right now. He couldn't bear it any longer. There was no need to endure it anymore. He finally unleashed his anger on Su Bing. "How long are you planning to keep following me? Can you give me some personal space?" Su Bing responded with a blank expression. "A few days ago, due to my negligence, the young master had to go out alone several times. It was all for ensuring your safety. I decided to keep a closer watch on you." This response is truly infuriating for Su Ru. She decided to go on strike and stop working, taking advantage of her anger. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared without a trace. Just got rid of the little tail, and then saw Chun Xingyue walking towards him again. He immediately composed himself. With a smile, he greeted Chun Xingyue. "Hello, Uncle Chen." Little did anyone expect that Chun Xingyue gave him no response at all. She pretended as if she didn't recognize him. She walked right past Su Ran without even pausing. This attitude was something Su Ran couldn't tolerate. His face immediately darkened. He shouted loudly, telling her to stop right there. Chen Xingyue still acted as if she hadn't heard him. She completely disregarded his presence. This time, Su Ran was truly anxious. He started jumping up and down on the spot out of frustration. "Pretend not to notice. Am I being hot and cold? What kind of man does that?" After yelling, I went back to being as harmless as a bunny. I was the one who suffered that night. This sentence is absolutely explosive. Chun Xingyue grew anxious. He stepped forward and grabbed Su Ran's arm, roughly preparing to drag her to a secluded place, leaving only the two accompanying colleagues behind, staring at the other person in utter confusion. Bewildered, Chen Xingyue forcefully threw him into the room. Then she stared at him coldly. "Let me warn you, don't speak nonsense at the company." Su Ran pouted with clear dissatisfaction. "What I said is the truth. But you act one way in front of people and another behind their backs." Chen Xingyue still maintained her icy demeanor. "We're all adults here, so I'll be straightforward with what I have to say. I have no interest in playing those emotional games with you. From now on in public settings, I expect you to show some restraint. Have some decency and turn around after finishing your words." He lit the cigarette in his hand. Yet, Su Ran still wouldn't give up. He wanted to understand. "Why, back then, you kissed me. That is definitely not the right attitude." Chen Xingyue responded coldly. "Why take it so seriously? From the day you returned to the country, I've only ever wanted to make use of you. Whether it's those photos or the time we've spent together, playing around with you has always been part of my plan." Chen Xingyue's words were truly hurtful to both herself and others. At this moment, Su Ran was already in tears. She stared at Chen Xingyue with wide-open eyes. Chen Xingyue gently touched Su Ran's cheek, mockingly remarked, "How could you mistake a fleeting fling for true love? Are you really that desperate for a man?" Su Ran could no longer bear to listen. She slapped Chen Xingyue hard across the face with all her strength. Then she screamed hysterically, "Scumbag!" Chen Xingyue stubbornly retorted, "If you weren't a Su, maybe I would have genuinely liked you." What a pity though. Su Ran didn't want to stay here and endure any more humiliation. At this moment, all he wanted was to escape from this place. As he left, he threw out a harsh remark to Chen Xingyue. "Just you wait for me. I will make sure you regret this." When walking out, he slammed the door with force. The only sound left was a loud bang. After Su Ran left, Chen Qingyue dropped his facade. His emotions were an intricate mix of feelings. Clearly, he had feelings for Su Ran. Perhaps it was all to protect Su Ran. Perhaps it was for the sake of his original intention. His chest began to ache as well. He cursed inwardly at the damn kid. The more Chen Qingyue acted so awkwardly, the more Su Ran felt the urge to conquer him. After stepping out, Su Ran no longer pretended. His eyes were sharp and carried a hint of ruthlessness. "Uncle Chen, look at how quickly you got into character. Trying to sever ties with me won't be that easy." Chen Qingyue had pulled such a stunt on him. It actually provided Su Ran with a chance to drop the pretense. Even she was tired of pretending to be an innocent little rabbit for a few days. Since that's the case, she might as well be straightforward from now on. Who truly got caught up in the act and took it seriously? It's really hard to say for sure. The one who truly takes it to heart always ends up hurt the most. The little rabbit's entrance was so impressive. Even the uncle couldn't help but stare in amazement. The evidence clearly pointed to a mole within the gang. It's time for another meeting again. Su Hanchuan arrived at the conference room with a folder in his arms. In the past, meetings like this were always personally led by the chairman. But today, he was the only one present. Not even a trace of Su Ran could be seen. He simply provided an explanation. The chairman was feeling unwell. "I will be hosting today's meeting on their behalf." Director Wu leisurely lit the cigarette in his hand. In fact, the tension was already palpable. "It seems like Chairman Su is unwell. I can understand that. But could it be that young Master Su is also feeling unwell and took a leave? Young Master Su seems to be inconsistent in his efforts. Is he planning to just reap the rewards without contributing?" Director Wang, standing nearby, pretended to dissuade, but in reality, he was stirring up trouble. "It's unreasonable to get upset about this. After all, he is Chairman Su's own grandson. There's bound to be some special privileges, right?" There was no sign of Su Ran. Chen Qingyue also began to feel worried. Could something have happened to Milan? Su Hanchuan smiled and explained about Xiao Ran. "He has something important to take care of. He'll be here in a little while." If that's the case, Director Wu didn't want to come across as overly aggressive. He tapped the ash off his cigarette. His absence was acceptable too. Even if he comes, it won't make any difference. Just sitting there like a daydreamer, doing nothing. Su Hanchuan adjusted his glasses slightly. "Let's begin the meeting right away. There's one particularly important matter to address." Then he cast a sharp glance at Director Wang. Director Wang, catching the signal, felt his heart skip a beat. He couldn't understand why Su Hanchuan suddenly looked at him. Su Hanchuan simply slid his phone to the center of the table. Shortly after, a recording came from inside. "The dungeon has been quite unsettled lately. The Su family father and son are keeping a close watch. If I were to sell the shares of the 8 unions to you at this time, they definitely wouldn't let me go." I understand. Do the job as agreed. The most important thing is to keep your word. Don't worry, I'll find a way to convince the other chairman. Bach will eventually end up completely fragmented. This sound couldn't be more familiar. The few people present listened to the recording. Their expressions shifted noticeably. They all turned their gaze toward Director Wang. Director Wu was especially shocked. He glanced silently at Director Wang next to him. The recording continued to play. That brat Su Ran was treated by Su Hanchuan and the others like a revered ancestor. There is someone nearby providing close protection. It's really impossible to take action. Please give me a little more time. After listening to the recording, Su Hanchuan looked at Director Wang. This voice should sound pretty familiar to you, don't you think? Director Wang lowered his head and remained silent. At this moment, Director Wu was already fuming with rage. He shouted loudly, "Wang Zhe, tell the truth. Is this truly the case?" Director Wang still refused to accept the truth. Even though he was clearly using a different phone, it shouldn't have been discovered. He was also aware that the truth had been exposed, and he knew what consequences awaited him. Before anyone could react, he dashed toward the door. What he didn't realize was, there were already people waiting outside for quite some time. Su Ran could be seen holding a wooden club in his hand. As he stepped into the house, he was dressed casually from head to toe, with a baseball cap perched on his head. This was a completely different look from his usual self. With a smile, he greeted Director Wang. "Where are you rushing off to?" Then he pressed one end of the club against Director Wang's chin. Director Wang was so nervous he couldn't utter a word. Su Ran had little patience. He gave a wicked smirk. With a swing of the club, the next second, Director Wang was on the ground. It was only then that Ms. Wang realized everything had been part of their plan. Su Ran held the club in his hand, striking while letting out a cold, sinister laugh. If you're to blame, it's for not following orders. And then came another round of mockery. An old person acting disgracefully at their age, determined to bring trouble upon oneself. Director Wang is not someone to be easily intimidated. He lunged at Suan, hoping for mutual destruction. You truly deserve this. Upon seeing this, Chen Xingyue could no longer sit still. He clenched his fists tightly, so nervous he was ready to rush forward. Before he had a chance to come over, Su Bing delivered a kick straight to Director Wang's body. Chen Xingyue finally felt a sense of relief. The tightly clenched hands gradually loosened. At that moment, the president walked in. The sound of the cane tapping against the floor echoed a few times. Why is everyone so quiet? He patted Su Ran on the back. The kid did a good job. Only then did Chen Xingyue realize what was going on. Today, everything was part of Su Ran's scheme. Su Ran cast a cold glance at Chen Xingyue, then adjusted his hat and gave him a faint smile. Chen Xingyue's face remained completely expressionless. He only felt that Su Ran seemed a bit different from usual today. The little rabbit had started to fight back. He had finally dropped his facade, showing no mercy toward the mole in the group. Even the usually ruthless Chen Xingyue couldn't bear to watch. As a senior member of the gang, Wang Li knowingly broke the law. Faced with the evidence, he could no longer deny it. He thought he could escape this time. But unexpectedly, Su Ran blocked his way. It wasn't until now that he realized Su Ran was actually a cunning predator disguised as harmless. It turned out that everything was part of Su Ran's carefully laid trap. What shocked him even more was dealing with traitors was where Su Ran truly excelled. Su Ran showed no mercy. What he had was ruthless determination. Director Wang knew he couldn't escape. He quickly clung to President Su, crying and pleading while holding onto Su Zhengqing's leg. President, please save me. They are falsely accusing me. Su Zhengqing looked down at Director Wang and sternly shouted, "Oh, really?" At that moment, a middle-aged man burst in from outside. He shouted loudly, claiming it was Wang Zhe, forcing me to contact the security personnel in Haikao to handle that batch of goods. He also demanded I secretly monitor the underground city and document some of the transaction details, hoping to gather evidence to deal with Bach later. Now, even a witness has come forward. Wang Li is left without a shred of defense. He was so furious that he gritted his teeth in anger. At this point, his situation was becoming increasingly precarious. Leaving immediately is undoubtedly the best choice. He didn't have time to think much about it. He rushed straight toward the door. However, he underestimated Su An's keen perception. Before he could even take a step, he was knocked down by Su Ran with a club. Su Ran, carrying the wooden stick, laughed arrogantly. He pressed his foot heavily on Director Wang. "Where do you think you're going, Director Wang?" Director Wang was so frightened that he quickly knelt before Su Zhengqing. "President, it was just a moment of foolishness on my part that led to this mistake. Please consider all the hard work I've put in over the years. Spare me this one time." Su Zhengqing did not offer a response. He only mentioned the rules of the organization. Back then, everyone had agreed on these rules together. If anyone were to harbor disloyalty and betray the Bahiwi in the future, they would face death by a brutal beating. Director Wang, do you remember that? Su Ran had already been prepared. He was simply waiting for Su Zhengqing to say those words. He had already raised the wooden stick high in the air. Now that the rules are set, I can begin. Chen Xingyue could no longer bear it. He shouted loudly, "That's enough." Director Wang has worked diligently for the company for over 20 years. His contributions were significant. Since it's confirmed he is the mole, kicking him out of the Eight Harmonies Society is enough. There's no need to escalate things to a fatal outcome. Su Ran toyed with the wooden stick in his hand. "Why should I?" Then he moved slowly closer to Chen Xingyue, pressing the wooden stick against his chin. In a mocking tone, he remarked that rules are meant to be followed, not to be exceptions to. After speaking, he walked past Chen Xingyue, and as he left, he threw out another comment. "Uncle Chen is clearly shielding Ms. Wang. It seems their relationship in private is quite strong." Chen Xingyue was furious. He grabbed Su Ran's head with one swift motion. Then he growled, "Su Ran, have you caused enough trouble yet?" Su Ran immediately fought back against Chen Xingyue. "This is not the right way for you to handle it. Disloyal dogs who betray their masters have no reason to stay. Don't forget your own identity." Chen Xingyue frowned deeply, unable to come up with a response. Su Ran pointed at Chen Xingyue and began complaining to his grandfather. "Grandpa, look at him. He just moved earlier. Now that you're here, none of them show you any respect. once you retire, won't I be bullied to death? Chen Xingyue let out a sigh. He was speechless at Su Ran's actions, even though he had already warned Su Ran. For the time being, he should avoid sparking fear among other chairmen, and triggering their rebellious mindset. Why did he still choose to expose the prince in public? He felt that such a foolish act of provoking resentment should not have been done by Su Ran. It seems that his uncle still fails to grasp the situation, and still thinks Su Ran is weak and easily subdued, when in fact, he himself is the real naive one. Su Zhengqin affectionately tousled Su Ran's hair. The actions of the father and son left Chen Xingyue increasingly puzzled. Su Zhengqin signaled for Su Bing to drag Director Wang outside. Make sure he doesn't breathe his last. Su Zhengqin glanced at all the directors present. It was my decision to let Xiaoran join the company for training. Seeing him return to take charge of the Bahiwi was also my unilateral decision. I acted on my own accord in this matter as well. Are you dissatisfied with him, or do you have objections to my decision? Several board members were already trembling with fear. They didn't dare to voice too many opinions. Since this is your decision as the president, we naturally have to comply. It's just that young Master Shiran is still quite young. Before the words were fully spoken, Su Zhengqing interrupted. He let out a cold snort. If I insist on him becoming the president today. Chen Xingyue casually lit the cigarette in his hand. Young Master Xiaoran is still very young. The road ahead is still long. It might be worth reconsidering. Why not take some more time to think it over? Su Ran glanced at Chen Xingyue, but Chen Xingyue avoided his gaze. This outcome left Director Wu very dissatisfied. He immediately rejected Su Zhengqin's proposal. President, your actions here are indeed a bit excessive. Judging by experience and ability, everyone present, anyone would be more suitable than this brat to be the president. Our Eight Harmonies Association has always valued merit over everything else. Is it just because his last name is Su that he gets special treatment and can do whatever he pleases? Neither of them was willing to back down. The two locked eyes for a few seconds. Su Zhengqin lowered his voice and asked if what he said was really that difficult. Wu Li showed no sign of compromise. In the end, there was no agreement. Su Zhengqin felt a bit embarrassed, had no choice but to adjourn the meeting. Watched as everyone else left, Chen Xingyue suddenly grabbed Su Ran's arm, then covered her mouth with his hand, pulled her into his embrace, forced her to stay. Even now, Chen Xingyue still thinks Su Ran is like an innocent rabbit. He believes Su Ran's approach to handling traitors is quite unusual. He led Su Ran to the rooftop, then began lecturing Su Yang. Why don't you ever listen to me? Didn't I say I would handle everything? Those people are all desperate individuals. You've pushed them into a corner. They are capable of doing anything. Su Zhengqin is getting old now. He can't protect you forever. Do you understand this or not? Su Ran mocked Chen Xingyue. What about you? Can you protect me for a lifetime? Faced with Su Ran's question, Chen Xingyue was taken aback. He didn't know how to respond. Seeing that Chen Xingyue didn't answer, Su Ran turned away, feeling disappointed. Chen Xingyue, what kind of relationship do we have? What bond do we share? Why are you so intent on thinking about things for me? Not long ago, you were eager to distance yourself from me. After saying that, he prepared to leave. Chen Xingyue noticed that Su Ran was about to leave. He quickly grabbed Su Ran by the hand. Even though I don't know what Su Zhengqing is planning, I can't just stand by and watch you do something foolish. Then he gently lifted Su Ran's face to look at him. Su Ran, trust me, I would never hurt you. Su Ran pushed Chen Xingyue's hand away, then mocked him further. Of course, it won't harm me. That's because I still have some value to you. The more it was discussed, the angrier Su Ran became. Finally, he directly shouted at Chen Xingyue. From childhood to now, anything I wanted, I have always been able to get. Since you refuse to accept my feelings, then we will no longer be friends. He grabbed Chen Xingyue's tie, glaring fiercely at him. Anyone who stands on the same side as you, no matter who it is, I will eliminate them one by one, until I uproot all your minions. One day, you will be trampled under my feet like a dog, a snowman like this. Chen Xingyue strongly disliked it. He felt a surge of anger. Su Zhengqing really has led you astray. Why have you suddenly changed like this? At this point, Su Ran saw no need to keep pretending. He told Chen Xingyue that he was never a good person to begin with. It's just that you oversimplified who I am. He looked at Chen Xingyue and asked him earnestly, let me ask you one more time. Are you willing to accept my feelings? As long as you're willing to be with me, when my grandfather retires, I can give you both the company and the chairman's position. Perhaps these words came genuinely from Su Ran's heart. He truly wanted to know how much weight he held in Chen Xingyue's heart. But when faced with this question, Chen Xingyue still remained silent. After a while, it was unclear whether he was sincere or just being perfunctory. He gave Su Ran a response. I don't like inexperienced kids. Hearing this response, Su Ran felt completely disheartened. Alright, I understand now. Then today marks the end of our relationship. Xingye, please stop acting distant and close with me at the same time. Chen Xingyue couldn't bring himself to meet Su Ran's gaze. He always pretends to act as if nothing concerns him. Su Ran reminded Chen Xingyue once again, I'm very attractive to men. I hope you won't regret the decision you're making now. After finishing, he turned around and walked away. Perhaps even Chen Xingyue himself hasn't figured it out. What exactly he feels toward Su Ran. Watching Su Ran's departing figure, he still felt reluctant deep inside. Su Ran finally found a chance to get close to Lu Xiao. Coincidentally, there was an art exhibition at the convention center that day. This was also the only event where Lu Xiao would make an appearance. Su Yuan deliberately placed himself near Lu Xiao. He even pretended to have a deep understanding of art. It seems Su Yuan had done his homework thoroughly for today. He looked at the painting in front of him and began to speak in a composed and deliberate manner. This is the final work of Will's. I've heard it was acquired by the National Gallery years ago. I never expected to see the original here. His approach proved to be effective. He successfully caught Lu Xiao's attention. Seeing Lu Xiao take the bait, Su Ran pretended to stay composed. Is this gentleman also interested in this painting? Lu Xiao remained silent for a moment. Then he responded with a hum. Su Ran began his act. He put on a regretful expression. It's just a pity that 4 days after the piece was completed, Wells ended his life by poisoning himself. This painting became the sole highlight in his turbulent life, the only moment of brilliance he experienced in his difficult journey. Lu Xiao picked up the thread of the conversation. Is the presence of death the only way to elevate the meaning of artistic creation to its peak? Su Ran stayed silent for a moment. Then he gave a faint smile. Of course not. This painting has sparked significant debate. In just 3 decades, Wells experienced several significant ups and downs. He went through dramatic highs and lows during that time. Achievements and honors meant little to him. What truly affected him was the passing of his beloved partner. After that, he fell into a deep depression. Within 3 years, he succumbed to his grief and passed away. An unconventional love story both made him and ruined him. That same love brought him great success but also led to his downfall. Lu Xiao's expression carried a hint of sorrow. This story left him reflecting deeply and feeling sentimental. Can love exist between two men as well? Su Ran bent down slightly. He looked at Lu Xiao gently. If true love has distinctions, then why does Cupid close his eyes? His response seemed to open up a whole new world for Lu Xiao. Lu Xiao's eyes instantly lit up with clarity. Seeing this had an impact on Lu Xiao, Su Ran. He began chatting freely with Lu Xiao. Speaking of which, brother, what do you do for a living? Why did you come to the art exhibition alone? I noticed you several times today. Su Ran is being so enthusiastic. Lu Xiao suddenly felt a bit embarrassed. I create art. That's why I enjoy visiting art exhibitions. Hearing him say that, Su Ran began to flatter Lu Xiao, even put on a look of admiration. No wonder there's an air of an artist about you. What's your name, brother? Lu Xiao felt even more embarrassed. He stammered, my last name is Lu. Su Ran rested her chin on her hand, playfully looking at Lu Xiao. Then she reached her hand out toward Lu Xiao. Brother Lu, it's a pleasure to meet you. What a naturally sociable person. The mafia young master. With just a few words, he easily charmed the wealthy young master into happiness. Taking advantage of the current excitement, Su Ran invited Lu Xiao to join a creative competition at the KG Art Museum. Lu Xiao glanced at his own palm and said with resignation that he hadn't picked up a paintbrush in a long time. Su Ran curiously asked why he had stopped painting. Lu Xiao, feeling a bit embarrassed, turned his head to the side and replied that he simply didn't want to paint anymore. You're lying. Su Ran leaned her head against Lu Xiao's shoulder and took a sniff. There's a faint scent of oil paint lingering on you. It suggests that you've been around it for quite a long time. No matter how much clarity you have, the smell still lingers. It's clearly something you're passionate about. Why would you give it up so easily? Lu Xiao hesitated, stumbling over his words. I can't seem to find it. Su Ran crouched down in front of Lu Xiao. He reached out his hand toward Lu Xiao. Let me help you find it. Your passion, your dreams, and your inspiration. I'll help you bring them back. I can't motivate you in the way those great artists with turbulent lives could, because hardships don't create talent, but I can still cheer you on in my own way. Suffering doesn't build greatness. As long as your hands and eyes are still with you, you can absolutely keep moving forward. Even if you can't return to who you used to be, but at least it won't get any worse. It won't become any more unbearable. In this moment, it seemed like Lu Xiao glimpsed hope in his eyes. Su Ran looked at Lu Xiao. His gaze was filled entirely with sincerity. I can feel how extraordinary you once were, so please don't give up so easily. Lu Xiao felt that Su Ran was very different from his own family. From the moment his leg was injured, all his family members treated him with extreme caution, afraid of upsetting his emotions. What they didn't realize was that this cautious behavior constantly reminded him that he was useless, and repeatedly forced him to accept that he was disabled. He began to question, can I really do it? Just as he was hesitating, Suan picked up a small leaf above his head. Give it a try. As long as you want to, you can do it. It's definitely possible if you put your mind to it. Su Ran pretended to look offended again. He quickly apologized. I'm sorry for being so abrupt. Lu Xiao lifted his head and looked at Su Ran. There was a slight flush on his face. Su Ran decided to stop while he was ahead. It's getting late. I need to head out now. As he was about to leave, he turned his head to look at Lu Xiao. Lu, it was great to meet you. If there's a chance, let's meet again next time. By the way, has anyone ever told you that your eyes are beautiful? They look like the ocean, profound and enigmatic. Just a few words had already made Lu Xiao overjoyed. Su Ran's arrival also brought significant changes to Lu Xiao. When dinner time arrived, Lu Xiao, who never came downstairs, surprisingly suggested having dinner with his father. His father was slightly taken aback with surprise. He gazed at Lu Xiao with a doting expression. I asked the servant to prepare a few more dishes that you like. Lu Xiao said he wanted me to help him find someone. It was someone I met at the art gallery. We had a pretty good conversation. I want to be friends with him, but I forgot to ask for his name. Dad looked absolutely delighted. He curiously asked if it was a man or a woman. A man, about 20 years old, roughly 5 feet 8 inches tall. Her skin was fair. She was remarkably beautiful. Lu Yao picked up the conversation. He joked that since brother remembered it so clearly, why not release it? That way it would be easier for us to find. Lu Xiao shook his head. No way. Dad and Lu Yao looked at Lu Xiao in complete confusion. When mentioning Su Yuan, Lu Xiao's face turned red with embarrassment. Now my painting skills have regressed. I might end up making him look bad in my drawings. Godfather recommended Su Yuan to the curator. Su Yuan was curious about why he recommended me. After all, I don't paint. Godfather understands Su Yuan well. Didn't you study traditional Chinese painting abroad for 5 years, and even won several awards? Why did you stop learning later? Su Yuan suspected that his godfather was investigating him. His godfather looked at Su Yuan helplessly. He let out a sigh. Your grandfather was an outstanding engineering student. Your mother was an exceptional lawyer. Your father earned a doctorate in finance. How did it end up with you taking a detour? Su Ran looked completely indifferent. I just don't enjoy these dull and tedious courses. Finance and related topics are the most frustrating. He curiously asked his godfather, do you know how my parents' accident happened? What exactly caused it to happen? The godfather was clearly avoiding the question. You need to ask the relevant people about this matter. Move to the prince's place. Su Ran had promised that person to let him and his mother go. The man, along with his mother, expressed their gratitude to Su Ran. Your great kindness and virtue. Both my mother and I will remember this. Su Ran urged him to leave quickly. I've transferred some money to your account. From now on, don't show up at the theater anymore. Just as he was about to leave, Su Hanchuan approached Su Ran with a few others. He still couldn't leave. Su Hanchuan looked at Su Ran. Ran, I have some matters to discuss with this gentleman. You should head back first. Wait for the flight to arrive. I will see her off when the time comes. The man nervously held his mother close. He looked at Su Ran with eyes pleading for help. Su Ran stood in front of Su Hanchuan, shielding him. Second uncle Wang Zhe has already fallen from power. These two pose no threat to us. Ran stayed in the underground city for 4 years. He might still be holding on to other secrets. You are going to take over the Bahiwi in the future. I can't let go of anything that could pose a threat to you. Su Ran's eyes dimmed. Can't you cause less harm and let the mother and her child go? Su Ran's words left Su Hanchuan completely stunned. Unable to speak for a long time, Su Ran gazed at Su Hanchuan with pleading eyes. He was only manipulated by the king to treat his mother. If it were me, I would do the same. Su Hanchuan fell silent. He let out a helpless sigh. You should leave now. Remember, it was young Master Su Ran who spared you. The two of them bowed deeply to Su Hanchuan and Su Ran. Then they expressed their gratitude. Su Hanchuan reminded them again not to act so recklessly next time. Su Ran curiously asked his second uncle, Su Hanchuan. What does my mother look like? When it comes to his mother, Su Hanchuan seems to have a lot to say, but just as he is about to speak, he stops again. He affectionately ruffles Su Ran's hair and softly says, "You'll understand when you meet her." His voice is so quiet that Su Ran doesn't quite catch it. "Second uncle, what did you say?" Second uncle turns his head, casually responded with nothing much. It's unclear what Su Ran did. It infuriated Chen Qing even more. He tossed the documents in front of Su Ran. "You've got some nerve. How dare you take control of my dungeon? A change in agent requires approval from 5 directors. It must be voted on and passed by 5 chairpersons. What tricks have you been pulling behind the scenes?" Su Ran wore a provocative expression. "This is all thanks to you, Qingyi." Chen Xingyue furrowed his brows. He couldn't understand what Su Ran meant. Su Ran took out a USB drive. Twisting it in his hand, he said, "Remember the day you got drunk? I took the opportunity while you were showering to copy some files from your computer. Originally, I just wanted to delete some embarrassing photos of mine, but who would have thought I'd stumble upon so much valuable stuff?" Chen Xingyue wanted to snatch that USB drive, but it was avoided by Suan. Chen Xingyue asked curiously, "What do you plan to do with the management rights of the dungeon? You don't even know the source of the goods or the operational routes. What makes you think you're capable of handling this?" Suan grabbed Chen Xingyue's tie. "Because I like you, so I want to take back everything that belongs to you." Chen Xingyue rubbed Su Ran's lips. "Stop trying to twist my words. Don't think for a second that I wouldn't dare to lay a hand on you." Shuran smiled as he gently brushed Chen Xingyue's hand aside. "No need to get so worked up. How about we strike a deal?" He pulled out a black card and handed it to Chen Qingling. "If you can satisfy me and keep me happy, I might consider giving the underground city back to you." "Uncle, you've fallen into a trap you can't climb out of. Over and over, you willingly let the young master toy with you. You don't have even a shred of vigilance. The cost gets higher and higher each time." The young master was practically handed over on a silver platter. There's no reason not to take advantage of it. This time, it was completely taken advantage of without a trace left. Early the next morning, Su Ran angrily cursed the scumbag. The warm and soft beauty was still lying in bed since he went back to work. He deserves to be single at 30. Right after finishing the scolding, Chen Xingyue came back from outside carrying breakfast. "Who's being called a jerk?" Su Ran started putting on an act. "Oh, my body feels so sore." Chen Xingyue stormed in angrily. She yanked him out of bed in one swift motion. Su Ran, however, hugged Chen Xingyue tightly. He even rubbed himself against her a little. "Uncle Chen, I really like you. You were incredibly charming last night." Chen Xingyue suggested the idea of taking Su Ran home. Su Ran stated that it wasn't necessary. He had already called Su Bing. At the moment, he didn't want his grandfather to find out about their relationship. Otherwise, his grandfather would surely be disappointed. Hearing this, Chen Xingyue was deeply dissatisfied. Noticing Chen Xingyue's unhappiness, Su Ran quickly tried to comfort him. Su Ran immediately came over to console him. He gently removed the cigarette from Chen Xingyue's mouth. Pulling away the cigarette, Su Ran tried to calm him down. "Don't overthink it. The reason he's disappointed in me isn't because I have an affair with you, but because I lack the ability to win him over and make him fall in love with me. He's worried that getting too close to you might end up hurting me. But I believe you wouldn't have the heart to hurt me. I don't think you'd ever bring yourself to cause me pain." After saying that, they casually took the cigarettes as well, and even reminded me to promise them something. "Next time, try to cut back on smoking." As he stepped out the door, Su Ran reverted to that cold expression once again. He pulled out his phone, staring at the notification on the screen. Uncle Chen's fingerprint unlock isn't exactly a good thing. When it comes to the person by your side, it's always wise to keep a bit of caution. For Su Ran's sake, Chen Xingyue ended her collaboration with the mysterious woman. The woman couldn't figure out what had gone wrong. She began redirecting her plans for revenge towards Su Ran as her new target. She wanted Su Ran to pay the price for Su Zhengqin causing the death of her father-in-law years ago, and for the loss of her newborn son who was just 2 weeks old. Now Su Ran had successfully secured the position of the underground city's agent. Su Zhengqin believed that Su Ran no longer needed to maintain ties with Chen Xingyue. After all, Chen Xingyue has been with her for such a long time. He truly understands him well. This person is not someone Su Ran can control. Su Ran immediately turned down his grandfather's suggestion. "I was having so much fun with him. I absolutely refuse to part ways. Besides, I don't think he's as complicated as Grandpa says." Su Zhengqin looked at Su Ran and let out a helpless sigh. "You're really something. Kid, any kind of skill is fine. It's just that you're far too playful. Maybe I should find you a match for marriage, so you can settle down a bit. Didn't you interact with that young master from the Liu family last time? What did you think of him? Su Ran mentioned that his personality is a bit too dull, not the type I like. Then he began to flatter Su Zhengqing, while massaging his grandfather's shoulders, while testing the waters with Grandpa. How about we skip collaborating with the Liu family? Neither of his two sons is reliable. Anyway, I'm already in Chen Xingyue's phone. Installed surveillance software, in case he plans to stir up trouble in the future. We can think of a way to handle him later, there's no rush. Su Zhengqing also showed immense affection and care for Su Ran. His requests are usually fulfilled without much issue. He patted Su Ran's hand and said he wouldn't bother with him anymore. Do whatever you want. Achieving success, Su, and instantly coming back to life. He pointed at the grandpa standing at the door. I'm heading out now. The thought of meeting his uncle couldn't wait even for a moment. As expected, in the next second, he appeared right below Chen Xingyue's building. Being able to see Su Ran here, Chen Xingyue didn't seem surprised at all, just feeling a little worried. On such a cold day, Su Ran was wearing so little clothing. Su Ran immediately hugged Chen Xingyue tightly, saying how much he missed her. Chen Xingyue started to feel a bit embarrassed. Stop. There are too many people here. Then let's go to your place. Back home, Su Ran flopped onto the bed in one swift motion. Your bed is still the most comfortable. Seeing him like this, Chen Xingyue no longer wanted to be human. Su Ran abruptly pushed Chen Xingyue away. His body hadn't fully recovered yet. He wasn't ready to die such a miserable death. Chen Xingyue had no choice but to let him go reluctantly. He affectionately ruffled Su Ran's hair, but Su Ran was not pleased. The technique was clearly so skilled. How could it possibly be the first time? In his mind, he cursed Chen Xing's domineering uncle countless times. It turns out he felt so insecure. It wasn't that he didn't love Su Ran, but rather he felt like he was covered in filth and unworthy of someone as pure as Su Ran. It turned out this had started as early as 14 years ago. It was then that he noticed Su Ran. That marked their very first meeting, and it was a particularly unpleasant encounter. It happened during one of Su Ran's birthday parties. He envied Su Ran for having a wealthy and harmonious family, and a family that deeply cherishes Su Ran. He receives the kind of admiration one would give to the center of attention. He has everything that Chen Xingyue wouldn't even dare to dream of. Back then, Chen Xingyue was merely a runner delivering orders. He could only watch you from afar. At that time, he imagined how wonderful it would be if he were Su Ran, with eyes full of envy, unable to ever break away from Su Ran again, yet completely forgetting their own identity, and ultimately messing up the job. Su Zhengqin watched him flustered and clumsy, with only disdain in her eyes. A lowly status, finally met with heartless rejection. Couldn't even manage to hold a plate properly, making a mess all over the floor. Hurry up and clean it up already. Chen Xingyue realized he had made a mistake. He lowered his head and started cleaning the stain on the ground. Sorry about that. I'll clean it up right away. His patience caught Su Ran's attention. Su Ran walked up to Chen Xingyue. He handed the candy in his hand to Chen Xingyue. Does it hurt? Let me give you some candy? Grandpa says eating candy makes the pain go away. Surprisingly, such a small figure stood protectively in front of Chen Xingyue, even stepped in to educate the abuser on behalf of Chen Xingyue. There's something undeniably ironic about this scene. Chen Xingyue stared at the candy in his hand, lost in quiet contemplation. Born into the lowest rungs of society, he had endured countless instances of prejudice and hostility. Inferiority had long taken root in his heart, and it had grown into something larger. This candy wasn't salvation for him, but rather a poison to his soul. It served as a reminder of Chen Xingyue's insecurities and vulnerabilities. It also served as a reminder that he was the one being given charity. He and Su Ran lived in completely different worlds. From that moment on, Chen Xingyue desperately fought his way upward. Rather than accept charity, he preferred to strive for it with his own hands, even if it meant resorting to any means necessary. He longed for power and wealth. The Ba Society also became one of his objectives. He had no intention of standing against Su Ran, so on the day Su Yuan returned to the country, he abducted Su Yuan, thinking that eliminating him would make the path ahead much smoother. He gently caressed Su Yuan's face, but for some reason, I could never bring myself to deal a ruthless blow. After all this time, wealth and power have never been able to fill the void in my heart. So, what is it that I truly desire? He held Su Ran tightly in his arms. In fact, Su Ran wasn't actually asleep. Chen Qingyue's words had all sunk in. He burrowed further into Chen Qingyue's embrace. Silly uncle, if this is what you want, I'm willing to offer you another candy. Early the next morning, Chen Qingyue dragged Shuiyuan along to start another mischief. On this side, they were having a great time. It was pitiful for Lu Xiao on that side. Ever since meeting Shuiyuan, he couldn't get Shuiyuan out of his mind. He even asked his father to help inquire about Shuiyuan's whereabouts, still longing for Shuiyuan. Based on his description, Dad gathered a huge collection of photos resembling the snowy plains. Unfortunately, none of them matched. Lu Xiao was feeling utterly defeated. Dad was helpless as well. He reassured Lu Xiao, telling her not to worry, saying it's okay, Xiao Xiao. Dad will call someone tomorrow to help you look again. Lu Xiao understood as well. That relying solely on his description was like searching for a needle in a haystack. He told his father not to search for it just yet. At that moment, someone came from outside the door to report on work. Mr. Lu, there's still no response from the Su family. Previously, during that period of time, the woman from the Ba Association, Ms. Wang, had an identical name. The Su family might consider letting us take over. I didn't expect there to still be no news after such a long time. Lu Xiao believed that the Ba Association must be short on people for this matter. Why don't you just push him a little harder? Dad was somewhat unclear about what Lu Xiao meant. Lu Xiao mentioned that Su Zhengqin has a precious grandson. It said that he's getting along pretty well with Chen Qingyue. You could find someone to kidnap his grandson, and then frame Chen Qingyue for it. Su Zhengqin already has a problem with Chen Qingyue. He would definitely try to get rid of him. At that time, you can use aid as an excuse. Naturally, you can conspire with Su Zhengqin. By then, joining the 8 Union Society will be a breeze for you. On this side, Hua Ying rushed over anxiously to find Chen Qingyue. Big brother, there's been a situation in the dungeon. When he pushed open Chen Qingyue's door, he was left speechless. The scene before him was somewhat overwhelming. Chen Qingyue quickly covered Su Ran up. There was a hint of displeasure on his face. Next time, make sure to knock before coming in. What exactly is going on? Last night, a group of people gradually arrived at the dungeon. There were roughly over 200 of them. They wandered around on different floors. It looked like they were there to spend money, but it seemed like they were scouting the place. Upon hearing this, Su Ran immediately grabbed Chen Qingyue by the neck. Chen Qingyue asked Hua Ying, "Has the identity information for entering the dungeon been checked?" It was checked, and most of them are unemployed drifters. Their places of origin and temporary residence are all located in N City. Chen Qingyue immediately thought of that woman. Su Ran quickly buried his head into Chen Qingyue's shoulder. "Uncle Chen, I'm so scared." Chen Qingyue gently rubbed Su Ran's head. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." The third wheel nearby was utterly speechless. Chen Qingyue shot a sharp glance at Hua Ying. "Is there anything else? If not, just leave and lock the door. Pretend you didn't see what happened today." After Hua Ying left, Su Ran began complaining to Chen Qingyue. "It seems like he's always had some issue with me. I feel like punching him." Chen Qingyue pinched Su Ran lightly. "With that small frame of yours, he's more likely to be the one punching you." Su Ran was unconvinced. "I can take on anyone I want. Here, I am the young master." Chen Qingyue fondly ruffled Su Ran's hair. "It's better to cause less trouble. You'll live a long life that way. What will you do if you anger others all by yourself?" Su Ran held Chen Qingyue's face and said seriously, "I still have you, don't I?" Chen Qingyue pinched Su Ran's chin lightly. "I'm just a greedy and lustful jerk. Are you really that certain that I can keep loving you for decades without wavering?" Su Ran's expression began to change. It seemed like a joke, but also sounded like the truth. "If you ever abandon me in the future, I'll jump off this building." Hearing him say that, Chen Qingyue quickly covered his mouth. "Silly, I was just joking. Don't say such frightening things." It seems like Su Ran is genuinely upset. He grabbed hold of Chen Qingyue's chin. "Chen Qingyue, listen to me carefully. Since things have already come to this, I won't fall for anyone else anymore. If you dare to be unfaithful and look for someone else, I will definitely find a way to ruin you. But if it turns out I was the one who deceived you, you could choose to end my life." Or before finishing the sentence, Chen Qingyue interrupted him. "That day will never come, unless you fall for someone else. Otherwise, even if you stab me in the back, I still won't hold it against you." Su Ran responded with equal seriousness. "But I really might stab you." Chen Qingyue's face remained unchanged, acting like it doesn't matter. "Go ahead if you're going to stab. Who else could I blame but myself for being stuck with you?" Su Ran muttered quietly. "You better not be lying to me." The next day, Su Ran stared at the phone, looking visibly anxious. Where on earth has Su been disappeared to? It's been so long, and he's still not here. Not sure exactly when. A group of people appeared behind Su Ran. When Su Ran sensed something was wrong and turned around to look, an unknown stick struck him directly on the head. By the time Su Bin arrived, Su Ran was nowhere to be found. There was only a pool of fresh blood on the ground. The usually calm uncle could no longer maintain his composure. The young master had been ambushed and seriously injured, and yet, he became the one under suspicion. Because of what happened last time, no matter how much he tries to explain, it won't be enough. Not to mention, there are so many people eyeing his position. On top of that, he's also a thorn in Su Ran's side. In this game, his defeat is destined to be devastating. However, no one ever expected all of this to be a scheme orchestrated by the eldest young master of the Lu family, who usually keeps out of worldly affairs. Director Wang's betrayal of the Ba Society led to his removal. The vacant position has made those coveting it restless. Coincidentally, Su Zhengqing was already considering getting rid of Chen Xingyue. Lu Xiao took full advantage of this opportunity. Everything seemed to fall into place at just the right time. After much effort, the two had finally made a bit of progress. Strangely enough, when Huaying was about to take Chen Xingyue back home, he couldn't find the keys to either the house or the car anywhere. He patted his pockets, jokingly remarking, "Could it have been left at some woman's place? Now the only option is to use the company's spare key." Chen Xingyue looked completely helpless. Huaying teased, saying that now you're so close with that guy, why not figure out a way to get his family's money over here and share a bit with me? Chen Xingyue got a little angry, because he didn't want to hear anyone joking about Su Ran. He immediately decided to punish Huaying. "Do you believe me or not? I'll take back those few buildings of yours right now." Huaying immediately admitted defeat. "I believe it. I do. You really put some strength into it, big guy." At this moment, Chen Xingyue was in a terrible mood, because Su Ran hadn't sent him a message for half the day. He had no idea what Su Ran was busy with. After being knocked unconscious, Su Ran was taken to a secluded corner. One of them noticed how attractive Su Ran looked, and actually had some inappropriate thoughts. Fortunately, another person stopped him. He shouted loudly, "This is a mission. If we mess this up, we won't be able to handle the consequences." At that moment, the person causing trouble ran toward them. "Someone's coming. Hurry up." It turns out Su Bing found his way here. When they saw Su Bing approaching, they immediately fled. But they left behind an important piece of evidence. Su Bing instantly recognized that key. Indeed, it is the very knife that Huaying lost. This time, Chen Xingyue's guilt seems to be undeniable. The unconscious Su Ran was immediately taken to the hospital by Su Bing. When he opened his eyes again, what he saw was his second uncle. His uncle was looking at him nervously. Ran, you're finally awake." Su Ran, confused, only felt a sharp pain in his head. He touched the bandage on his head and said, "Uncle, what happened to me?" Su Hanchuan's concern turned into anger. "How could you even ask that? How many times have I told you? Stay away from Chen Xingyue, that ungrateful scoundrel. Do you even realize you almost got yourself killed because of him?" His words left Su Ran completely baffled. "Uncle, I don't understand what you mean." At that moment, Su Zhengqin walked over and said, "Child, you were just ambushed by someone. Luckily, Su Bing stepped in just in time to save you. Otherwise, this old man like me would have to experience the heartbreak of burying his own child." Su Ran's face was filled with confusion. The sneak attack was carried out by Chen Xingyue. Su Hanchuan continued speaking. "Su Bing found Huaying's keys at the scene. This matter is definitely connected to Chen Xingyue." Su Ran couldn't help but laugh. He immediately defended Chen Xingyue, saying it was impossible. If it really were Chen Xingyue, he wouldn't have waited until now to make a move against me. This approach of intentionally leaving flaws for us to exploit doesn't seem like something he would do. Su Hanchuan couldn't quite understand. "So, what you're implying is that Su Ran understands Chen Xingyue's character, and he would never do something to harm himself. He believes there must be someone interfering, maliciously trying to drive a wedge between them and Chen Xingyue. It could possibly be the Shin family, who hold a deep grudge, or perhaps the Lu family." Mentioning the Lu family, Su Hanchuan looked utterly puzzled. Su Ran had an expression as if he knew everything. Lu Jia was practically desperate to join the Ba Society. Who knows if he's up to some sneaky scheme? The rumors about our conflict with Chen Xingyue had already spread throughout the theater, and people knew we couldn't deal with Chen Xingyue right now. If we ended up falling out with Chen Xingyue, we would definitely need a powerful ally with a strong background. Su Zhengqin was no longer calm. so Lu Chengfeng deliberately set up a trap. He accurately predicted we would come to find him. Su Ran thought it didn't matter. We might as well go along with it and treat it as completely falling out with Chen Xingyue. Since that person wants to stir up trouble, one day, he'll eventually reveal his true intentions. Su Hanchuan let out a helpless sigh. He gently ruffled Su Ran's hair. Do you really trust him that much? Su Ran nodded with firm conviction. Of course I do, I know him very well. He, however, seemed completely indifferent. On the other hand, Chen Xingyue was far from calm. He called Su Ran countless times. Each time the response was that the user was temporarily unreachable. This time he was genuinely panicking. Huang tried to comfort him by his side. Forget it, man. It's already been more than half a month. That guy's head got split open and stitched up. He must be feeling even more unsettled than you right now. He might have already decided it was us who did it. Even if you wanted to explain, it wouldn't help. Chen Xingyue clenched his fists in anger. Who the hell is the bastard who dared to make me take the blame? If I ever find him, I'll make sure he pays with his life. Huang suddenly thought of the president. He nervously scratched his head. The president has always been wary of us. Now that something like this has happened, I'm afraid his resentment toward us will only deepen. Brother, I'm afraid young Master Su won't stay with you anymore. These words made Chen Xingyue even more unsettled. Right now, he's completely enchanted by Su Ran. He felt the need to go explain to Su Ran immediately, not willing to wait another moment. Grabbing the coat, he was ready to dash out the door. Huang, seeing how impulsive he was, quickly stepped forward to stop him. It needs to be investigated further. There must be some clues that were overlooked. Big brother, calm down. Everything that could be checked has already been checked. The culprit came prepared. They cleaned up the traces very thoroughly. Chen Xingyue immediately turned his suspicion towards Huang. He grabbed Huang by the collar. Then tell me, what should we do? Why the hell did your stuff end up at the scene? This matter is indeed Ho Ying's responsibility. He had no choice but to admit it. Sorry, it was my negligence. Chen Xingyue let go of Huang, and then muttered a complaint. Why does it have to be at this exact moment? Damn it! Not a single thing goes smoothly. At this moment, he found himself in a state of urgency. He desperately needed a cigarette to calm his nerves. As he reached for the pack of cigarettes in his pocket, a sudden image of Su Yuan flashed through his mind. Promise me you'll cut back on smoking. Chen Xingyue irritably ran his fingers through his hair. He was on the verge of breaking down completely. His thoughts were in complete disarray. He couldn't bear to just sit there and do nothing. In a fit of anger, he kicked the table with force. I've never seen him lose his composure like this. I'm heading to the hospital. I absolutely need to meet with him. I can't wait even a second longer. His actions left Huang utterly confused. Big brother, you don't actually like him, do you? Chen Xingyue made no effort to hide his feelings. I have feelings for him, so much that I want to be with him right now, as a friend. Huang still wanted to give him a reminder. Since that's the case, you need to calm yourself down first. Your current state might scare him. Half a month later, he surprisingly was finally discharged from the hospital. After being discharged, he seemed like a completely changed person. Su Bing followed behind him. Young master, slow down a bit. Even though the discharge procedures have been completed, your injuries haven't fully healed yet. The two had barely stepped out of the main building when Chen Xingyue was already waiting at the entrance. Upon seeing Chen Xingyue, Su Bin immediately positioned himself in front of Su Ran. Young master, perhaps we should leave through the south gate instead. Su Ran patted Su Bin on the shoulder. It's all right. It's broad daylight. What could he possibly do to me? Eat me. Go wait for me in the car first. Seeing Su Ran, Chen Xingyue still felt a little uneasy. Su Ran, are you doing okay? I want to have a talk with you. Su Ran walked right past Chen Xingyue, looking completely indifferent. There's no need for that. I'm in a really bad mood right now. I feel annoyed and don't really want to talk to you. Chen Xingyue found Su Ran's attitude completely unacceptable. He grabbed Su Ran's arm firmly. It wasn't me who did this. I would never do something like this to you. Su Ran glanced toward the back. It seemed like someone was secretly taking photos. He avoided Chen Xingyue. Uncle Chen, let's take some time apart to cool down. Alright, Grandpa doesn't want me to get too close to you. Better to avoid any unnecessary misunderstandings. Chen Xingyue couldn't bring herself to agree. He frantically pinned down Su Yuan. I didn't do it. Why should I avoid suspicion? Do you know how much I've missed you during this time? He gently caressed Su Yuan's cheek. Look at you, you've lost weight. Su Ran abruptly pushed Chen Xingyue away. That's enough, Chen Xingyue, you make me feel sick. Her words were incredibly hurtful. Chen Xingyue froze in place. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Just a few days ago, she was still lying in his arms, being affectionate with him. How did it end up like this? She couldn't figure it out. Is this really how you see me? Don't come looking for me again. After saying those words, Su Ran walked away without looking back. Chen Xingyue stood frozen in place, unable to calm herself for a long time. Watching his departing figure, Su Ran felt a mix of emotions in his heart. He instructed Su Bin to find out who the paparazzi taking pictures earlier was, and to make sure to uncover who sent them. To figure out if it was Lu Xiao who orchestrated the kidnapping, Su Ran approached Lu Xiao once again. This time, he went straight to Lu Xiao's home. This was something Lu Xiao absolutely never anticipated. Su Ran didn't treat himself as an outsider at all. He skillfully pulled open the curtains in Lu Xiao's house. The weather is great today. It's just that the room feels too stuffy. Brother, while your creative environment is certainly unique, staying in such a setting for too long probably isn't ideal. Lu Xiao still hadn't come to his senses. He asked Su Ran curiously how he managed to find this place. Su Ran replied without hesitation, "Because I missed you." Then he grabbed Lu Xiao's arm. He placed his hand on his own face. After that, he crouched down in front of Lu Xiao. "You seem to have gotten thinner than before. The dark circles under your eyes have deepened. It must be because you've been too busy creating and not getting enough rest. No matter what, you should still take care of your health." He looked at Lu Xiao with sincere eyes. This expression of his truly touched Lu Xiao's heart. "I didn't get the chance to ask his name last time. This time, he couldn't wait to find out." He started by introducing himself, saying, "My name is Lu Xiao. I still don't know your name." Su Ran gave a slight smile. "Last time, I forgot to exchange contact information. Afterward, I kept asking around to find out any news about you, brother. My name is Su Ran. Su Zhengqin is my grandfather. It just so happens that my second uncle and Mr. Lu are discussing business today. I decided to tag along so I could come and hang out with you. Brother Lu, from now on just call me Ranny. That's what my family calls me." After listening to his self-introduction, Lu Xiao suddenly felt a jolt in his heart. He couldn't help but think, this is trouble. Su Ran started his usual routine again. He picked up a cloth and began cleaning. Lu Xiao quickly stopped him from doing chores. "Let the servants handle it instead. You're a guest. You shouldn't be doing these things." The more Lu Xiao tried to stop Su Ran, the more enthusiastic Su Ran became. "I just enjoy doing household chores. No need to be polite with me." After cleaning the balcony, he continued tidying up the trash on the floor, humming a little tune as he worked, looking completely absorbed and carefree. This made Lu Xiao start to feel guilty, because when Su Ran first entered the room, Lu Xiao had mistaken him for a servant. That's why he lost his temper with her. He quickly apologized to Suan. "I just lashed out at you for no reason. I'm sorry, I'm not usually like this. 7 or 8 years ago, I was attacked and ended up with a broken leg. Since then, I've become more withdrawn. My mood has also become unpredictable. Are you afraid of me because of that?" He waited anxiously for Suan's response. Lu Xiao's reaction was exactly what Suan had hoped for. "Even if the whole world thinks my brother is crazy, I will always stand by your side." His response was something Lu Xiao never expected. Years of insecurity made him doubt anyone who treated him kindly. Yet the arrival of Su Ran helped him regain his confidence. It was as if he saw a ray of light. From the bottom of his heart, he expressed his gratitude to Su Ran. He watched Su Ran's figure as he walked away, and the more he watched, the more entranced he became. He made an unusual request to Su Ran. Ran, could you be my model? I want to choose you." Su Ran agreed without a second thought, readily agreeing. "Sure. Let's schedule a time for next time. You can take as much time as you need." At this moment, Lu Xiao was already completely captivated by Su Yuan. He couldn't help but find her more and more appealing. Meanwhile, Su Yuan was calculating her own plans in her mind. He thought that Lu Xiao, who had been paralyzed for 7 or 8 years, was just a helpless cripple. He probably didn't have the ability to pull any sneaky tricks behind the scenes. In any case, it was better to maintain a good relationship first. Maybe something useful could be learned from him. Su Hanchuan had finished discussing business with Old Master Lu. It was about time for Su Ran to leave as well. Before leaving, they exchanged a few polite words with each other. Lu Xiao looked at Su Ran with a reluctant gaze. Su Ran responded to his brother with a gentle smile. "Well then, let's meet again tomorrow. I'll come and visit you." After Su Ran left, Lu Xiao asked his father, "Next Monday, Ming is officially attending the union meeting, right? It seems things will get busier in the days ahead." Lu Xiao's expression immediately darkened. "The family business is already giving you enough headaches. Your health isn't great. Don't overwork yourself. The Monday morning meeting will be led by. I will attend on your behalf." His words instantly froze the expression on his father's face. "If you're willing to go, That would be absolutely wonderful. Our dear Xiao Xiao is truly the most filial, understanding and considerate of the hardships his father endures. The hand that was about to reach for the wheelchair ended up pausing midair. Lu Xiao had already pushed the wheelchair and left. The harmonious scene of fatherly love and filial piety from earlier was completely gone. The father could only watch from a distance as his figure disappeared. At this moment, Lu Xiao was only focused on his own thoughts. How to silence those who kidnapped Su Yan. He absolutely cannot let Ran find out. It was his fault that he ended up seriously injured and hospitalized. Otherwise, she would definitely be deeply disappointed in him, afraid of him. He also needs to figure out a way to make his father keep quiet. And those enforcers must also be dealt with. When a man becomes ruthless, he truly disregards all ties. Ever since that misunderstanding, Su Ran has never reached out to Chen Xingyue again. The usually aloof uncle could no longer keep his composure. Every day, he seemed like a lost soul. Huaying joined in his antics, and even helped him track down Su Ran's location. At that moment, Su Ran was taking Su Bing to the mall, because he wanted to buy a gift for Lu Xiao, and also pick up a few suits for his second uncle. As he approached a display of suits, he couldn't help but think of the Untamed. He held up the suit and compared it against himself, thinking about how stunning it would look on Chen Xingyue. It would undoubtedly be incredibly stylish. Just the thought of it made his face flush with an uncontrollable redness, as he was still lost in his imagination. An unknown hand suddenly pulled him into an embrace. The person turned out to be the very one he had just been fantasizing about. Regarding Su Ran avoiding her over the past few days, Chen Xingyue was feeling quite displeased. He has the time to stroll around but can't spare a moment to answer my calls. The young master really kept me waiting for quite a while. Su Ran, realizing what was happening, only thought about running away. But in his haste, he couldn't manage it. After just a few steps, he stumbled and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Chen Xingyue quickly helped him up. Why are you running? Do you think I'm going to eat you? That fall was no small matter. Su Ran winced in pain, his face contorting from the discomfort. Chen Xingyue, with her sharp eyes, immediately noticed the gift box lying on the ground. He picked up the gift box and opened it. Inside lay an exquisite tie. The moment he saw him, a surge of jealousy immediately rose in his heart. He questioned Su Ran in return. Did you buy this kind of intimate clothing item to give to Su Bing? Seeing this, Su Ran immediately stepped forward to snatch it away. What does it have to do with you? I can give it to whoever I want. His words made Chen Xingyue even more upset. He grabbed Su Yuan firmly. In a moment of impulse, he dragged him into the compartment. He couldn't tell if Su Yuan genuinely didn't understand or was just pretending. We've known each other for so long. If I really wanted to harm you, would there be any reason to wait until now? Su Ran questioned with a blank expression. The innocent will remain innocent, as the saying goes. Why is uncle so upset? Is it because he feels wronged for taking the blame for someone else? Or was it the fury of being exposed and humiliated? His words completely enraged Chen Qingling. In a fit of lost composure, he grabbed Su Ran's chin tightly. As he gazed, he leaned in and kissed. No matter how Su Ran struggled, he couldn't break free. Chen Xingyue held Su Ran's face tenderly. Since you don't believe anything I say, then why don't we go for a simpler and more direct approach? Young master, are you wanting to stay with me peacefully and safely, still eager to court death? His words didn't intimidate Su Ran. Su Ran maintained that same indifferent demeanor. If you're not afraid of implicating your close brothers, then go ahead and strangle me. Chen Xingyue hesitated. Taking advantage of her hesitation, Su Ran pushed her away at once. Her grievances were no less than those of Chen Xingyue. I almost lost half my life. Do you really think I would still believe your lies? Chen Xingyue, the truth is you don't even like me at all. All you ever think about is yourself. Chen Xingyue never expected Su Ran to think of him this way. He was momentarily stunned. But liking Su Ran was something he couldn't deny. In the past, he had been too stubborn to admit it. But now he wanted to tell Su Ran how he felt. Just as he was about to confess his feelings to Su Ran interrupted him. In that moment, he turned his frustration into anger. He pointed at his head and shouted loudly about that night. If Su Bin had arrived a bit later, I might not have survived. It was all because you failed to protect me. That's why I got hurt. What gives you the right to yell at me regarding this matter? Chen Xingyue knew she was at fault. She truly hadn't done enough to keep Su Ran safe. She no longer had the tough demeanor she showed earlier. She softly called out Ran's name. Su Ran turned his head to the side. She couldn't bring herself to face Chen Xingyue, because she was afraid of her own weakness. Yet her words remained firm. Who gave you permission to call me Ran? Stop calling me that. Chen Xingyue stayed silent. She stood there, frozen in place. Su Ran turned around, ready to leave. If you want me to believe you, you can also try to find the real culprit. Clear yourself of suspicion. As he left, he gave him a warning. Don't act like a lunatic and lose control. In truth, Su Ran felt a pang of sympathy. He knew that Chen Xingyue had been wrongly accused, but to uncover the real culprit, he had no choice but to coldly refuse. Chen Xingyue stared out the window. He felt a quiet sadness growing within him. He lowered his head and began thinking about his grandfather. How to be honest with people. How to genuinely like someone. Grandpa, you never taught me that, did you? Uncle. He finally met the man who threatened his position, but what he didn't expect was that the man turned out to be disabled. In both looks and demeanor, he was no match for him at all. Since the last time Su Yuan left the Lu family, regarding Su Yuan's promise to Lu Xiao wholeheartedly believed it and stayed home waiting for Su Yuan. Perseverance always pays off. He finally waited long enough for Su Ran to arrive. This filled him with immense joy. What surprised him even more was, Su Ran had even prepared a gift for him. Su Ran handed the carefully prepared gift box to Lu Xiao. Thinking it might be impolite to come empty-handed, I decided to get you a tie. But it's my first time buying one. I'm not very good at picking, and I don't know what style you like. Lu Xiao held the tie in his hands, unable to put it down. He cherished the tie as he held it. As long as it's something Ran picked, I like it. Ran, could you help me put it on? Su Ran readily agreed. He crouched down in front of Lu Xiao and personally placed it on her. The two of them were incredibly close. Such a beautiful face. Lu Xiao found herself mesmerized as she looked at him, so captivated that she wished she could keep Su Ran by her side forever. Unable to control herself, she placed her hand on Su Ran's face, especially drawn to those two particularly striking tear moles. He gently caressed Ran. The first time I saw you at the art gallery, I immediately wanted to capture your face on canvas. Your eyes are truly beautiful. Hearing this, Su Ran couldn't hide his excitement. Really? Someone else mentioned that before. Su Ran quickly ran over and sat down on the bay window. He awkwardly adjusted himself into position. His eyes stared blankly straight ahead. His expression amused Lu Xiao. He told Su Ran to stay calm. Just relax and keep your eyes on him. After hearing his words, Su Ran adjusted himself into a comfortable position and remained that way the whole time. It was unclear how much time had passed. Eventually, Su Ran drifted off to sleep. When he finally opened his eyes, Lu Xiao had already finished the painting. It was something he hadn't expected. Lu Xiao actually captured his sleeping figure in a drawing. He looked completely awestruck. Lu Ji, your artwork is truly amazing. When you regain your former inspiration, you must hold a grand exhibition at the KG Art Museum. I want to be your very first visitor. After saying these words, he walked back to the painting and started studying it closely, as if he could uncover something unique within it. But what he didn't realize was, at that moment, Lu Xiao was also staring at him. His delicate and finely sculpted face, his alluring lips, and his unintentionally seductive, curvaceous hips, all of which had been deeply etched into Lu Xiao's mind. He glanced at his own hands, stained and messy with paint. A bold idea took root in his thoughts. He tugged on Shui Yuan's arm. He guided Shui Yuan to take a step back. Take a step back and observe from a distance. You might notice a different effect. Then he let go of the snowfield. Sorry, snowfield. I forgot that I hadn't washed the paint off my hands yet, and I ended up staining your clothes. Su Ran said it was no big deal. It can be cleaned up in a bit, but Lu Xiao thought it wasn't appropriate. This kind of paint doesn't come off easily. She insisted on bringing her a clean set of clothes, and helped her change into them. Her enthusiasm made Su Ran feel quite embarrassed. Alright, thank you. Su Ran took off her dirty clothes, then put on the outfit Lu Xiao had brought. The sun was already about to set. I'll take the dirty clothes with me and throw them away later. When I leave, I'll take care of it on the way. Lu Xiao had achieved her goal. He cleared his throat softly a few times. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I'll have the butler take you home. You should head back first. I'll arrange for the servants to clean up the place. Hearing him say that, Su Ran didn't think much of it anymore. Alright, I'll head out now. Make sure to take good care of yourself, brother. After he left, Lu Xiao eagerly picked it up. The piece of clothing Su Ran had just taken off, and even brought it to his nose to take a deep breath. The lingering scent Su Ran left behind made him lose himself. The thoughts he had been suppressing were now impossible to control. While acting out his emotions, he kept calling out Ran's name. Ran, we made a promise to be lifelong friends. Please, never leave me. Otherwise, then let's head to hell together. Lu Xiao successfully joined the Boss Society as he had hoped. Today marked his first appearance at a meeting. Su Hanchuan stepped forward and exchanged a few pleasantries. Young Master Lu, being new here, might not yet feel fully accustomed to the boss society. If there's anything you need help with, don't hesitate to ask. After the meeting concludes, we'll have our young master Ran show you around. Get acquainted with the surroundings here. Lu Xiao gazed at Su Ran with deep affection. Alright, if Ran isn't busy. Su Ran returned Lu Xiao's gaze with the same expression. Looking at it this way, the two really seemed to have an unspoken connection. The unclear relationship happened to be just right. This scene of exchanging affectionate glances was witnessed by Chen Xingyue. He scrutinized Lu Xiao from head to toe with a sharp gaze. His stare made Lu Xiao feel completely uncomfortable. With her sharp eyes, Chen Xingyue immediately noticed the tie on Lu Xiao. Initially, she assumed that tie was probably intended to be a gift for Su Bing. Who would have thought it ended up being given to this cripple who seemed to have appeared out of nowhere? This time, her uncle wasn't just mildly upset. Uncle finally assumed the demeanor of a rightful queen to confront his rival. The moment he laid eyes on Lu Xiao, he already knew the other person was no match for him, because in his eyes, the other person was nothing more than worthless. Seeing that his legs and feet were not convenient, he mocked him even more. You're the one who got your legs broken a few years ago, and even ended up turning yourself into a mental wreck. Su Ran, seeing him insult Lu Xiao like that, he even started siding with Lu Xiao against Chen Xingyue. He felt that Chen Xingyue was being very rude by acting this way. During the meeting, the two deliberately chatted and laughed in front of Chen Xingyue. Chen Xingyue felt extremely annoyed. Why would someone disabled dare to compete with him? No one knows when the two started getting close. Jealousy drove him to approach Lu Xiao. When Chen Xingyue arrived, Lu Xiao showed no trace of fear. Director Chen, just say what you have to say. Everyone's quite busy. I have dinner planned with Ran tonight. I need to finish reviewing all these materials before 6 o'clock. Chen Xingyue immediately displayed her commanding presence as the queen of the house. He got straight to the point. There are some personal questions that need Director Lu's clarification. How did you get to know him? Lu Xiao remained calm and composed. On August 24th, at the KG Art Museum, we hit it off right away. We had a great conversation. Chen Xingyue felt even more puzzled. He knew that Su Ran had stopped painting a long time ago. It was even more unlikely for him to attend an art exhibition. Lu Xiao asked back whether Chen Xingyue was very familiar with Ran, or if she was interested in him. Chen Xingyue sneered with disdain. The relationship between him and me is somewhat complicated. We've done everything we should and shouldn't have done. In short, someone like you, a mentally unstable cripple, could never take his place. If you really have no shame like this, trying to take advantage of the situation and destroy our relationship, I'll chop you into pieces and turn you into flower fertilizer. His words left Lu Xiao at a complete loss for words. Just at that moment, Suan sent a text message to Lu Xiao saying, "Brother Lu, are you busy right now? I'll come find you right away." After reading the text, Lu Xiao immediately had a different idea. He turned the phone screen face down. He began sarcastically mocking Chen Xingyue. Times have changed, things are no longer the same. Director Chen, take a guess. Why does President Su want to recruit Lu Jia into the guild? It's because the president believes you, like an unruly dog, can't be controlled. There's no need to keep a troublemaker around. Otherwise, why would he specifically provide you with armor, and then rush to transfer those projects in the northern city to me? His words brought to mind the events of the Untamed. The expression on the Untamed's face grew increasingly grim. First, he incited that kid to steal the data from my computer. Then, he had him use charm to manipulate, and tricked me into giving up control of my dungeon. Now, he even forbids me from meeting him, and he's blowing the incident of Su Ran's unexpected hospitalization out of proportion, forcing me to take a leave of absence. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. The anger could no longer be contained. He slammed his palm forcefully on the table. Su Zhangqin, that cunning old fox, in order to get rid of me, he even managed to exploit his own grandson, truly leaving no stone unturned. Lu Xiao, seeing how furious he was, proceeded to fuel the fire even further. From what I know about Ran, how could Ran possibly enjoy going against her own grandfather? Chen Xingyue was well aware of Lu Xiao's pretentious behavior. She took the opportunity to sarcastically mock him. Lu, before you even crossed paths with Su Ran, he was already lying in my bed. Even if Su Ran and I had a falling out, he still wouldn't be interested in you. Lu Xiao noticed that Chen Xingyue's emotions had somewhat calmed down, and then he started provoking her again. Feelings don't follow any particular order of precedence. Besides, the level of intimacy between Ran and me, it doesn't just stop at the physical level. These words completely infuriated Chen Xingyue. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth in fury. He grabbed Lu Xiao and gave him a hard slap. How dare you touch him? Lu Xiao casually wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Why wouldn't I dare? I just have a broken bone in my right leg. I can't move, but it doesn't mean I've lost the normal functions of a man. There was a unique fragrance on Ran Ran. It smelled like flowers, and somewhat like tea. Every time his face turned red, his body would heat up. The scent on him would grow stronger. His skin would also feel soft, sweet and delicate, something Mrs. Chen Li should have noticed. Haven't you experienced it as well? These words completely drove Chen Qing into a frenzy. He told Lu Xiao to shut up. Ran Ran's name coming out of his mouth felt degrading. It was nothing short of an insult. His condition was exactly what Lu Xiao had anticipated. Fearless as ever, he continued to speak stubbornly. The truth is, your anger isn't directed at me. It's because deep down you understand. Ran Ran has already made her decision. There's no chance left between you and her. Chen Sheng, unwilling to be overshadowed, grew more frantic and began spouting nonsense. What gives you, as an outsider, the right to make reckless assumptions? On the contrary, young Master Lu, your tastes are quite unique. You actually have a preference for what others have already discarded. Lu Xiao retorted against him. He believed that Ran Ran was truly wonderful, and also very special. He didn't care about Ran Ran's past at all. As long as he could see her every day, that was enough for him. Chen Xingyue continued mocking him, saying it was because he was foolish. You were deceived by Su Ran's innocent-looking appearance. There are plenty of women surrounding me all the time. I don't care about him at all. But what he doesn't realize is this. His nonsense had already been overheard. It was heard by Su Ran, who had been waiting outside for quite some time. When Chen Xingyue turned around and saw Su Ran standing at the doorway, he started to panic. Su Ran's face looked extremely displeased. Chen Xingyue, I didn't catch what you said just now. Do you have the guts to say it again? It seems like uncle wants to experience the bitterness of love this time. Does everyone think the same way? That uncle is about to enter the phase of relentless pursuit in love. Actually, that's not the case. Su Ran has always kept a clear head, with his focus solely on his ambitions. How could he not see through Lu Xiao's schemes? Everything is firmly under his control. If he wants Chen Xingyue to completely submit to him, he must firmly hold the reins of power in his hands. And the truth turned out exactly as he had hoped. Chen Xingyue not only handed over the power to Su Ran, he also vowed to dedicate his life to serving him. However, the condition was that Su Ran had to belong to him. In his eyes, nothing could possibly compare to Su Ran. Power and money were utterly insignificant. Although Chen Xingyue was deeply infatuated in love, he was not someone to be easily underestimated. He issued a warning to Su Ran. He is someone who has an obsession with cleanliness of the mind. He dislikes others touching things he has handled himself. Even a single strand of hair is off limits. Su Zhengqin has committed countless wicked deeds. His sins and the consequences of his actions will undoubtedly come back to haunt you. There is no way you can escape it. But don't let it scare you too much. None of us will meet a good end. In the afterlife, having him accompany you in hell won't make it lonely. His feelings for Su Ran could no longer be suppressed. After an intense battle, Su Ran no longer showed the arrogance he had earlier. Chen Xingyue apologized to Su Ran once more. Although he wasn't the one responsible for that incident, he couldn't completely escape the blame. If Su Ran decided to report it to Su Zhengqin, he was willing to face any punishment, no matter how severe. But he still felt the need to warn Su Ran not to push him to his limit. Everyone decided to have some fun together. He admitted to liking Su Yuan. No matter what Su Yuan had done, or what kind of person he was completely smitten with him. These words left Su Yuan utterly stunned. He had never heard Chen Xingyue confess any feelings for him before. All along, he had assumed this was just Chen Xingyue's way of seeking power. Chen Xingyue gave a bitter smile. But you never admitted it either. You've been lying to me all along. His affection became something Xian used as leverage. He started shouting again, saying he doesn't lack friends, he doesn't lack elders, and he certainly doesn't lack money. If you want to stay by my side, then you have to prove your worth to me. Chen Xingyue said without hesitation, even adding his life to the offer. Everything I have, I'll give to you. Su Ran couldn't understand why Chen Xingyue was being so kind to him. Chen Xingyue bluntly admitted, I am just an ordinary person. Young master, this graceful presence of yours is far more captivating to me than wealth and power. As they spoke, an idea began to form. Have you ever heard the saying, a blade hangs over every temptation? Then Su Ran took out a dagger and pressed it against Chen Xingyue's neck. Chen Xingyue's eyes were full of affection. The Lu family is the wealthiest, yet she is constantly overshadowed by Su Zhengqin. Boss Boss Lu has been dissatisfied with Su Zhengqin for a long time. You fool, thinking that Lu Xiao is so innocent. And then there's that couple from the Shin family. Hai Roland is not the kind of woman you want to mess with. Believe me, before long, there's going to be quite a show to watch. Tomorrow marks the day when you take over as the heir to assume the position of the Union president. And that's when your nightmare truly begins. Su Ran couldn't figure out what he was trying to say. Chen Xingyue gently kissed his forehead. You can't defeat those wolves with their greedy eyes. After rising to power, I'll become your loyal dog. Su Ran felt a surge of happiness in his heart. That being said, as part of the deal, he wanted to know what Chen Xingling desired. Lu Xiao still had value to him. He couldn't afford to let him go. The ultimate goal of the Untamed is to obtain Su Bai. I need you to get engaged to me. No genuine marital relationship is required, but you must publicly prove to everyone that you belong to me. This is exactly the outcome Su Ran desired, because he also wanted to keep Chen Xingyue by his side forever. In the end, the two of them reached an agreement. Su Ran took the initiative to offer Chen Xingyue a kiss. It turned out this whole thing was just a game. The uncle is actually the naive and simple one. After an intense battle throughout the night, the two of them managed to reconcile. Even though the meal was quite satisfying, he still cared about saving face. There's a press conference scheduled for tomorrow. How is he supposed to face everyone now? The Untamed holds the belief. Isn't it perfectly normal for young people to be passionate and impulsive? Besides, for someone like you, a wealthy young master, everyone has their share of gossip, don't they? Su Ran was furious. I think you're deliberately trying to embarrass me in public tomorrow. That's why you intentionally left these marks. Now that the misunderstanding has been resolved, but the act must still be convincing. He told Chen Xingyue to wait until he left before she departed. Su Bing must not see this. They were secretly meeting in the middle of the night. The engagement matter. He needs to find a chance to have a word with his grandfather. Chen Xingyue was a little worried. What if Su Zhengqin doesn't agree? Su Ran believed that his grandfather cared for him the most. Why wouldn't he agree? The second uncle has been reluctant to get married. There's only his little sister left in the family. Although their grandfather also wished to hold a great-grandchild, he had never demanded him to have a child, carrying on the family name and such things. He believes that the purpose of life is simply to be happy. At worst, he thinks he can wait until he passes away. All the family assets can be donated. Chen Xingyue remarked. At such a young age, why talk about life and death? Isn't it a bit inauspicious? Then he took out a wristwatch and placed it on Su Ran's wrist. This is something I prepared 2 weeks ago. It was just that morning I didn't have time to send it out. Su Ran's face was full of happiness. Let me give you a return gift as well. Close your eyes first. Chen Xingyue shut her eyes, her face filled with anticipation. Su Ran flicked Chen Xingyue's forehead. That's for bullying me tonight. This gift, young master will reluctantly accept. You made me hurt so much. I didn't hold it against you. You should count yourself lucky. After saying that, Su Ran walked away. Chen Xingyue rubbed her forehead. Her face was full of contentment. At this moment, Su Bing was waiting in the car for the snow. He received a message from someone associated with the eldest sister. It seemed like they were expressing concern for Su Bing, but in reality, they were trying to gather information about the Bahiwi's movements. Su Bing was just about to reply. The senior boss, aged and frail, plans to retire. Will hold a press conference tomorrow morning. The junior boss will officially take over. But upon seeing Su Yuan arrive, he immediately changed the content. Everything was fine, nothing out of the ordinary. As soon as Su Yuan got in the car, drowsiness overtook him, and he fell asleep shortly after. Watching the peacefully sleeping Suan, Su Bing wore a look of contentment on his face. Returning home, Suan looked as if he had done something guilty. He tiptoed his way quickly toward his room, but unexpectedly, he was caught in the act by his grandfather and uncle. Su Zhengqin gave him a few instructions. Tomorrow, I've arranged a banquet. I've invited reporters from major TV stations and newspapers to attend. When the time comes, no matter what questions they ask, you just need to respond vaguely and brush them off. Keep in mind to stay enthusiastic and polite, but remain completely clueless when asked anything. Su Hanchuan was going through the invitation details. He came across a name that felt familiar. He was a bit puzzled. Why did you invite Li Bowen? He has no rivalry nor connection with our Su family. There's no business dealings between us either, so why bother getting involved with him? Su Ran felt that Uncle Bowen was actually a nice person. He once took me along to visit an art exhibition. Su Hanchuan tossed the documents aside, then he let out a sigh. He and the eldest brother were close friends from their school days. During their college years, he secretly had a crush on his sister-in-law. Later, the elder brother started dating and eventually got married. Li Bowen stepped back on his own and gave them his blessings. Li Bowen is not a local resident. Most of his business is also not based in the capital, yet he has been living here steadily over the years. He only goes back to his hometown occasionally during holidays and festivals. What he said left Su Ran astonished. Maybe Uncle Bowen still holds affection for Mom, and that's why he chose to stay here to cherish her memory. Su Zhengqing immediately noticed the watch on Su Ran's wrist and couldn't help but ask a few more questions. I remember you've never been fond of plain black before. You said it was a dull color, and it makes one look older. This watch's design doesn't seem to match the style you usually prefer. It's probably a gift from the Untamed, isn't it? Su Ran looked a bit embarrassed. He quickly covered his wrist. My previous watch just happened to break, so I'm just making do with this one. As he spoke, he nervously started to prepare to leave. If there's nothing else, I'll head back to my room to rest. You all should get some rest too. Staying up late is harmful to your health. It turns out that back when Su Ran was very young, his grandfather had already intended to entrust him to Chen Qingling. However, as his influence grew, his craving for power, he gradually began to lose himself. Upon learning about Su Ran's return to the country, he actually committed the foolish act of kidnapping Su Ran. Because of his impulsiveness, it led to a series of unnecessary troubles later on. The news of Su Ran inheriting the chairman position spread quickly. Reporters from various outlets rushed to the scene in a frenzy. They aimed to uncover some details by asking a few questions, hoping to extract insider information from Su Ran. Fortunately, Su Ran had Su Jingqin's reminders in mind. No matter what the reporters were curious about, Su Ran consistently responded with vague and unclear answers. As the situation at the scene started spiraling out of control, luckily, Chen Qingyue arrived just in time. He immediately shielded Su Ran in his arms. Apologies, everyone. My young master just recently returned to the country. He's not very familiar with the internal affairs of the Union. He dismissed the reporters. Then he began to criticize Su Ran. Being late on such an important day takes a lot of nerve. Young master, you really don't seem to take serious matters to heart at all. Su Ran tried hard to defend himself. There were some unexpected incidents on the way. The intimate moment between the two was captured by reporters. Everything was recorded by the journalists. Chen Qingyue led Su Ran to a quiet spot. His eyes focused on Su Ran's wrist. Why aren't you wearing the one I gave you? Are you worried I might have put a tracker or surveillance in it? Su Ran explained. Of course not. How could you even think that? That watch felt too formal, carrying a sense of discomfort. Also not suitable for me. In fact, it was treasured by him as a prized possession, just being too proud to admit it. Chen Qingyue felt a bit disappointed. So, you don't like it? Su Ran noticed his disappointment. He took off Chen Qingyue's glasses. His tone was somewhat teasing. What you like may not always be the right gift to give. Isn't kindness simply about wanting others to be happy? I am already quite content. He placed the glasses on his face. Uncle Chen, do you realize that every time you look at someone while wearing glasses, you appear exceptionally attractive? Chen Qingyue remained remarkably composed. How come I never noticed this habit of the young master before? Is it because I only started liking it after meeting you? Just as the two of them were still playfully teasing each other, I said a sentence. Su Hanchuan walked over. Ran is here. Why didn't you mention it earlier? Your grandfather is still looking everywhere for you. Today is the day Su Zhengqin officially announces Su Ran as the president. He even invited a prominent journalist and media to witness it together. For this reason, an inheritance press conference was held. The Eight Harmonies Association has now been established for exactly 40 years. The president has dedicated decades of hard work and effort. He is now tired and weary from the years of service. The future ultimately belongs to the younger generation. President Su Zhengqin has now successfully stepped down. This departure leaves room for the younger members to shine. Su Hanchuan, serving as the spokesperson. He hopes that any questions regarding this meeting can be brought up by everyone present and will be addressed one by the president. Naturally, there are many people who have doubts. A reporter publicly raised a question of doubt. The young master of the Su family is only just 20 years old this year. His qualifications and experience cannot compare to those of other members. Why is the president in such a hurry? Is it out of fear of provoking jealousy from those with a single-minded focus? Moreover, the Ba Association has so many senior board members. How can it be certain that they would willingly accept the leadership of someone so young? Su Zhengqing responded without any hesitation. I recall when he first joined the Eight Harmonies Association. He worked under Mr. Shin at that time. Mr. Shin was a virtuous and capable man of great benevolence. However, he was not a competent leader. As a result, he was later forced to step down in disgrace. I naturally took the opportunity to ascend to power. The union was renamed and rebranded. It became a possession of the Su family. I have always believed in the principle that the capable should take the lead, and I have been working hard to teach Xiao Ran how to be a competent leader. If he truly proves incapable of taking on great responsibilities, leading to the union being taken over, then it can only be said that it's the inevitable course of events. It's simply destiny at work. Without the Bahiwi, our Su family can still support both me and Han Xuan. Even 100 years later, he wouldn't have to worry about food or shelter. There's no need to fight to the point of exhaustion, just for such minor gains. Have him take over my position. It's simply to assess his abilities. Besides, several chairmen were personally nurtured by me. That's how they achieved their current status. After so many years of camaraderie, even a dog knows to stay loyal to its master and repay kindness. How could they possibly betray me and turn against me? These words reminded Chen Xingling of what Su Zhangqing had once told him. At that time, he couldn't understand at all how someone as lowly as him, and with absolutely no value to the president, why the president still insisted on letting him join the association. Could it really be just to repay him for taking the blow meant for the president? The president, however, said, "I truly admire your courage, and I also know you long to escape the misery of poverty. In the capital, with just a word from me, I can help you rise to success, rise above others and stand out. All you need to understand is one simple thing: be loyal and work diligently for the Su family. I will never treat you unfairly." Chen Xingyue still couldn't quite grasp it. What if I desire even more? Su Zhengqin, known for his patience, is someone you might have heard about. I have a grandson who is currently out of town. He is still quite young. The capital city is not a very safe place. I plan to wait until he comes of age. Then let him return to take over the family business. If you can prove your worth to me, and are willing to take care of him on my behalf, in the future, within the guild, you'll be second only to one. The decisions will be yours to make. Such a tempting offer. Chen Xingyue felt swayed by the proposal. What do you hope for me to do? Su Zhengqing's biggest concern was still about Su. My Ran Yen has never faced any hardships, completely unaware of the dangers hidden in people's hearts, worried that even after growing up, he might still be so mischievous. That's why I need someone both ruthless enough and trustworthy to help me take care of him. In the end, he still didn't feel entirely confident. You probably wouldn't be able to do it either. Even the most loyal subordinates, once they have a family of their own, will inevitably develop personal interests. The Untamed expresses that he is capable. He has absolutely nothing to his name. He has no interest in romantic relationships between men and women. You are the mentor who gave me my first big opportunity. I am willing to work tirelessly for the Su family. I swear to serve the young master with unwavering loyalty. He made a solemn vow to the president. He swore he would never marry or have children in his lifetime. If he ever breaks his promise in the future, or causes even the slightest harm to the young master, let him meet his end without leaving a trace. His actions showed Su Zhengqin his unwavering loyalty. In the end, the underground city was handed over to Chen Xingyue for management. It wasn't until now that Chen Xingyue understood. It turns out, Su Zhengqing had long since entrusted the position and authority of the second-in-command to him. If on the night Su Ran returned to the country, he had not orchestrated the kidnapping, if he had not caused such a mess with all those troubles, perhaps Su Ran and he would have had a pleasant first meeting. Over time, their playful interactions turned into genuine affection. He deeply regretted his foolish actions from back then. In the end, he still ended up falling for Su Ran. Right as the meeting was about to conclude, someone suggested introducing Su Ran to their cousin. Su Jingqi did not decline. Instead, he smiled and said something quite expected. "The next time we meet, it will probably be at my grandson's engagement ceremony. Here, I'd like to give Ran Ran a little reminder. He has a preference for men, especially those who are strong and muscular. He favors men who enjoy sports and are particularly obedient to him." Such a remark instantly caused Su Ran to feel overwhelmed. Our family holds traditional values. When choosing a son-in-law, we don't prioritize family background. If there is a suitable gentleman from another family for marriage, the young master seems to have feelings for Ran Ran. It might be worth considering arranging a meeting first. Once this news was released, all the reporters rushed toward Su Ran. Chen Xingyue couldn't sit still. He grabbed Su Ran and hurriedly left the scene with him. He even shoved him into the car. His rough actions made Su Ran think he was angry again. Although Chen Xingyue felt uneasy inside, he wasn't upset to the point of being angry. After all, Su Zhengqin had already passed the position of president to Su Ran. From now on, the Bagua society would be under Su Ran's control. Su Ran understood what he cared about. Grandpa just mentioned it casually. Getting married comes with a lot of trouble. There's also the risk of losing family assets to deception. That's why Grandpa is reluctant to let me take the risk. Chen Xingyue's expression turned gloomy. So when are you planning to tell him about our engagement? Su Ran thought. After all, it's a major life event. It should be handled more formally. I will find an appropriate moment to bring it up with Grandpa regarding this matter. Clearly, Chen Xingyue's patience isn't very strong. He threatened Su Ran. You better not be brushing me off. Otherwise, Su Ran seemed a bit upset. Or what? Are you planning to tie me up and take advantage of me? Chen Xingyue felt helpless as well. But he had only this one request. Words alone hold no weight. You can't possibly expect me to wait endlessly. Even for business contracts, there's always a final deadline. By the end of this month, you must give me a definite answer. Su Ran had no choice, and reluctantly agreed. All right, by the end of the month it is. Only then did a faint smile appear on Chen Xingyue's face. You need to personally deliver the engagement party invitations to Lu Xiao, and it has to be done right in front of me. Su Ran agreed to all of his demands. Just as Su Ran was about to get out of the car, Chen Xingyue stopped him. In the next moment, he swung directly at him. He wanted Su Ran to remember. Su Ran belonged to him alone. The two of them changed into a new set of clothes first, then they went to the movie theater. At this moment, Su Ran was playing on his phone alone. His good looks caught the attention of a beautiful woman. The woman even wanted to ask him for his contact information. Just as he was about to turn her down, Chen Xingyue walked toward him holding a bucket of popcorn. Excuse me, could you share your contact information with me? Let's be friends. I think I really like you. Would you consider being my boyfriend? His acting left Su Ran speechless though. He still cooperated and agreed. Then she looped her arm through his. Their baffling actions left the woman completely stunned. Chen Xingyue joked, saying, "What if I had proposed to you just now? Would you have said yes?" Su Ran jokingly replied, "Absolutely." However, playing along for fun and taking it seriously are two entirely different things. I'll cooperate with your performance. I'll make sure to play my role well. As for you, just focus on working hard for me. Show me what you're truly worth. The Untamed cast a glance at him, and said nothing more. He understood clearly in his heart that if it weren't for his unnecessary actions, Su Zhengqin would probably trust him a lot, and his relationship with Su Yuan wouldn't have ended up like this. From the moment they left until they entered the cinema, Chen Xingyue hadn't said another word. Su Ran thought it must have been something he said earlier that upset her, and after all, it was his idea to suggest the date. Now acting all aloof and ignoring me. What kind of behavior is that? Su Ran was holding back a lot of grievances. It wasn't until the movie ended. Chen Xingyue finally said it was getting late. Let me give you a ride home. The two of them remained silent the entire way. This unusual behavior felt strange. Su Ran was quite uncomfortable. In the end, he couldn't hold back and spoke first. I could actually choose not to go back home. Are you upset with me? Chen Xingyue had an expressionless face. No, it was all my own choice. I deserved it when Su Ran told him to stop the car. Chen Xingyue did not listen. And yet you said we were almost there. Su Ran, unable to bear it any longer, shouted for him to stop the car. Finally, under his loud roar, the car came to a sudden screeching halt. Eagerly, Su Ran leaned in to place a tender kiss on Chen Xingyue. Uncle Chen, I'm feeling a bit chilly. Would you hold me tight, please? Then, he seemed like a completely different person. He demanded that Chen Xingyue fulfill all his wishes. Such teasing and provocation. Chen Xingyue could no longer withstand it. But young master, this is a mess of your own making. How do you plan to resolve it now? Since your body is not in good condition, why not help me in another way? Now I truly don't know who to envy. Young master, have you noticed how beautiful the night is tonight? You've taken advantage and still pretend to be innocent. Su Ran directly told him to leave. Chen Xingyue's face was filled with satisfaction. Today is Su Ran's first official meeting after taking the position. Unexpectedly, his proposal was immediately opposed by the second uncle. Su Hanchuan believed that reconstructing the underground city is not something to take lightly. Su Ran is being completely unreasonable. This matter must be brought to his grandfather's attention. However, Su Ran believes that now, as the president, he has the authority to make any decision. Moreover, his grandfather also said that his words are equivalent to his grandfather's intentions. The two argued heatedly over this issue. Chen Xingyue strongly supports Su Lan. That place has been around for decades. The equipment and materials have gradually become outdated. Crowds are densely packed. Issues are bound to arise sooner or later. People often say a new era brings new changes. Why not take this opportunity to revamp everything thoroughly? Even Lu Xiao, who rarely speaks, decided to voice his thoughts. This is now a society where technology serves humanity. The underground city still retains architectural styles from the last century. It is deeply buried beneath the ground, never seeing sunlight throughout the year. Reconstruction can actually be a good thing. But no matter what they said, Su Hanchuan's stance remained firm. He told Su Ran to stop being reckless. This matter should wait until you've discussed it with your grandfather. Su Ran insisted that he wasn't being unreasonable. Su Hanchuan believed Su Ran was treating the Su family's foundation as a joke. Unless he was dead, Su Ran could forget about doing such a thing. Without looking back, they left immediately. Su Ran never expected her second uncle, who had always doted on her the most, to embarrass her at such a time. In the end, they couldn't reach an agreement, and parted on bad terms. Chen Qingyue comforted Su Ran. Ran, you know well, that second Master Su is not someone who likes taking risks. He's just afraid you might cause a major problem, and end up bringing disaster upon yourself. It's not that I really wanted to be harsh on you. Lu Xiao started to subtly probe as well. He actually dismissed you outright without even a glance. If it were Mr. Su instead, even if Ran caused a hole in the sky, the old man would still help you take care of it. His words seemed to specifically target Su Ran, unable to remain composed anymore. Eventually, he left using the excuse of needing the restroom. After Su Ran left, Chen Qingyue lashed out at Lu Xiao, the one with the surname Lu. Did you really have to say something just to make him feel bad? Lu Xiao didn't think there was anything wrong with what he said. No one hopes more than I do that Ran can live happily. But this is the reality of the situation. Everyone praises second Master Su for treating Ran as if she were his own. That's why I find it so odd. Did he ever truly care about Ran? Or was it all just for show in front of Su Zhengqin and the public? His words left Chen Qingyue speechless. After returning home, Su Ran started feeling unwell. He sneezed several times while eating. Su Zhengqin felt a little worried. He touched Su Ran's forehead and it was burning hot. Don't go to work today. Stay home and rest for a couple of days. Grandpa will stay with you. If there's anything, let your second uncle handle it. After eating, go back to your room and lie down. Wait until the fever subsides before going out. Ultimately, under Su Zhengqin's insistence, Su Ran had no choice but to obediently return to the room. The moment the two stepped inside, the aunt brought a guest over. This lady claimed she was an old acquaintance of the master, and specifically came by to pay a visit today. The woman took off her glasses. Showing a familiar demeanor, she said, "Second Master Su, it's been such a long time." Su Hanchuan smiled and warmly welcomed Mrs. Shen, who had come from afar. "It truly is a shortcoming on my part for not greeting you sooner. My father has not been in the best of health lately. If there's anything you need, you can tell me directly, and it will be the same." The woman cut straight to the point and asked if he had the authority to make decisions. Su Zhengqing is already well into his 70s or 80s, yet he stubbornly insists on holding on. He'd rather hand the family business over to that young and inexperienced boy than allow you to take full control of everything. "Second Master, you've truly fallen short of expectations as a son." His words did not stir any emotions in Su Hanchuan. "Doing business has never been my passion. Compared to my elder brother and sister-in-law, I truly fall short. However, Madam Shen, when you left the capital, you had nothing to your name. In just over a decade, you made a comeback in S-City, building a world of your own. I genuinely admire that." The woman remained calm, skipping the pleasantries to avoid sounding too cliché. "I don't have so much time to waste calling out for you. Tell your father to come out. And that little illegitimate child in your family." Su Hanchuan had a serious expression on his face. Ran tends to be shy around strangers. "There shouldn't be much to talk about with you. Besides, he is not an illegitimate child. Please mind your words, Mrs. Shen." The aunt passed the woman's words to Su Zhengqin. Su Zhengqin directly replied that he was too busy to deal with it. Su Ran said to his grandfather, "You go ahead and take care of your work. I'll just lie down for a bit and I'll be fine." Right now, Su Zhengqin's eyes were only on his precious grandson. He had no time to pay attention to anyone else. Su Ran, seeing such a great opportunity, immediately expressed his desire to get married. He directly voiced his thoughts about wanting to settle down. Su Zhengqin was genuinely intrigued. He asked which family's young master it might be. Su Ran admitted that his background wasn't ideal. The personality is also terrible, always picking on me, but sometimes quite obedient. I don't care about matching family backgrounds, and I don't want a serious relationship. It's actually almost the same. As long as we get along well, that's enough. Su Zhengqin didn't oppose it. If Ran truly likes it, Grandpa would certainly agree. Su Ran is stubborn and refuses to admit it. I don't like him or anything. We just get along pretty well. That's all. He's already at that age. I'm still young and inexperienced, Su Zhengqin said. Age is not an issue. The important thing is Su Ran seems a bit worried. What if he gets tired of me someday and refuses to listen to me anymore? Su Zhengqin said that if he doesn't listen, just keep hitting him until he does. In the future, if he dares to bully you, I'll handle him. Let's see if I don't take off one of his arms. If he tries to run, break his leg. Don't you care about this? Whatever happens to him, whether he lives or dies, it's none of our concern. Su Ran felt a bit embarrassed. He quickly slipped under the covers in one swift motion. Grandpa, can I get engaged at the end of the month? Su Zhengqin didn't expect him to be in such a hurry. Uncle Chen is worried that no one will want him when he gets old. So is he in a hurry for me to give him a title? Su Zhengqin nodded, as a gesture of agreement. Since you've made your choice, make sure you don't regret it. You're bringing a mad dog into your home, and this dog will cling to you for life. Su Ran said he wasn't afraid. Su Zhengqin gently patted Su Ran's head with relief. Grandpa believes that Ran will definitely find happiness in the future. Without a doubt will be happy. It turns out second uncle's aversion to marriage is entirely because he lacks vitality. The eldest brother and sister-in-law lost their lives in a car accident. Seeing the Su family on the verge of ending their lineage, Su Hanchuan made a bold decision. And it was precisely because of this decision that Su Ran became endlessly entangled with Hai Roland. It was reported this time that Su Ran had officially taken the position of president. Upon hearing the news, he immediately went to the Su family. In his eyes, Su Ran was nothing more than an illegitimate child. Now the child has already turned 28. Su Hanchuan appeared completely composed, born near the end of June, younger by more than 2 weeks compared to the unfortunate baby boy in your family who passed away, by nearly half a month younger. Hai Roland found it utterly ironic. That boy was born at the time his son happened to lose his life on the exact same day. They couldn't even find his body. Would you say this means that illegitimate child stole my son's fortune? Su Hanchuan tried to console him. Everyone has their own destiny. Madam Shen, try to come to terms with it. Though he spoke those comforting words, in truth, Su Hanchuan lacked confidence in saying them, because back then, when the older brother and sister-in-law were rushed to the hospital, the doctor informed him that due to the severe impact during the car accident, before the pregnant woman was taken to the operating table, the baby in her womb had already lost its heartbeat. This was news Su Hanchuan couldn't accept. He desperately begged the doctor to find a way, but no matter how much he didn't want to believe it, the reality was right in front of him. But he lacked the ability to have children, and the only hope rested on the child. He had no idea what to do. Just when he was sinking into despair, a nurse approached him. Sir, half an hour ago, the child you brought in with the rescue team is now out of danger. May I ask if you are a family member of his? Just as he was about to respond that he wasn't, a bold idea formed in his mind. He told the nurse that I was his uncle. Both his parents were killed in a car accident. Where is he and how is he doing? The nurse informed him that although the child had escaped danger, his body was so frail that his heart had developed some issues. He now needs to stay in an incubator for a week for observation and undergo further medical examinations. Su Hanchuan consulted the nurse again to see if the child could stay in the hospital for a few more months. My brother and sister-in-law have both met with accidents. If anything else were to happen to their child, my father definitely wouldn't be able to bear it. The nurse was also very responsible. We carried out all the necessary tests and provided the best possible recovery environment for him. All I want is for him to be healthy and to live well. After explaining everything, he signed Su Yan's name on the child's documents. Now, when facing Hai Luolin, he felt uneasy and guilty. He wanted to ensure this secret remained hidden forever. If the old master found out that Su Ran belonged to another family, the blow he would suffer then would be even more devastating than what this woman endured. But Hai Luolin directed all her hatred entirely toward Su Zhengqin. He always believed the downfall of the Shen family was all because of Su Zhengqin. If his father-in-law had not brought trouble into the house back then, how could the Shin family have fallen apart like this? Now the Su family's dazzling success, a large portion of it, was acquired through cunning and taking from others. I'd like to see how long 3 generations of your family can keep smiling. I was originally planning to have a proper chat with Chairman Su. Right now, I'm not in the mood. Master Su II. My father taught me from a young age that one should always return a favor in kind. Every grudge must be avenged, and it should be repaid tenfold or even 100-fold. Your nephew, with his fair and tender look, is just perfect to accompany my son underground. His words carried an undeniable warning to Su Hanchuan. He intends to target Su Ran. Su Hanchuan was furious. He pointed at Hai Roland, thinking she could intimidate the Su family. At worst, we'll both go down together. We'll perish together if it comes to that. If you dare to harm her even slightly, you will undoubtedly be the one to regret it the most in the future. Meanwhile, the very first thing Shui did after waking up was to give Chen Xingyue a call. As soon as the call connected, he immediately started scolding, saying, "Well done, Chen Xingyue. I got sick. You just sent a few casual text messages while I wasn't around. Turned around and ran off. Went off somewhere to mess around, didn't you?" Over there, Chen Xingyue is desperately trying to explain, "Young master, I was actually busy with something important. I heard from Su Hanchuan that you had a slight fever this morning, so you didn't go to work. How are you feeling now? Is your health any better?" The commotion around was unmistakable. Su Ran could tell as well. It turned out that just 2 hours ago, Hai Roland had shown up at the underground city with a group of people. She came in with an air of causing trouble, yet ended up playing cards on her own. Out of concern, Chen Xingyue decided to come over. Su Ran more or less figured it out. That woman suddenly returned to the capital. They came here targeting the Su family specifically. Chen Xingyue immediately dismissed the idea that they were here for you. Right from the beginning, Hai Roland explicitly mentioned by name that she wanted to speak with the main person in charge here. She even threatened that if you didn't show up, she would stay here indefinitely. Su Ran showed no fear whatsoever, daring to step onto our territory, even if it means resorting to force. I'm not feeling scared at all. Chen Xingyue was still deeply concerned about Su Ran's health. He told Su Ran to stay home and focus on recuperating. Someone has already come to the door. Naturally, Su Ran wouldn't ignore it. Isn't Hai Roland simply trying to meet me? You can avoid it once, but you can't avoid it forever. Why not have an open and honest conversation with him? Chen Xingyue still couldn't help but feel uneasy. What you should be worried about is yourself. I'll handle everything else. Even though Hai Roland arrived with dozens of bodyguards and an intimidating demeanor, our Ba Association isn't to be underestimated either. If it really comes down to a fight, we're more than capable of handling them. These words couldn't help but make Su Ran tease. Then why are you still uneasy about letting me find you? Chen Xingyue felt a pang of heartache. It's better to be safe than sorry. Just worried about that 1 in 10,000 chance. It's pretty chilly outside today. Coming all this way means having to face the cold wind. Look at you, your voice is completely hoarse. Be good and stay in bed. Don't wander around aimlessly. The more you tell him not to go, the more determined he becomes. Uncle Chen, I missed you. The young master lit up the moment he saw his beloved. She immediately embraced her tightly, all the while continuing to act coquettishly. Did you miss me, uncle? Their affectionate behavior made the woman nearby jealous. So Mr. Chen is willing to lower himself to be the Su family's lapdog. Is it all for this person? But it's not surprising. Young Master Su is indeed quite good-looking. He truly is someone who easily attracts attention. Su Ran pretended to be clueless despite knowing everything. Her words were as sweet as honey. Are you here to have fun, sister? Flowery words left Hai Luolin utterly confused. Such a lack of respect. She couldn't even distinguish seniority. You should address me as Mrs. Shun. Su Ran continued pretending. I already know your name. Didn't I give you my business card last time? This cotton candy-like response made Hai Luolin furious. Do you really have no idea who I am? Or are you just pretending to be clueless with me? Shuran acted like he was scared. He held Chen Xingyue tightly. Aren't you my grandfather's business partner, the CEO of TC Group? I do remember. He glanced at Chen Xingyue. Why is Uncle Chen being so harsh? Did something happen? Chen Xingyue cooperated with him. Young master, I did have a bit of a disagreement with Mrs. Shin just now, but it has nothing to do with you. Why don't you go rest in the lounge for a while? I'll take you away shortly. Hai Roland became anxious. All these years, your grandfather and second uncle have never once mentioned my name. Su Ran looked completely innocent. No, I don't get involved in the family business. It was after returning to the country. That's when Grandpa introduced me to his old friend. Grandpa said if I became the president, I could just talk without doing any work. It sounded easy and carefree, so I agreed to take the position. Otherwise, who would want such a tough job? With money at home, why would I need to work? His performance completely exceeded Helen's expectations. He never expected that this young master would turn out to be an idle good-for-nothing. He asked Su Yuan to take a seat and join him for a couple of games, but unexpectedly, Su Yuan said he didn't know how, though he mentioned he could play a little bit of mahjong. However, with only 3 people, they couldn't form a full table. Suan thought about casually getting a bodyguard to fill in, but Hai Roland remarked that all of them were like wooden blocks, and wouldn't be any fun. Suan picked up the phone and searched around. In the end, he concluded that Li Bowen was the most suitable. He immediately dialed the number. Coincidentally, Li Bowen was also in the underground city. Chen Xingyue was somewhat puzzled. He asked Suan about Li Bowen usually keeping to himself and not getting along with your second uncle or grandpa, yet he seems to care a lot about you. Don't you find that strange? Su Ran said Uncle Bowen had a crush on his mom when he was younger. That's why he ended up caring about him as well. What's so unusual about that? Chen Xingyue seemed a bit upset. Su Ran, however, called him petty. Uncle Bowen is old enough to be his father, even if he prefers older people. At least they should be as handsome as you, Uncle Chen. Charming, really. Besides, he's not even into men. Their conversation, however, piqued Hai Roland's interest. She couldn't help but feel curious. When did the two of you start dating? Who made the first move? Su Ran smiled openly. I like Uncle Chen, so I was the one who pursued her. I went to great lengths to win her over. I really put in a lot of effort. I tried everything, from crying to making a scene, and eventually, she fell for me. Hai Roland stared at Chen Xingyue in disbelief. Is this what you like? Chen Xingyue felt a bit embarrassed. She's really nice, Hai Roland said as she started eating the melon. You two actually make a great match. Your mom must be really beautiful, right? Su Ran laughed happily. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. She's truly stunning. But sister, you and my mom are equally gorgeous. If only she were still alive. I miss her so much. Her words reminded Hai Roland of her again. He felt a bit melancholic. If it weren't for that accident 20 years ago, his son wouldn't have died. He deeply misses his son as well. He stays alone underground. He must feel very lonely. Chen Xingyue comforted him in his solitude. How many mothers in the world don't love their children? Madame Shen was deeply grieved by the unexpected passing of her son. She couldn't let go of her sorrow. Seeking justice for such a loss is completely understandable. But as the saying goes, every grievance has its origin and every debt its debtor. Innocent people should not suffer for others' mistakes. Your child is a precious treasure, and so are other people's children. They too are cherished and raised with immense love. Directing hatred toward an innocent young person, even if revenge is achieved, will you truly feel relieved and at peace? Su Ran picked up the conversation, saying when I was a kid, my grandfather told me he had done too many bad things, which caused me to lose my parents. Because he had accumulated too many enemies, even going to school became dangerous for me. Sometimes I would be kidnapped. It was like being thrown into the water. I almost drowned. Later, my grandfather painfully decided to send me abroad. He entrusted an old friend to take care of me. That's how I managed to live safely up until now. There have been no leads about that kidnapping incident to this day. He has always suspected it was Hai Roland. This is a perfect chance to test his reaction. Hai Roland's face remained completely expressionless. He seemed to be deep in thought about something. The atmosphere suddenly grew cold. The young master is about to be in trouble again, because he lost in his excitement. The long-awaited fourth player finally completed the mahjong game. Upon seeing Li Bowen, Su Ran was overjoyed. After all, Li Bowen and Hai Roland could be considered old acquaintances. As soon as they met, they started exchanging pleasantries. The group seemed to get along quite well. After playing a few rounds, Su Ran started to feel a bit hungry. Uncle Chen, where are we going to eat later? Chen Xingyue asked him what he wanted to eat. Chinese food or Western food? Su Ran said anything was fine as long as it wasn't caviar. That taste is really strange. Who would have thought they were thinking the same thing? Chen Xingyue said he didn't like it either. It always has a peculiar fishy smell. Su Ran asked Hai Roland if she usually drinks carrot juice. Hai Roland replied that she is allergic to it. Su Ran said she is too. When she was a child, she drank it once. She immediately broke out in rashes all over her body and had to be hospitalized. She also dislikes cilantro. It seems to her like the smell of stink bugs. She has decided she will never try it again in her life. Hai Roland laughed, saying she didn't expect them to be so alike. Maybe it's fate. She stood up and said that would be all for today. We can meet up with young Master Su again another day if there's a chance. Su Ran initially wanted to see Hai Roland off, but Hai Roland stopped him from doing so. He pinched Su Ran's cheek and said to call her auntie from now on. Stop trying to take advantage of seniority. Did you hear that? After Hai Rua left, Su Ran couldn't wait any longer and eagerly linked arms with Chun Xingyue. Uncle Li, I guess we'll be heading off now. We still have a date planned later. Li Bowen directly asked the two of them, how far along are you in your relationship? Su Ran confidently introduced him as my fiancé. His introduction caught Chun Xingyue by surprise. Young master, that's something that isn't even close to being finalized. Don't go spreading it around carelessly. After all, there's no definite approval from the old man yet. Su Ran said Grandpa has already tacitly agreed. He's so fond of me, even if I were to like a dog, he would still agree. Comparing her husband to a dog, Chun Xingyue got anxious and immediately rewarded him with 2 coins. Su Ran started teasing Li Bowen again. We're planning to get engaged at the end of the month. Uncle Li, you should come too. You've been single for over 40 years. You can share in the good fortune then. Sending some romantic vibes your way. This sudden display of affection caught Li Bowen off guard, then rewarded Su Ran with 2 coins as well. You better take care of yourself, kid. Besides, I have something to take care of. I'll head out now. Let's catch up another day. Chen Xingyue gave Su Ran a small smile. Su Ran covered his forehead with his hand. Upset now? And you still doubt he has feelings for me? Look how heavy-handed he was. This area has turned completely red. Thinking about what Su Yuan just said, Chen Xingyue felt a bit emotional, planted 2 light kisses on Su Yuan's face. The sudden sweetness left Su Yuan at a loss. Chen Xingyue then asked him, young master, is it okay if I hug you here? Su Ran also felt a little shy. His cheeks were flushed red. Why do you always like being in such odd places? Was it because they were more excited? Both of them seemed to get a bit thrilled. The game got a little intense. They kept playing until it was completely dark. Even the spectators ended up completely drained. At this point, the young master was utterly exhausted. Chen Xingyue had no choice but to take him home. They had already reached the doorstep, but no matter what, he just wouldn't wake up. Chen Xingyue felt something was seriously off. He reached out and touched Su Ran's forehead. This time, he really went too far. It even caused a fever. Now he was genuinely panicking. What should he do this time? What can you do when the young master is just too attractive? Even his bodyguards are starting to take notice now. They even went so far as to threaten his fiancée. It turns out Su Bing had another identity all along. 20 years ago, Hai Roland saved Su Bing. It took a significant amount of effort to finally get him into the 8 Harmony Society. The purpose was to keep an eye on every move made by the Su family for him. Unexpectedly, during the time spent with Su Ran, he developed feelings for Su Ran that he shouldn't have had. Even though he knew Chun Xingyue was her fiancée, he still couldn't stop himself from questioning Chun Xingyue. As for Su Ran, was he just playing games, or had he truly caught feelings for her? Chen Xingyue didn't give a direct answer. Instead, he told him to focus on his duties as a bodyguard. It's best not to meddle too much in their affairs. However, Su Bing claimed that Su Ran was his employer, and as his friend, he felt it was his duty to protect him. Being warned like this by a bodyguard, Chen Xingyue was quite annoyed. Immediately, he confronted him. You're aware he's your employer. Even Su Zhengqin has no objections, so who do you think you are? This kind of concern clearly went beyond the boundaries of employment and friendship. Chen Xingyue didn't want to elaborate further. He offered a few words of advice. He suggested that Su Bing should know when to quit while ahead, and not bring unnecessary trouble upon himself. What he despised the most was someone like him who kept his little schemes hidden and unspoken, yet constantly worried that the person he liked might be taken away by someone else. Someone who goes out of their way to sabotage others' relationships. Looking at the person fast asleep on the bed, Chen Xingyue, however, felt a bit sentimental. Let me make this clear up front. If the presence of Lu Xiao and Su Bing threatens my place in your heart, I can't promise I won't do something drastic. Actually, I can't entirely blame you. After all, you were born with a face that naturally attracts attention. Flirting with someone and then shirking responsibility. Su Bing was consumed by his deep insecurity, lacking the courage to confess his feelings. But what about Lu Xiao? Not only was he overconfident in his own cleverness, he was nothing but a useless person. Just another spineless man who loved but couldn't voice it. When it came to this point, a faint, bitter smile appeared on his face. Actually, it all began 12 years ago. Su Zhengqin added my name to the list of presidents of the Eight Harmonies Association from the start. We were destined to be entangled. Su Zhengqin elevated me to the position of second in command. Everything he taught me to do was all in preparation for when you came of age, so that I could assist you and become your loyal follower. No matter how much I tried to escape, I still couldn't avoid the fate of being a servant. He gently caressed Su Ran's cheek. Su Ran furrowed his brows tightly as he moved slightly. Chen Xingyue grasped his chin. Unable to resist, she leaned in for a kiss. The kiss was overwhelmingly passionate, so passionate that it left him breathless. Awakened, Su Ran was visibly annoyed. He looked at Chen Shang with a face full of displeasure. Chen Xingyue approached with a tray of food in her hands. It had been most of the day without a meal. You must be starving. Why not grab a bite before heading to sleep? With that, the feeding began. It was unclear whether it was sheer hunger or an unusually good appetite. Su Ran ended up eating several bowls in a row. Even then, he still wasn't satisfied. He kept grumbling about Chen Xingyue not knowing how to take care of people. Chen Xingyue went along with it effortlessly. Her face was full of indulgence as she responded to the young master's criticism. By the time she finished tidying up and returned to the room, Su Ran had already started acting all coy again. She wrapped her arms tightly around Chen Xingyue from behind, asking him to join her for a shower. This kind of behavior is far beyond what someone of an uncle's age could handle. He lifted Su Yuan up in his arms. You're the one who said it. Don't accuse me of bullying you later on. What happens next is just way too thrilling, Uncle. Uncle has encountered a new romantic rival. The key is that this rival was personally introduced to Su Yuan by his grandfather. Right in front of the rival, Grandpa tried every possible way to make things difficult for Chen Xingyuan. Fortunately, Su Yuan handled it with confidence and dominance. Even though he clearly likes Chen Xingyuan, he stubbornly refuses to admit it. And now, because of last night's sleep, he felt uneasy for not being held by Chen Xingyue. While Chen Xingyue had gotten up early in the morning, she didn't even greet Su Ran. Su Ran could no longer sit still. He asked Chen Xingyue why he was up so early on the weekend and where he was going. Chen Xingyue explained that he needed to head to the study to take care of some work, and also told Su Ran to go back to sleep. Su Ran assumed Chen Xingyue was upset with him. Even last night, he didn't hold him while they slept. Chen Xingyue further explained that he was just thinking about exactly how far the distance was. What feels most comfortable for you? It seems like I've been pressuring you too much all along. I guess I never truly tried to understand you. Last night, you didn't come closer. You probably don't like it when I hold you. These words started to make Su Ran feel guilty. But on second thought, isn't all of this something Chen Qing chose willingly? Why does it now seem like I'm the one being unreasonable? Su Ran firmly refused to admit that he liked Chen Shang. Grandpa only taught him how to use others by any means necessary. Loving someone is often blind, and can even end up hurting oneself. If he were given a chance to truly understand someone, it wouldn't be impossible. After some internal persuasion, he still decided to knock on Chen Xingyue's door with hesitation. Uncle Chen, are you feeling tired? I made you some tea. Chen Xingyue didn't spare him a single glance. She was solely focused on the task at hand. Su Ran placed the tea in front of Chen Xingyue. Then, in a flattering tone, he cautiously asked, I've brought it over. Aren't you going to have some? Chen Xingyue remained completely still. Just leave it there. I'll drink it later. Is there anything else? His tone made Su Ran feel a bit upset. Are you trying to rush me out? He started acting restless. Chen Xingling addressed the matter directly. There was no need for them to hide anything from each other. Su Yuan wrapped his arms around Chen Xingling's neck. He sat down on his lap. I am incredibly bored. I wanted to have a little chat with you. Chen Xingling gently caressed Su Yuan's cheek, then explained that he hadn't thought too much about it, and reassured Su Ran not to feel pressured. Being timid is not like him at all. Maintaining the current situation is the best option. Besides, they are getting engaged by the end of the month. He certainly doesn't want a minor disagreement to turn into something that makes everyone uncomfortable. Moreover, he isn't that petty. Su Ran believed he was exactly petty, wanting both money and status at the same time. He got involved with someone and still naively hoped for love, and even accused him of being greedy. Chen Xingyue admitted to his own greed. Just as the two were about to spark some chemistry, a call came in from Su Zhengqin. It turned out that Grandpa had arranged to play tennis with Uncle He-Yong, and suggested that Su Ran meet He-Yong's nephew, because He-Yong's wife was seriously ill, and she was scheduled for surgery next month. So he recommended his nephew to temporarily take over his duties. Hearing this, Chen Xingling instantly became restless. He quickly asked Su Ran how old his nephew was. What does the person look like? Are they single? Do they prefer men or women? A string of questions left Su Ran feeling overwhelmed. If you're not confident, just come with me. Besides, they're only filling in temporarily. Whatever they're like has nothing to do with the two of us. Before long, the two of them arrived at the golf course. Su Jingqin warmly introduced the man standing nearby to Su Ran. This is Yanju, the nephew of Uncle He Yong. He will probably stay in Ba for about 2 months. If you have time, you can have a chat. His introduction failed to catch Su Ran's interest. Moreover, he shifted the topic. Uncle Chen has something he'd like to discuss with you tonight. Why don't we have dinner together this evening? Su Zhengqin immediately declined, and mentioned that he had plans with someone tonight. Rejected, Su Ran felt quite unwilling to accept it. He grabbed Su Zhengqin's hand in an attempt to persuade him. Chen Xing understood his current situation clearly, and he could also grasp Su Jingqin's attitude. He wisely chose to step back. Since the president had already scheduled a meeting with someone, they could talk another day. After all, it wasn't anything particularly important. Waiting a few more days wouldn't hurt. Yan Zhu seemed to have noticed something as well. It's rare to meet new friends, so why not exchange greetings? Young Master Su is new here. I hope you will take good care of him. As the conversation went on, he extended his hand. I recall you were only 20 years old when you assumed the position of Union President. That's truly impressive. Meeting you today, you look even more stunning in person than in your online photos. Then he held Su Ran's hand and kissed it. Having an heir as outstanding as you, Mr. Su must feel incredibly proud. I might need to trouble you for a while in the near future. I hope you can offer your guidance. Su Ran quickly pulled his hand away. His enthusiasm made Su Ran uncomfortable. Chen Xingyue, who witnessed this scene, felt more upset than if she had swallowed a piece of greasy meat. On Lu Zhao's side, things were still unresolved. And now, another issue has come up. He immediately stepped in front of Su Ran. He then introduced himself to Yan Zhu. He also mentioned that if there was anything unclear, he could always ask him. However, this scene sparked discontent in Su Zhengqin. With a stern expression, he said to stop the conversation for now. He told them to go change their clothes, and to gather at the designated area later. One ball after another flew out. The staff retrieving the balls were exhausted and out of breath. When passing by Su Zhengqin, they were stopped by him. With a cheerful smile, he noted that they had already run back and forth twice. Take a break and then, with a dark expression, tell Chen Xingyue to pick it up. Hearing this, Su Yuan immediately tried to please Su Zhengqin. He was persuading his grandfather, while also wiping the sweat off his face. Grandpa, Uncle Chen came to spend time with me today. Don't make things difficult for him like this. But Su Zhengqin didn't appreciate it at all. Instead, he mocked Chen Qingling. He couldn't even handle something this simple. Has he been in a high position for too long? He had forgotten his own origins. If others can treat it as a legitimate career, why can't he do the same? Before he joined the 8 Harmonies Association, hadn't he endured even more humiliating experiences? His typically domineering uncle never expected there would come a day when he himself would be bullied. On the surface, Su Zhengqin appeared very supportive of his marriage to Su Ran, but in reality, he had long harbored resentment toward him. This time, taking advantage of the chance to play basketball, he intentionally went out of his way to make things difficult for him in front of others. Even went so far as to deliberately hit the ball at his face. Although he was well aware that Su Zhengqin had bad intentions, he still chose to endure in silence for the sake of a comfortable future with Su Ran. Despite everything, he swallowed his pride and kept quiet. By the end of the game, Chen Xingyue's face was covered in bruises. Seeing him with a face full of injuries, Su Ran's heart ached deeply. But even so, Su Zhengqin still didn't let it slide. He even insisted that he must wear formal attire tonight to attend the family gathering. Seeing that time was running out, and his disheveled appearance was completely unsuitable, Su Ran told him to go back with him directly, and take the opportunity to shower and change clothes. Chen Xingyue thought visiting like this, shouldn't they bring a gift? Su Ran told him not to worry about it. After all, they were all old acquaintances. Besides, Grandpa and second uncle didn't appreciate these pretentious gift-giving rituals. Chen Xingyue, who had just been released from prison, looked incredibly alluring, especially with his well-defined muscles. Su Ran couldn't take his eyes off him. He was a bit curious about Chen Xingyue. Do you work out often? Chen Xingyue replied. He occasionally makes a few trips to the gym, but that place is pretty dull. It doesn't have much appeal. Hearing this, Su Ran felt a bit excited. He immediately patted his chest to assure Chen Xingyue. What do you think think about me building some muscle. Plus, I usually enjoy staying active. It's just that my appearance seems frail. Chen Xingling, however, thought he looked just fine the way he was. He's just a bit on the thin side. Talking about exercise, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the gym. Honestly, you can do it anywhere. That comment sounds a bit inappropriate. Furious, Su ran, threw the clothes straight at Chen Xingling's face. But then again, regarding what Grandpa did today, he felt deeply sorry about it. He asked Chen Xingling if it still hurt. He was definitely feeling upset inside, wasn't he? If it were him, he would be angry too. With his words, Chen Xingyue suddenly felt that all the grievances were worthwhile. A little surface injury exchanged for the old man's approval. Not a loss at all. Su Ran couldn't quite understand being humiliated in public. He didn't mind it at all. Does Uncle Chen like me that much? Chen Xingyue couldn't help but kiss Su Ran, then made a remark about liking someone, suddenly caught off guard by the flirtation. Su Ran, on the contrary, seemed a bit embarrassed. His cheeks were also flushed red. Chen Xingyue asked Su Ran very seriously if he would have the chance to be officially recognized after the engagement. Su Ran replied smugly with a keep dreaming, then walked away without looking back. While the two were on their way to the dinner gathering, Lu Xiao called. Turns out he plans to hold an art exhibition at the KG Art Museum. He wants Su Ran to attend the event, and he also wants to invite Su Ran to dinner tonight. He asked if Su Ran was available. Su Ran immediately declined the invitation. He even mentioned he would look for him tomorrow instead. Their entire conversation was overheard by Chen Xingyue. She acted as if nothing had happened on the surface, but inwardly, she was furiously cursing. Lu Xiao ended the call. Su Ran asked if Chen Xingling would be interested in going to the art exhibition with him. He wondered if Chen Xingling would like to join him for the event. It would probably take place towards the end of the year. The only concern was whether Uncle Chen would have time to come by then. He wasn't sure if Uncle Chen would be too busy to make it. Additionally, he had a feeling that Uncle Chen might not feel comfortable in such a quiet setting. It seemed like the kind of place Uncle Chen wouldn't easily adapt to. There's no way Chen Xingyue would allow him to have some alone time with Lu Xiao, especially those places where people share the same interests. He immediately agreed without hesitation. He even said it would be a way to broaden his horizons. As long as the young master enjoys it, no matter how busy it might get, he would always make time to accompany him. Soon, the two of them arrived at the grandfather's residence. The butler mentioned that the master had not yet returned. Only the second master was at home. He had just gotten off work as well. As soon as he entered the house, he stormed angrily into his room and stayed there. Su Ran assumed that his grandfather must have been delayed by something important. He gave a few additional instructions to the butler. Then he entered the house with Chen Xingyue, but as soon as they stepped inside, they heard his second uncle shouting at the top of his lungs in anguish. His subordinates also overheard something he couldn't bear to accept. It was the first time he had ever seen his second uncle so furious, and it left Su Ran feeling deeply unsettled. Su Hanchuan was angered because his men failed to stop Su Ran from meeting Hai Roland, then flew into a rage, and went on to make bold and reckless statements, saying if he encountered Hai Roland again, he would face her head-on without hesitation. Simply deciding to go all out with no turning back, determined to make sure she wouldn't walk away unscathed. He feared any interaction between Hai Roland and Suan. He wanted that secret to remain hidden forever. These malicious words were overheard by Suan standing just outside the door. He could hardly believe such things were spoken by his second uncle. Su Ran was aware that the place where he was born was a gray area, but his grandfather and second uncle had always treated him well. They even taught him how to distinguish between right and wrong, good and evil. However, 20 years ago, his grandfather stole the Shin family's wealth. He even took over the guild and made it his own. These are undeniable facts. In the end, he lost both his parents. Hai Roland's father-in-law and son also lost their lives because of this. When you think about it, it was all his grandfather's greed that ruined everyone. The more Su Ran thought about it, the more ashamed he felt. Thankfully, the Untamed offered him some perspective. It encouraged Su Ran not to overthink. Su Zhengqing assured him that he would handle the trouble he caused on his own. All Su Ran needed to do was pretend he knew nothing about it, and focus on being a peaceful and content heir. If it ever came to a point where there was no way out, he would take care of all the messy and difficult tasks himself. As he spoke, his tone turned increasingly playful. He gazed at Su Ran with deep emotion in his eyes. Our president's beautiful hands are definitely not meant for holding knives. Spent the whole afternoon playing on the court, covered in dust and dirt. How about taking a relaxing hot bath before dinner? Then dragged Su Ran straight to the bathroom. Su Ran understood his intention, quickly explained that he didn't bring a change of clothes. Chen Xingyue, overwhelmed by his own urges, could no longer control himself from wanting to act on his desires. Ignoring Su Ran's resistance, he hoisted him over his shoulder and tossed him into the bathtub before unleashing a storm of actions. At this moment, he had poured all his love into Su Ran. Although he wasn't sure what Su Ran truly felt for him, the mere thought that one day Su Ran might abandon him and find someone else, that overwhelming possibility, was enough to drive him insane, especially when he saw it. The sight of Su Ran chatting with other men would fill him with intense anxiety. He increasingly felt that this insecure personality was completely unlike himself, but what could he do about it? This explanation made Su Ran feel a bit guilty. He also assured Chen Qingyue that such a day would never come, and reassured Chen Qingyue that he would not harm others. He only liked to tease his uncle. Finished helping Su Ran take a bath, Chen Qingyue then started drying his hair, but he himself looked like a drenched cat. Su Ran told him to change his clothes. Chen Qingyue felt a bit helpless. "It seems I'll have to trouble you to borrow some clothes from Su Hanchuan." Su Ran said there's no need. He even mentioned his second uncle is not only slim, but also shorter than Chen Qingyue. His clothes wouldn't fit at all. As the conversation went on, he opened the wardrobe. Inside, it was filled with all kinds of suits. Looking at the wardrobe packed with clothes, Chen Qingyue was a little stunned. Su Ran casually pulled out one piece from within and handed it to Chen Qingyue. He even mentioned that all of them were custom-made to his measurements. Chen Qingyue still hadn't snapped out of it. He stared blankly at Su Ran. Su Ran felt a bit uneasy under his gaze. "Why are you staring at me like that? Everyone has their little hobbies. What's wrong with collecting a few suits?" Chen Qingyue, after changing clothes, still felt a bit curious. "Was it prepared just for me? Or does everyone else have it too?" This sour tone instantly amused Su Yuan. He didn't explain. He simply said the sourness was overwhelming. He told Chen Qingyue to quickly tidy up and head to the restaurant for dinner. Before leaving, a sentence was spoken. "There will be no one else in my room. Only your uncle will be there." Finally about to make it official. Ever since it went public, the two have not stopped for a moment. Wherever they go, they flaunt their relationship. Although Su Zhengqi looks down on Chen Qingling in every way, unfortunately, his precious grandson insists on marrying Chen Qingling. However, he made his harsh words clear from the start. "I have only this one grandson. It's unlikely there will ever be a great-grandchild in the future. I have no objections to the engagement. Whether it leads to a successful marriage in the future will depend on your own fate. My expectations remain consistent as always. You should understand what needs to be done." Chen Qingyue naturally understood what he meant. He assured Su Zhengqin he promised to uncover the truth behind Su Ran's kidnapping, the person responsible for injuring him and causing his hospitalization, to prove his own innocence. Although he once had thoughts of defying the president, he has never betrayed the oath he made in the beginning. These words were something Su Hanchuan couldn't bear to listen to. "You really dare to say that? The position of second-in-command doesn't satisfy you. You even considered joining forces with other directors to strip the president of his authority. And now you still have the nerve to deny having ulterior motives." The atmosphere suddenly turned awkward. Su Ran knew his second uncle had strong opinions about Chen Qingyue, so he chimed in with a couple of remarks. "Second uncle, please calm down. Getting angry is not good for your health." Chen Qingyue was well aware of his own faults. In the past, he had indeed made many mistakes. However, the promise he made with the president was always on his mind, and he dared not forget it. He admitted that his greed was to blame. He had done many things that disappointed the president, but to say he was treacherous, that would be entirely unjust. Even though he once harbored hostile thoughts toward Su Ran, he never intended to harm her. Not even a single strand of her hair had been touched by him, let alone causing her any actual harm. Hearing this, Su Ran rolled her eyes dramatically. What does it mean to not even touch a strand of her hair? Is there any part of her from head to toe that he hasn't already touched? Chen Qingyue continued to justify herself. "President, the loyalty and principles you speak of, judging intentions rather than actions. Apart from frequently opposing you on that matter, it was my ignorance and greed. As for anything else, I have nothing to hide and am upright. I have a clear conscience. Aren't you well aware of this? From the very beginning, I complied with your forceful demands. Joining the union was all about the money. Willingly risking everything for you was simply to climb the ladder. But after obtaining those things, I realized, it seems I'm not as satisfied as I thought I'd be. I assumed it was because I hadn't gained enough, which left me feeling empty. So I aimed even higher and set my sights on your position. Now I finally understand what I truly desire. It wasn't the position of president you worked so hard to secure, but rather the beloved grandson you carefully nurtured." Chen Qingling spoke with genuine sincerity. Even under such circumstances, Su Zhengqing still couldn't fully trust him, and remained unwilling to entrust his grandson to him. Chen Qingling expressed that he could give up everything, even if it meant starting over as a junior employee, as long as the president could feel at ease. All of his assets can be given to the chairman without any compensation. If it's not a problem, he could even take the chairman's last name. Chen Qingling is truly willing to go all out for Su Ran, but Su Zhengqin doesn't fall for such tactics. However, seeing his sincerity, and since his grandson insists on only him, in the end, he decided to compromise. The 27th is considered an auspicious day. "Let's set the engagement for that day," it's agreed. Suggested to Chen Xingyue whether she wants to stay tonight. The young couple is being so affectionate. Su Hanchuan was quite dissatisfied. He immediately assumed a parental demeanor, lowered his voice slightly and spoke calmly. "Isn't this your favorite fish? If you don't start eating, it'll get cold." The wedding arrangements were discussed and finalized. The atmosphere shifted significantly. Su Ran asked Su Zhengqin, could it be that he became the president? Now he seems to be in charge of everything. Su Zhengqin assumed he might be facing some trouble. "Is there someone in the boss society who doesn't respect you?" Su Yang hurriedly clarified. He plans to rebuild the underground city, but it seems like no one is very willing to support him. He has also been hesitating all along. Could it be that he feels his actions lack consideration, and insists on doing things his own way? Su Jingqi did not object. He also felt that after over 40 years since the dungeon's establishment, some of the facilities had become outdated. It was indeed time for a major renovation. Then he asked Su Hanchuan for his opinion. Su Hanchuan still thought the decision was a bit hasty. Moreover, the scale of the dungeon's construction was not something that could be completed in just a month or two. Su Zhengqing countered his perspective. If you have the money, why worry about not getting it done? Resources and manpower are not an issue. 6 months will be sufficient. The subsequent renovation work and related matters will be entrusted to Chen Xingyue. Han Chuan, your responsibility is to convince. If the others press for details, just explain that it's my decision. With grandfather's support, Su Ran was overjoyed. Overall speaking, the dinner gathering went quite smoothly. Chen Xingling seemed to have received the Su family's approval. Just as Chen Xingling was about to leave, Su Ran gave him a kiss. This made Chen Xingling even more reluctant to leave. He asked Su Ran if she wanted to go back with him. Su Ran, who had just been so unwilling to part, now seemed hesitant. She even mentioned that it was getting late, and told him to hurry home. Chen Xingling felt a little helpless. He told Su Ran not to meet Lu Xiao tomorrow. Su Ran asked him why. I've already agreed to it. I can't just break my promise. Chen Qing held her face, and seriously said that liking you is reason enough. Isn't that sufficient? These words made Su Ran unhappy. If I were truly reckless enough, would he be disabled or a beggar? Nothing stops me from being unfaithful, but I only love myself. I am well aware of proper etiquette and morality. Even if the other person is the eldest son of the richest family, no matter how talented they might be, to me, they are nothing more than strangers who can bring benefits. His response greatly satisfied Chen Xingyue. I trust your judgment. You would never be interested in some lunatic loser. Likewise, you should have faith as well. He embraced Su Ran with excitement. I went through so much effort just to win you over. For you, I bowed my head repeatedly in front of Su Jingqi. If anyone ever tries to interfere in the future and snatch away love by force, either one person dies, or none of us gets to live. The love in the Untamed is excessively domineering, but it just so happens that Su Ran is into it. He couldn't help himself, planting a kiss on Chen Xingling's face. Then he started trying to take advantage with words. I'm a young master, 20 years old. My wonderful life is just beginning. I only agreed to get engaged to you. Who said I have to spend my whole life with you? If I meet someone better in the future, you won't be able to stop me from leaving. So Uncle Chen, you have to listen to me. This way, I will always have feelings for you. You know, Chen Xingyue didn't respond. She simply embraced Su Ran, then softly said goodnight. But deep down, she already had the answer. Whether it was in the past or now, the one who will ultimately stay by your side can only be me. In the days that followed, Chen Xingyue focused on investigating the kidnapping involving Su Ran. Finally, perseverance paid off. Huiying informed Chen Xingyue about the news he had just received earlier this morning. The people who kidnapped the young master were met with collective retaliation when they tried to demand the final payment from their employer after finishing the job. Faced a unified act of revenge. Two of the accomplices managed to escape from the capital at great risk. They hid in another region for several months, but were constantly being hunted down. Eventually, when they could no longer endure it, they returned to their hometown briefly, only to be caught by a few brothers at an opportune moment. The two of them likely had planned this together, voluntarily disclosed the mastermind behind the scenes. But in return, they want us to spare their lives. Chen Xingyue was eager to find out who was behind it. It turned out to be Lu Jia, the richest man in the capital. The people who kidnapped Su Ran are finally about to be revealed. It turns out all of this was orchestrated by the Lu family. This made Chen Xingyue extremely furious. Unexpectedly, this father and son pair truly have remarkable tactics. The old man committed wrongdoings and framed him for it. The son schemed meticulously to compete with him for people. They truly treated him as an easy target. But how could Chen Xingyue ever be someone to mess with? With this evidence in hand, he planned to settle the scores one by one. Su Ran and Chen Xingyue went together to Li Bowen's house to deliver the wedding invitations. Unexpectedly, they ran into Hai Roland. Su Ran felt a bit embarrassed, so he handed Hai Roland an invitation as well. Chen Xingyue thought Su Ran must have lost his mind. Aren't you afraid when the time comes? That woman got into a fight with your grandfather and second uncle. Su Ran didn't take it seriously. What's there to be afraid of? Isn't Uncle Chen not that great at fighting? If a fight really breaks out, won't you be there to protect him? Hai Roland, holding the invitation, seemed completely dazed. We've only met a handful of times, neither enemies nor friends. Why would they invite me? Su Ran couldn't come up with an explanation either. He always felt there was something particularly warm about Hai Roland. Anyway, he already gave it away. If you don't want it, just throw it away. After delivering the invitations, the two of them left. Hai Roland thought to herself, Su Zhengqing, that rascal, is actually quite amusing. Li Bowen looked full of melancholy. He couldn't understand why Hai Roland made an appearance today. Was there some kind of purpose behind it? Hai Roland didn't bother to hide anything. She wanted Su Zhengqing's transaction records for the past 10 years, including those who can't bear to be seen. Li Bowen admitted he had mistaken the person. Besides, he's just an ordinary businessman. Hai Roland picked up the teacup and casually remarked, Su Xiaoyan, the mother who suffered severe injuries in a car accident, leading to complications during childbirth, is named Lan Qin. She was the one you secretly admired during your college years but never confessed your feelings to, and eventually married into the Su family. The moment the girl mentioned that name, Li Bowen couldn't sit still any longer. He couldn't understand what Hailin was trying to say. Hailin went on to say that Lan Qin had been dead for 20 years, and yet you remain unmarried in middle age, still giving special attention to Su Yuan. It's all because of him, right? Do you even realize? Lan Cheng was a proud and accomplished top-tier attorney. Her family was relatively stable and well-off. The future looks incredibly bright. What made you decide to quit your job, marrying into the notorious Su family, and being close with Su Zhengqing's son? You should be well aware of that. That guy is nothing but a two-faced hypocrite. Lan Qing isn't blind. How could she possibly fall for him? If it's about the money. Before Su Zhengqing seized control of the Bahiwi, your family's wealth doesn't even come close to what they possess. No matter how you look at it, you're still better than that guy named Su. Lan Cheng is aiming to marry into a wealthy family. If anyone, she should choose you. These words undoubtedly struck a nerve with Li Bowen. Both he and Su Huayan were attending their university orientation. They met Lan Qing on the very same day. He couldn't figure out what exactly made him lose. On the surface, Su Huayan appeared humble and courteous, but behind the scenes, he was secretly living a wild lifestyle. Lan Cheng is the type who is independent and strong-willed. He has absolutely no interest in it. He still remembers it vividly. Lan Qing's dream was to become a renowned top-tier lawyer. At that time, he even joked that if he ever found himself in trouble one day, he would definitely seek Attorney Lan's help to win a case. Then one day, out of the blue, he received the wedding invitation from Lan Cheng and Su Huayan. The news caught him completely off guard. He knew that Lan Qin dreamed of becoming a top lawyer, but he never expected her to give it up during her prime, to quit her job, and choose to get married. This was so unlike her. He had his doubts, wondering if it was because of love, but falling in love with Su Huayan still seemed impossible to him. Hai Roland claimed that Su Zhengqing threatened Lan Qing, saying that if she refused to marry his despicable son, then neither of her parents would be able to survive. However, their personalities were completely incompatible. and their married life was far from happy. That scoundrel pretended to be a loving husband in public, but revealed his true vicious nature in private, causing Lan Chang to endure a great deal of suffering. Li Bowen couldn't bear to listen any longer. He believed Hai Roland must have been making it all up. He wouldn't believe that Hai Roland had said all there was to say. He thought to himself, isn't Qing Yun Hall reputed to be the information hub of the capital? Don't you have secrets on all the wealthy merchants and nobles? As the boss, how could you not even know this? Li Bowen couldn't understand how he knew these things. Before leaving, Hai Roland still left him some information. Lan Chang has a lawyer friend with whom she's very close. She happens to live in S City. If you want to uncover the truth, go find her. Mr. Li, I'm looking forward to your good news. It'll be here soon. On the day Su Ran and Chen Xingling got engaged, almost all the prominent figures showed up. That naturally included Lu Xiao. The moment he was seen, Chen Xingling couldn't wait to show off a little. It's an honor to have you at my engagement party with Ran Ran. The weather is quite nice today. Make sure to have a few more drinks with us later. Even though he is engaged to Su Ran, Lu Xiao still feels dissatisfied, constantly making subtle jabs at the engagement ceremony. It can only be said that the relationship has been confirmed. Chen Li and Ran Ran seem so deeply in love. I hope you two can get your marriage license soon, and together step into the journey of marriage. Oh, I forgot. Ran Ran is only 20 years old, not yet at the legal age for marriage. Over a year of time. It's neither too long, nor too short. The only question is whether your love can withstand the test. You need to cherish your marriage. Don't let those opportunistic suitors take advantage. Hearing this made Su Ran feel a bit embarrassed. He told Lu Xiao to say less, especially on such a joyous day as today. He had no idea when Su Ran arrived. Lu Xiao also realized that his earlier words were a bit abrupt. He cleared his throat a few times to cover up his awkwardness. He even claimed it was out of concern, so he spoke a little more directly. Besides, Ms. Chen probably wouldn't mind either. Chen Xingyue imitated him and started pretending as well. He wrapped his arm around Su Ran's waist. Why would I mind? Regarding Director Lu's condition, I am somewhat aware of it as well. Who would argue with someone whose mental state is unstable? By the way, you probably forgot to take your medicine before leaving this morning. Wait until the guests are seated. If you've taken your medicine, you shouldn't touch alcohol. I think it might be better to just sit at the kids' table. If it weren't for Su Ran being around, the two of them would probably have started a fight. Lu Xiao no longer tried to win arguments with words. He began pretending to be pitiful. Someone as useless as me probably ends up being disliked wherever I go. Ran Ran has so many friends and family who care about her. My blessings are insignificant and unnecessary. It was never something worth it to begin with. I should have never shown up here. While saying this, he even coughed a few times. That appearance truly evokes pity from anyone who sees it. Sure enough, Su Ran had a soft heart. He gave Chen Xingling a forceful nudge. You should say less. On such a joyful day like today, let's not argue. Then he turned to Lu Xiao with a beaming smile. Brother Lu, don't think of Uncle Chen that way. He just tends to speak rather bluntly. He didn't mean to mock you. Today is an especially meaningful day for me. You are a very important friend to me. I wouldn't be happy even if you weren't here. Could you resolve conflicts and make peace? Try to become friends. Lu Xiao looked utterly aggrieved. Of course, I will listen to Ran Ran. If others don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. I don't have the boldness and broad-mindedness of Chen Li's family, but I would never deliberately harm anyone. Art tainted with the scent of blood loses its purity. This statement strongly hinted at Suan. The fact that she had been kidnapped. How could Chen Xingyue not be aware of it? If she couldn't have the painting, she would destroy it. Being obsessed over by someone so dangerous is terrifying. Even if his obsession was directed at someone else's possessions, it still wouldn't change such a mindset. Today was originally meant to be the engagement banquet for Su Ran and Chen Xingyue. As a friend of Su Ran, Lu Xiao also showed up at the scene. Who would have thought he got tricked by Chen Xingyue as soon as he arrived? This made him feel extremely unhappy, especially when he saw how stunning Su Ran looked in the formal attire. She looked absolutely breathtaking. Her figure and appearance were nothing short of perfection. It was hard to accept that someone so gorgeous didn't belong to him. And who exactly was Chen Xingyue, anyway? He was merely taking advantage of those who admired his youth. When disaster truly strikes, he would undoubtedly abandon Su Ran to save himself. He believed that only he was worthy of Su Ran's affection, whether Su Ran lived or died, whether he was disabled or in a vegetative state. He would continue to love him just as before, but he was far too lonely. Since Su Yuan genuinely pitied him, then let him become just like him. His mind started to become increasingly distorted. A bold idea also began taking shape in his plans. However, Su Yuan was completely unaware of all this. At this moment, he was being forcefully taken by his grandfather to meet influential figures from various fields. He promised his grandfather that he would not let him down. He vowed to rely on his own intelligence and talent to win his grandfather's approval. Chen Xing increasingly felt that Su Ran was already outstanding, and did not need validation or recognition from others. Hadn't even gotten a chance to give a couple of compliments, but was instead pitted by Su Ran. At that moment, Li Bowen and Hai Roland made a high-profile entrance, only to be stopped by the security guard, who said they couldn't enter without an invitation. Hai Roland immediately pulled out the invitation to shut him up. Just then, this scene was coincidentally witnessed by Suan. He instructed the guard to let the two of them in, saying they were guests he personally invited. Li Bowen handed over their wedding gifts directly to Suan. Su Ran happily accepted them, and expressed his gratitude. However, their arrival made Su Hanchuan, who was standing nearby, quite displeased. His face darkened, and he looked very uncomfortable. The banquet also included a dancing session. Chen Xingyue wanted to pull Su Ran to join him. At first, Su Ran felt a bit shy about it. Chen Xingyue encouraged him to enjoy himself however he liked. Today, he takes center stage. Yet unexpectedly, Chen Xingyue danced with such precision. Chen Xingyue mentioned he had been preparing for this day. He went out of his way to specifically learn dancing for this moment. There will be plenty of opportunities for socializing in the future. However, no matter the place, the dance partner standing across from the young master can only be him. Even if the young master tries to provoke that cripple at the time, not even someone with full use of their limbs would be qualified to take his place. Even though this sour smell is quite unpleasant, it brought a wave of warmth to Su Ran. The sweetness between the two was truly enviable. Li Bowen and Hai Roland, standing nearby, were completely stunned. Hai Roland extended her arm to invite Li Bowen to dance with her, but to her surprise, Li Bowen turned her down. Although you are fair-skinned and beautiful, and still carry an air of elegance, my heart belongs solely to Lan Qing, and I'm not fond of joining in the excitement either. Feeling rejected, Hai Roland found it a bit hard to keep her composure. She suppressed her anger and grabbed Li Bowen's arm. What are you thinking about? My man is way more handsome than you. What I wanted to ask was, did you look into Lan Qing's situation? Li Bowen had indeed investigated this matter. Lan Qing married into the Su family because she had no other choice. Having a child while pregnant was not something she wanted either. It was all Su Jinqing's meddling that caused this. He ruined his entire life. Hai Roland demanded that he hand over everything he had related to Su Zhengqin. She insisted he give it all to her. Li Bowen only needed to remain neutral. Everything else would be handled by him. He wanted everyone here to be miserable. The protagonist, still immersed in joy at this moment, was completely unaware that a disaster was about to strike. Today was supposed to be the joyous wedding day of Su Ran and Chen Xingyue. But who could have expected it to turn into a massacre? The intruder's objective was crystal clear. It was to capture Su Ran alive, and to break his right leg. This statement happened to be overheard by Chen Xingyue. The accent was unmistakably the dialect from his hometown. Moreover, they mentioned the Lu family, and once again, their intention was to break Su Ran's right leg. Chen Xingyue instantly thought of Lu Xiao. He couldn't believe Lu Xiao would be this twisted. Right now, his top priority was to ensure Su Ran's safety. The man seemed blinded by rage, acting as if he was out for blood. He fired at anyone he saw without hesitation. This behavior also stirred dissatisfaction in Lu Xiao. All he wanted was one of Su Yuan's legs. He never said he wanted to turn him into ashes. And for someone already physically disabled like him, if he didn't make a run for it soon, chances were he'd end up as cannon fodder too. Just as he was about to make his escape, Lu Yao managed to track him down. Seeing that Lu Xiao was unharmed, only then did he feel relieved. If something had happened to his brother, his mom and that old man would have been furious with him. This was the first time Su Ran had encountered such a scene. He felt genuinely terrified. Chen Xingyue got slightly injured while trying to protect Su Ran. She managed to bring Su Ran to a safe place, and handed over both her coat and ring to Su Ran, ensuring his safety in the process. He even asked Su Ran to take good care of it for him. He understood that these people were all targeting Su Ran. Since that was the case, he couldn't just stand by. He headed straight inside, watching his figure from behind. Su Ran became anxious. He knew exactly what Chen Qing was planning to do. There were probably around 20 or so people inside, and each of them was armed with knives and guns. Chen Qingyue alone was no match at all. He instructed Chen Qingyue to quickly take him and run, but Chen Qingyue completely ignored him. He insisted that Su Ran stay put there obediently, and not wander around. At that very moment, Su Bing called. The moment he answered the call, Su Ran immediately gave him a stern reprimand. Regarding today's security check, he expressed an overwhelming sense of anger. It was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. Now all his good mood had been completely ruined. Su Bing showed deep remorse for this, but as for the security inspection today, he had no idea where things had gone wrong. Moreover, every detail of the engagement banquet was thoroughly supervised by the second master. All the staff were employees of the hotel, and the screening process was exceptionally strict. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any issues. He instructed Su Ran to hide in a safe place. They will arrive very soon. Chen Xingyue's combat skills are exceptional. In no time, she took them down. The opposing side, seeing the unfavorable situation, didn't dare to delay any longer. He ordered a few people to quickly capture Su Ran, then sever the tendon in his right leg. The others were tasked with trapping him together, residing at Chen Xingyue's place. But Chen Xingyue wouldn't even give him the chance. In the blink of an eye, she had the person under control, and casually took the gun from his pocket, watching as a few people were about to reach Su Ran. But ultimately, they were no match for the gun in Chen Xingyue's hand. Meanwhile, over on the other side, Su Hanchuan had already escaped with Su Zhengqing. Su Zhengqing was so furious he nearly had a heart attack. Su Ran is his most cherished grandson. If anything unexpected happens, the consequences would truly be unimaginable. He felt that today's incident, Su Hanchuan bore significant responsibility for it. Weren't you supposed to check all the service staff and oversee the security personnel beforehand? So how did someone still manage to show up with a gun? Su Hanchuan reassured him not to worry. With Su Ran and Chen Xingyue, everything will surely be fine. And right now, the most pressing matter is to get the old man to the hospital. Su Zhengqin had no time to care about herself. He ordered Su Hanchuan to bring Su Ran back immediately. If anything happened to Ran, he wouldn't need to come back either. Su Hanchuan knew Su Ran was not born to the eldest brother and sister-in-law, expecting him to risk his life to save the child of an enemy. How could that be possible? Even though he couldn't outright refuse, he still had to go through the motions on the surface. He instructed his men to send Su Zhengqin back home first. He went to rescue Shuer again. Meanwhile, Chen Xingyue managed to take control of everyone. Initially, she planned to capture them all and have Su Zhengqin interrogate them. But now, she has changed her mind. Up until this moment, this group has shown no signs of giving up. Even if they were released, they would still pose a future threat. He only needs to keep 2 of them alive.